This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. The show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's The Show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Good evening, everybody. Well, Marty Ryer just walked in the door. My God. And it's only 2 minutes after 7. Tonight, playing the part of Marty Ryer will be Al Perkins, who is delayed. I don't know where he was or what he was doing, but
I'm sure
he's on his way, he says.
How is it you and I are the only ones that can come to work?
I live here. That's one.
All right.
I win for that.
Good job. Good work.
Yeah, thank you.
Good on you.
Yeah, and it wasn't even really planned that...
She's just an overachiever.
An overachiever.
If this were a job, Clayton McKee would literally live at work.
Okay.
And, yeah, no kidding.
I'm always on time for my real
But
job.
my work is in the back room of the house, like my day. I live at work. Same thing.
Note my qualifier. If this were a job.
Right. It's not. This would involve revenue and payroll and all that kind of stuff.
Well, then I might be on time.
Performance reviews.
Still probably. I would.
You're absolutely right.
Believe it or not, I would be less on time.
Yeah, me too.
Because you would feel somehow protected by laws that govern the employment of people in the state of Arizona.
No, I don't know what
Because I
it
can
is.
fire you. You're a lesbian. In the state, I can fire you in the state of Arizona.
You know what? I don't even have to be a lesbian. In the state of Arizona, you can fire me because you don't like me.
Valid point. But I do. I adore you, to my dear child.
Oh, it's so nice of you to say.
I had a big opening for tonight, but Al's late. I was going to say that we're all in studio and everything's here because it's not a voting day in Arizona.
Right.
That's right. I was still waiting in line. That's what it was.
Oh, for crying out loud. No, but we,
Ridiculousness.
like I said, Al's on his way. You didn't lock that door, did you? Do you remember?
You might want to check.
I'll have to check.
Because otherwise Al's going to text me and say he's locked out. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to check?
I just want to throw something out, though.
What?
Last week,
Yeah, what?
I was not drunk. I also, by the way, you kept your phone on.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
I was not drunk, and there were 14 deer standing in Seidel's yard when I got there. I'm not making it up.
We looked at each other like, she's been drinking.
No,
Like,
I'm
she's
telling you,
loaded.
I pulled in the
Talking
driveway,
to the
and there were
deer.
all these deer standing in there. She has, like, a lot of deer at the end.
I pictured you
A
just
lot of deer, the end.
Because all of a sudden I heard you guys. I'm like, fuck off. That is
in
not
my
true.
mind, you were super hammered, like offering them a Miller Lite.
No.
Right.
Not that. No. Let's do it.
Bambi, come here.
Not that could never happen, or has not in the past. I'm just saying now, like that.
Just that particular
too
moment.
late.
The other thing I could see her sitting there going, doe, a deer, a female deer. That's what I can also see her doing.
But you don't know that didn't happen. Let's not get crazy here.
Valid point.
There's a couple of Bambi jokes in there too.
Somewhere, yeah. I'm sure. That's what she said.
There's really not a Bambi joke that comes to mind right now because I'm not good at Bambi jokes. Can we Google that?
Take that off your LinkedIn.
Oh, first of all, I don't have it.
Not good at Bambi.
Not good at
No.
Bambi. That's true.
I,
This is Kat's newest fun thing to do. Look at this. She's playing the part of Al Perkins will be my bobblehead.
I wasn't joking.
Look, she has a picture of a doe or a deer or a female deer.
Yes.
There were a bunch of them.
Now show me
Anyway.
Ray, a drop of golden sun.
Got it? It's
Me.
right
A name. I call myself.
there.
Wow.
That did not look like a drop of golden sun. That looked like more
That's
deers.
doe, a deer, a
Okay.
female deer.
Now, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. Slow the fuck down for just a
Sure.
second. Timeline. That's a lie.
Oh, because it
Timeline.
was super late when
It
we
was
called you.
dark.
You didn't take that
It
one.
was
These
dark
were
here.
that day, and that same family. Like there are 15
Oh, they just hung
of them.
around.
I'm telling you.
Was there a table set up and they were having snacks?
Miller
Like
Lights.
pets. They were pets.
Oh, look,
at
there's
them.
Alfie.
I didn't lock it.
Hi, good morning.
This just in. Marty did not lock the door.
Door was not locked.
Good news.
Thank goodness.
Well, now we're all here because nobody was voting today, so we all had time to get to the studio. Oh, heaven's sakes.
It's very nice.
It's a good time. Look at the bottle of water she brought. Something's up.
Well, I didn't want to stop and fill up my water. And
Hydration.
Well, no, but I thought that maybe there was another story. Like, we've got a story, but he was trapped somewhere in a coal mine.
Oh my goodness,
out
were
of
you in the
water.
well? Baby Jessica, are you okay?
yeah.
When they bring her out, has that one little hand
Oh,
stuck
my little
out.
hand is stuck there for 7 days.
It's
That's the fastest I've ever rode my bike.
Should we make fun of baby Jessica?
That's the fourth baby Jessica joke I've
soon?
made this week.
Oh,
It's
wow,
really
that's
good.
a
I
good
love
What a girl. Baby Jessica is
Lots
on
of
your
well
mind.
jokes this week.
Is
I
it
don't
like-
know.
is
She's
it-
back. I don't know.
Is it something an anniversary of?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Find out.
kind of feel like too soon.
Dear Google.
Dear Google.
Dear
That's her thing. Her new thing she's been doing.
Baby Jessica.
Yes. What
That's
date and time did they rescue that little kid? And how many years ago was that, by the
It
way?
was like
She
in
was
the
18
80s.
months old on October 14th, 1987.
87. Jeez, that was your
Yeah, 30 years
It's been
ago.
28 years
29 years ago.
calm down.
29 years ago.
I know,
Harrison
but I
would
just
tell us we have to say 16 years ago.
hearing it, it's just a little bit of a challenge.
Sorry.
Hearing, yes, because I was,
Just
that
say if
was
Harrison's listening, we have to say 16.
my year in
The
high
other
school.
thing is everything is either, what is it, 6 or 16 years ago?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. I remember.
She can't remember.
29 years
my
ago.
God.
Denial sounds like.
She
good
she
stuff.
looks. Here's my favorite. She looks none the worse for wear.
Is she?
Oh,
Yeah.
the well was good to her.
What is she? What are we looking at?
She
now?
looks none the worse.
Was
for
that a
wear.
mug shot?
She's got a little bit of well face, but
No, wait a minute.
Why the long face?
Is that a mug shot?
I don't even know. It was
Oh.
just
a
on
little
Google image
asthmatic
search.
from the
Okay, so right over.
like a bat out of hell.
Well,
I went from near your house
I saw that.
back to my house to get a jacket because it's cold outside, a bottle of wine, and that bottle of water, and this thing. And then rode back here. Not bad on time.
Not bad on
time.
time, but I'm like, I don't know. It's called planning. I don't know what.
Well,
what you,
you know, I was under
Wow.
that illusion that drinking with old friends was going to be quick and concise.
By the way, the noises
No.
you're hearing is Al trying to open a wine bottle without
right.
talking
Succeeding,
without
fuckers.
talking into his
Actually,
mic.
that was just me trying to turn in the chair a little bit.
There is no try. The bottle's open.
It's a wonderful reality TV kind of a feel
Hi,
to
Jenny.
it right
Thank
now.
you,
I
honey.
guess.
Yeah, lots of exciting things are
All
happening.
right, wine achieved.
There we go.
We're drinking
Lord.
a really fucking expensive bottle of wine for this show.
Well, I guess.
That's what was chilled.
Okay,
So, but
that's-
It's
There you go.
it's called like bonhom to me.
Yeah.
Fancy, fancy,
Bitches.
fancy.
Mom.
Get you. Hi, Mom.
Did you get my song about what?
Happy birthday,
I
Di.
did, but I wanted to talk to you briefly about your song. Go ahead and find where your mic is, put your headphones on, and join the show. Would
Welcome
you please?
to the show.
I feel like I've been shouting at you for like 5 minutes.
I did the same thing when I got here.
We
That
have
may
to
be
be.
true.
Apparently, the Beatles have a very big stronghold on their songs. So 2 weeks ago, we got an entire 3-hour show muted because of one little clip we played for you.
The Beatles are
Oh.
not fucking around. They were one of the last ones to resist digital releases.
Right.
They were.
Well, we
they
said
were the
that because
last
they
one
weren't going to play along with that
So-
99-cent bullshit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to suggest that maybe we just sing it ourselves.
I can do that. I'm
okay.
ready.
Okay. So when we get to the point, you just let us know what the song. I got the
So
song
muted, but it's still online though.
muted. I had to go in and permit them to edit out that song.
Oh, how fun!
I had to take it off so that they would then review it and decide whether or not the show could be unmuted. And then it took like 5 hours of processing time because I've been busy with the YouTubes.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
then remember, well, you were.
Just means somebody's listening.
Was it 2 weeks ago?
I mean,
put-
you all are listening.
I-
We appreciate that.
right.
Don't mean
Yeah.
that.
The well,
They
you
digital.
hear
No.
it-
They
But
they
lawyers
match
are
digital
listening.
No.
That's good
It's,
news.
it's all software. They match
Yeah,
digital
yes,
signatures.
yes.
There's no
Lawyers
one.
are listening.
hey,
Don't
hey,
just stop with the
Well,
negativity.
I'm sure they
Watch
get,
it.
they
Have
get
some hummus. It's
Yeah.
They get
delicious.
notifications.
Yeah.
But remember a couple weeks ago when
Which
I played
one of
the,
you assholes reported it?
when I played the Cookie Monster commercial. You remember the Cookie Monster?
Vaguely.
Okay.
Jeez.
Well, Apple
Oh, yeah, that
Apple
was
dinged us
very
for
nice.
that, just so that we could never monetize the show. Which I don't give a shit. We never monetize the
Those
show.
motherfuckers.
But I did figure out how to edit the first 30 minutes out so that all
make
like
money from.
Thank you.
live you can see us walking around. But then once it's up
Monetarily
there, I cut the first 30 minutes off so that it just goes
Never
right to the open. We no longer.
Oh, good.
That's not in forever and ever for people to watch.
Interesting.
It's very
My
exciting.
God.
things.
Before we get too far into the show, it's a big day. It's a big day for many, many things. One, several people that we know's birthday is today.
Oh, that's a true story.
We will start with my mother, who is I visited
Happy
today.
birthday.
Mama Di in the chat room.
Happy
My mom's
birthday,
birthday is
Di.
today. Also, our friend David Butler. You remember David?
Oh.
His birthday. He's 54 today, and he's doing
And
well.
I saw his one-armed counterpart
Yeah.
at Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which I always, anytime I see him, I think,
Always
oh,
makes me-
Yeah.
the David Butler one-armed counterpart.
So then the other end of this house is occupied by my roommate, and his birthday is
That's
today.
Are
And
you
then
sure it's
Happy
today? Because that
birthday,
shit's been going on
Michelangelo
for
Moreno.
75 days
Yeah.
he's been celebrating.
And,
it seems
and
like.
Smart,
my
it's
friend
smart.
George Takaris, God damn it. I gotta look up the pronunciation. My friend George's birthday is today. My friend from Boston and P-Town.
Happy
Okay.
birthday, George.
Happy
Very nice.
birthday to him. I
And-
hope he's a listener.
Aaron's birthday
That is
is today.
correct.
Oh, and Ernie's
And
birthday.
Ernie's
Yes, I felt free to
birthday
wish
today.
And look, I got
That's
some
right.
color-coded
Yeah, but-
memorabilia.
Yep, she's going to be putting that on a spreadsheet for you.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
nice.
she'll take care of that.
I'm happy with the paper, but I'll take it however she's giving it.
Well, me too.
Wow, that sounded kind of dirty.
Well,
but
there you
okay.
have it.
That's a lot happening.
I'm good like that.
Yes.
Well, maybe.
This is also a week, which I'll bring up in the entertainment section when we get closer. This week, Al gets a gift. All the way from, I believe it's Malaysia or Taiwan. I forget where it's coming from, but this week he gets a gift. You would have got it last week, but because we'd like to suppress voters in this fucking state, you weren't here. So I held it.
Because I got your other gift, and I'm the
Different gift.
living personification of said
Different gift. By the way,
Rogan?
and I'll be happy to put the link in the chat room for all of you. I signed, he made a joke a couple weeks ago about he would join the Dollar Shave Club if he could ever get somebody to prove to him that it's worth it. And then he said, I never shave. So I was not a good example.
Everyone who has the Dollar Shave Club, like Carlton and him and another friend of mine, they're either full beards
remember you
or they
saying
don't
that, right?
shave.
Right.
So Harrison and Clayton got in cahoots, and they got me the Dollar Shave Club initial,
funny.
the
Sure.
Columbia House 12-3 records free. But I am now I waited 4 days to shave. They gave it the full test.
Okay.
I hadn't shaved since Saturday, so this is all brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club.
And it really
very
is
nice.
amazing. If you
And
don't,
it is a quality. I have to give it
was
to you. That
good?
is a
Yeah.
quality pivoting head razor that I would happily use on most parts of my body.
That's very nice.
but
Not all.
But the kicker to the whole thing is, and I mean, all of us have been held hostage at Walgreens or CVS or wherever where you buy your razor blades. They want like an arm and a
they
leg
do.
for it. It's ridiculous. And
But it's only guys, or
no. Well,
It says
A razor is a razor is a
ladies'
razor.
wear.
That's
Yeah,
a
but
whole
they-
other topic we can talk about.
The reason I say that is because I like the aloe kind of stuff.
right. No, and
That's
they,
the only
I think
reason
they
that I
have
say
one that
that.
does have a strip. Like I use the basic double, like the 2-blade one. Mine, I literally think it's $3 a month. They ship it.
And
they
he got
mail
me
it to
a
you.
triple blade with a little bit of
I
a
think it's
buffer
a
on it, a
quad-
pivoting.
I think it's a quad, bro.
Yeah,
Quad.
and-
yeah.
Okay. I don't give a shit if it's just ugly. I just like to have the aloe kind of.
But honestly, I don't know if they do.
They
for
do
that.
make a ladies. Of course, I read the whole
Or,
brochure.
or even if it's a guy, because I don't think guys have that kind of thing, do they?
They do, because I
do
have,
they?
yeah.
Okay.
Look at the supple skin
But
on
you
this
know-
young
You
lady.
do have a lovely,
I take very
lovely
good care of my
base.
skin, so
Yes,
yeah.
you do.
But anyway, it's a lovely thing.
I
And
do
so
not.
for $6 a month, Al gets 5 brand new blades shipped. Now, initially, the handle comes the first shipment. You can get more. And what I've done is, because I have a backlog of them, because I used to get them every month, and I've backed mine down to every 2 months. But I have extra handles, so if I take a trip or if I lose one, I have a backup.
Yeah, and that's
But it's a fantastic deal. It
It's
really
a little
is.
less waste to the environment to keep the same handle, which I always used to do. But then I was caught in situations where it was like, just buy the disposables, and I found a disposable that I liked, and blah 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 blah, boring radio. But I went with it, and I've kind of stuck with it.
I like
Because
I like
the old handle
reusable.
kind was a tiny bit expensive, but you're not paying that much. I only change out my razor like every probably 10 days, not even that, maybe 14 days.
Okay, but
Because
that's
I only
fine.
shave every other day, but I
Right.
shave everything. I mean, this is shaved from the the clavicle up, it's gone. So.
Except the eyebrows. You do keep the eyebrows.
Because I'm really just losing my hair right here and like a little bit back here. So there is a lot to shave. Like
Right.
waiting 4 days, we were like taking down a grizzly
My
bear
goodness,
for a
you were
while.
almost combing.
It was not attractive. I was not a fan of the look at all. I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh.
Who's that? But anyway, it's a
boy.
wonderful deal. So I'm glad that you liked it. It was a surprise, but you're right. I couldn't just pop into your house and be like, oh, I'm just stopping by and sneak in and find out what razor blades you use.
Well, I have
So
to tell you a funny story because Harrison was as we were like driving her to the airport, she's like, that thing in your soap dish isn't what you shave with, is it? Like really shave with? And I was like, yeah, why? Like what is up with this line of questioning?
Oh.
But I forget that where I keep my razor when there's not company is in the front. I have a soap dish in the front of my shower, but it gets some drips.
Okay.
So I use all handmade soaps and stuff like that dissolve really easily, so I try to keep them dry. But
Sure.
when company comes, I clean out that front dish so they can put their soap there.
Okay.
Then I just throw my razor back in my soap dish, but it's got that like easily dissolving homemade soaps.
Oh.
And my soap this time was like a yellow-green citrusy lemon bar, so it looks like mold and mildew.
Oh.
But it's just citrus, so it's sitting there in that. So she's thinking it's sitting in this yellow-green putrid dish.
Got it.
Oh, I'm
Putrid
sure.
dish. So she's looking at it like, I don't want to take a picture of that. That's a crime scene. But so when the razors came, I'm like, oh, now I know why she asked. And I looked at it like, oh, okay, if I didn't know that was just some melted handmade
Organic
soap, I'd be like,
soap.
keeps her
Here's-
thing in mildew.
So I sent her the text. I said, I need you to do a covert mission for me. Find out what blades Al uses. I'm going to sign him up for the Dollar Shave Club, blah, 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 blah. Her response was, oh, Clayton, he uses these god-awful disposables. Anything you send him will be an upgrade. It was a 4-blade and ragged as hell. He needs you.
And it was like two, but the problem is it's sitting in that soap. So of course I look at it with the eye of someone who does it, and I'm like, yeah, that looks nasty.
Right.
For shame.
Oh, that's funny.
Pox on
Because
both
I just
blouses.
assumed that she'd walked into the bathroom and looked at it and said, it's a 4-blade. And just
Well, I
told her.
assumed she would open the cupboard and look for the package of where they come from,
Right.
not, you know.
Not just the horrible raggedy thing that's sitting
Especially since she's using a homemade from a Bruja in New Orleans that I found. I have like these soaps that I got when I was in New Orleans from this like witch doctor lady that I found. But and so she was using this black tea and something that just smells like heaven. But they're black, so when those start to melt, everything turns this like shade of death. So it's a good thing I wasn't using that, because that was like Silence of the Lambs bathtub tableau shit when that melts.
I'm super excited. I don't spend a lot of time in anyone else's bathroom. At this
Right.
point. Like,
Or let alone shower at his house often.
apparently.
Yeah.
But they're all homemade soaps, so they melt really fast, because
Sure.
there's not all the whatever holds regular soap.
Not all that.
Binders
I don't
and
even know.
chemicals.
But
and-
my skin's just as dry as everybody else, so I don't know why I'm spending the money. Like, I have like 19 bottles of lotion to
Because
get
what
from
else
room
would you
to
spend
room.
money on?
Yeah,
Like, why not?
it keeps the lotion on the skin.
Wow. But God, we've missed you.
Well, I've missed all of you, and I really miss good wine, because this is fucking fabulous.
Well, all right for that. I have coffee, a beverage, and water. I'm ready for any emergency
Anything
that comes
that
up.
could happen.
All
there you go.
emergencies.
We were supposed to get to this during the Oscars, but we didn't. It's a Grand Cru, and it's a beautiful Chablis. If you want to taste it, this is divine. This is seriously what money should be spent on.
And cheap razor blades. Go. Economical razor blades. Say that.
is nice.
Julia, Jenny,
is
Jody,
nice.
Amina.
No,
Of course, my mom's in there. Everybody in the chat room. Hi, everybody. My gosh, from wherever you're listening or enjoying this or suffering through this show with, whichever, doesn't matter. So many things have gone on since we were last year. Marnie was out of town.
I could
Al
drink
was
that,
stuck in a
sure.
voting line. But last week, and,
We
and
held
thank
down
you
the fort.
for two people who weren't prepared to do a show.
Who did zero prep?
Right. We
for
did
this
2
show.
hours. And I love
And it didn't unravel as fast as that story would make it seem. Like, it held together pretty long.
For the most part, yeah.
We did all right. And then all of a sudden,
I
we're
think
like,
that
fuck it,
last
we're just
like
going to go
15
drink.
minutes, we started dreaming about just leaving early, and we're like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, so we just closed
see
her down
you
and went to the bar.
And I wanted to like be the call-in correspondent and interview people, but you know that person that you're standing with in the bakery line or the bank line that's like talking on their phone too loud that
Yeah.
you're like, shut the fuck
And
up.
you didn't want to be her?
I instantly became that when we did that first conversation at 7:00.
Oh,
Like,
were people like shuffling away?
who is he?
in
Like,
an
who's this
awkward way?
bitch talking to? And then it got.
We could just get you a sign that says, I'm on air live, shut the fuck up.
Well, and then the 8:00 one, when people like started to understand that I was calling into something that was
Oh.
like, you know, I put us up the scale a little bit.
Okay, good.
As to who I was calling into, and I'm like, but you could be on too. Like, it would be fun to get your perception, and the fact that the guy that was right next to me in line for the entire time, it started off like 3 people behind me, but 2 people behind me left. So we ended up being line partners from about 7:00 till 9. No, probably earlier than that. Probably about 6:30 to 9:30. We were next to each other, and he was staying calm. Everybody was making friends, but he wasn't saying much. He was kind of staying out of the fray. Stayed in line. He was the only person I told that Clinton and Trump had won, and that it was pointless because the Bernie people were really still working the line, giving out waters. They had people coming out and like telling people to stay in line, stay in line. So I wanted to keep it a secret that they had called it. Most people's phones had gone dead long before. Like my phone lasted a little bit longer. People were borrowing my phone to call loved ones and say where they were. I mean, we turned into a third world country really fucking fast.
Right.
Like, can I call my friend? People ordered pizzas.
Oh.
There's a playground there at that church. So people had their kids in the playground because people were with strollers for
Absolutely.
hours.
Pedophiles came out and drove.
People were breastfeeding. It just
for
got
real.
ugly.
Like they probably were like, I'm gonna go over there.
So we get in, and I had people to watch in line that I was like, okay, I think that person's like 100 people ahead of me, or I think that person's like 200 people ahead of me from where I could see. And at one point I'm like, okay, I know where this line's going. What's that line there? And they're like, oh no, this just wraps around to get in that line. Like, we're not even in that line yet. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And that's when I told you guys, I thought I was like 200 people out. Oh no, I had missed a whole wrap around the church one more time. So it's nuts. So we get to the end, and we're watching. There was a hot guy in a tank top. There was a girl with a red stroller. There was somebody, and you had to identify them like they were like victims in a crime scene, like white hair, hot guy tank
Like
top,
dead
red
people
stroller.
on the way up
So you
Everest.
could time them getting closer, getting in, getting out.
We just passed Green Boots.
So unfortunately, like on Everest, Green Boots is still there. The guy that died in the cave. So we're doing all these weird things to pass time. And then we realized that once you went in, it seemed to be like 20 minutes inside the auditorium of the church. But that was hot tank top guy. Clearly, he still had not made his mind up when he got in there. Or he was an independent that ran into the provisional ballot. Mm-hmm. Because in and out of that thing was maybe 2.5 minutes. So for something that took 4.5 hours. But there was no, as you had ID, it was you were quick. Yeah. There was nothing to do in there. So these people that were taking time were, I don't understand what took so long. But only 6 or 8. No, I can't remember. I knew last week. 6 or 8. All those people, thousands of people in line, 6 to 8 places to cast their ballot. Instead of having like 40, fill up an empty auditorium with like 8 things in line.
Seriously.
It was criminal.
There's so many things that could have very easily, very shortly, very cost-free have been done.
But they ran out of ballots at 5 to 6. At 5 to 6, they
Right.
ran out of Democratic ballots and so the line waited right when I got in. But so this guy that I'm in line with, that we're not chatting that much, we both go to our tables, we hand in our ID, you say what party you're with, and independents weren't allowed to vote. But we get up to the table and you just tell the guy at the table what party you're with to get your ballot, because he had 3 ballots. And the guy goes, "I'll take a Green Party ballot." And I was like, okay, I salute you. You just waited 4.5 hours in line for someone who's not going to win. Most people have never even heard of, but you are going to exercise your right as a citizen to vote on the Green Party, which is the only other party that had a candidate, a dog in the race.
Oh,
And
I
he was
honestly didn't even
silent.
know this.
He was silent through all the things about Republicans and Democrats and Bernie versus Hillary, Trump versus anybody. He was silent that entire time. Never contributed. And when he walked up, and I almost broke into tears. Plus, I was fucking exhausted and just physically worn out. But I walked up to the table at the same time with him, and I'm like, Democratic Party, and he goes, Green Party, and I was like, I got to give it to you. That's fucking amazing.
So are you two dating now?
No, I mean,
No, he has both arms.
but I just. Sorry, David.
David has both arms.
And Nathan.
David has both arms. Right.
But I mean, it was just so impressive to me. Like, I thought I was standing on principle by staying in line for like.
Then you found out what he
and then I
did.
found
And
out
then you found
somebody
out him.
even on a higher ground than me, and I'm like, oh, you can pee on all of us if you want to, because you're casting a Green Party fucking vote,
That's awesome.
and you waited all
Who
this time.
is the Green Party candidate? I don't know
I
anything.
still don't know.
Well,
I looked it up. I
there
knew
had
that
to
night.
have been more than one.
There was
if there
three
was a
of
primary.
them. There was 3 of them in the primary. I never found out who won because I forgot to keep looking after Wednesday.
Was Ralph Nader one of them by any odd chance?
No, but he.
I don't know. I'd never heard that there was a Green Party running at all.
Drew, you just have to, because we had a closed primary election. So Drew is asking if you have to tell them what party you're with. You only have to in a closed primary election because they need to know if you're voting for Democrat, Republican, or Green Party.
Right, you're not
And-
going to get a full ballot, so you
and-
can't walk in and
there's only
decide
one
you're gonna
line to
vote.
draw.
And
It literally takes a second.
understand that especially presidential primaries are only you stating your opinion of your club's candidate for the real election.
But
Like
now
you-
many states have open, and we
A lot of
used to have
states do have
open.
open.
We
And
didn't change our.
We didn't change. We have open everything else except for presidential preference.
But no, they changed that one in 08 because the Wilk was offended.
Yes.
We didn't know about it till Saturday when Doug went to early vote and found out that independents were not invited this time. So it changed after 08 because he voted in the primaries for Hillary and Obama.
But they only changed presidential.
Right. Yes.
The primary that's coming in
August? Yeah, it's still open.
There's a special election in May about education.
And that's the 1, 2, 3 or
That's
ABC
the 1, 2, 3
or
and 1, 2,
whatever
4.
the Jackson 5
I don't
sang.
know. Right.
That we've all agreed to vote yes on. Is that what we've decided? Because better to have money now than money never.
Yes.
That it's a
That's
I'm
my
st-
understanding
I'm
from
still tossed
educators
up
that
in
I
it.
know.
Yeah, because Erin's still tossed up in it, and I'm waiting to find out where she stands.
Yeah.
She's much more
because it gives up on money never.
right.
The money
possibility
that
of
seems
money,
to
yeah.
never be coming.
Right. And so she is
and
more
theoretically
apt to vote
gives
yes,
money now.
But she's still
So I'll let
looking
her
at-
tell me because
she's still
from
looking
what I've
at
been
some
reading,
different things.
Right.
Yes is the better answer in a bad situation.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It's kind of like the lesser of two evils.
The lesser of two evils.
Those that are wondering, the Green Party candidates for president are Kent Mesplay, Mesplay, and Jill Stein.
And I feel like there was a third until the primary. He or she may have dropped out. But who
I
won
don't know.
the
I'm on the Arizona Green Party's website.
That's weird. I never heard of that. Now
there's libertarian, there's green, there's independent, but they don't all necessarily have enough candidates to be part of the primary.
Our friend Luisa Valdez ran on the Green Party for city something like 6-8 years ago.
I wasn't paying any attention 6 years ago.
Yep,
that's okay.
That's right. No, I'm so proud of you.
We dragged this one kicking and screaming into the. And now I read your Facebook and I'm like, oh, you're more offensive than me.
It's very fun.
Who's more offensive than you?
You.
With what?
Oh no, like you post way more political stuff than I do now.
You have no idea.
It's because of his mad love affair.
I feel like I raised you from a pup into a political terrorist.
It's because of his unabashed love of Rachel Maddow.
One of my favorites is the one where it's like the best. What was it? The worst thing about, I have to dig it up. The worst thing about the Trump candidacy is having to educate everybody as to why they're so stupid or something to that effect. That's a paraphrase.
Yeah, because but the money it would cost to educate those people. But it really does. And we said this about we have said this about marriage equality, all these votes going around now about like the religious liberty bills that are just open discrimination.
Oh my God.
You kind of want to know up front who's against you. They used to call it, Doug and I used to have a conversation many years ago about overt versus covert racism.
Right. Right.
I would rather know up front that you're a racist pig than be friends with you for a long time and find out that secretly you're funding the KKK.
Right.
I like overt racism. And that's my thing with these religious liberty bills. Because I want you to put in your window, I don't want to serve gays. Just put it up there. Let us off the hook.
And we'll be glad to walk
and
right
we'll
on
walk
by.
right by.
Yes.
Because whatever you're selling, somebody else is selling down the street.
Right.
But I don't want
I
don't want you to North Carolina and preclude anybody else from being open about it.
But you know what I mean? I'm playing the devil's advocate a little bit. I don't believe in those bills at all. But on the other hand, the upside is like, because the open to business for everyone, because you want people to be like, oh God, I was racist until I heard this, and now I'm like, I don't want to lose business. Like that gay guy that comes in eats more bagels than anyone else I've ever met. Like I don't want to turn him away.
And then
he drinks more wine
I don't want to drive away the fat kid who likes some cream cheese.
And then the other side of that is when they come in, well, but everybody but you. You're a nice gay. I like you, but all the rest of them. No. You can't do that.
Nope.
It's all or one. It's like those fucking delegates. It's either you get all of them or you get none of them.
I have to serve all the gays. You have to serve all the gays. That's how that works.
But I agree with you. I would rather be a shingle house, any hardware store, any fucking place in the world. If you're this, or this.
I cannot tell you, and I don't know if anybody can see what I'm pointing to, but the open to business for everyone, I'm sure you can Google that and find that on there.
Right over my head.
The open to business for everyone was honestly a stroke of, I'm assuming, Arizona genius, because I think we're the first people that really fought the backlash.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
But it's one of those things where like everyone was like,
here we go.
Please don't let
But if I remember right, wasn't that a local business,
a
local printing company?
It was.
Virginia and Central, Vista Prints or Alta, whatever prints, Alpha Graphics, gay-owned franchise of the Alpha Graphics.
So I'm glad we can give that credit to someone local. But what that said was, pass whatever law you want to.
Right.
We're going to put this placard in our window and we're going to win this. You won the fight, but we just won the war because we're going to inclusiveness. And our new ally now with Georgia and North Carolina, North Carolina went the wrong way, Georgia went the right way, but the lawsuits against North Carolina on the Supreme Court that we're going to win. Yeah. The Supreme Court, not the battle.
Right.
In Georgia, you know who was our biggest? I know we all want to boycott them, and I know they've made so many bad decisions that we all just want to be against them. But the NFL has been the gay person's greatest supporter because
interesting.
When it came to this law, you know who stood up for us? They threatened the Super Bowl, and they said you cannot have the Super Bowl if you pass that law. And Jan Brewer was like,
"Yeah,
well, we won our Super Bowl. Yep, Super
and now
Bowl wins.
Atlanta has a Super Bowl coming up in 18."
I don't know.
And the NFL threatened the Super Bowl, and you know what they did? They fucking caved.
Well, and NBA's been saying it too. All-Star games will not be played in your state.
But North Carolina North Carolina didn't fall to the the NBA. But you know who caves every time? When NFL threatens their money.
When football says I'm
When
out of here.
football
Yeah.
says I'm out of
Yeah.
here.
No.
So you got to give. I mean, I know
I'm
they're
not-
horrible people. They are truly horrible people, and we're in bed with the wrong kind.
I'm not
but
trying to say that there is. I'm just saying on board in other sporting events, NBA has also chimed in with this.
And I appreciate them greatly.
Coca-Cola,
Coca-Cola. Well,
Lowe's,
in Georgia, Coca-Cola.
Georgia.
Can you
Oh, yeah, they're
imagine?
based in Atlanta.
Disney, CNN, Turner, whatever.
Turner, right?
Turner
Is that if you
has
think of
been
like the
saying,
Walking
like,
Dead
yeah.
films in Georgia?
Disney films, some
And The Walking
production
Dead
there.
threw their
Yep.
head. They waited to the last minute, but The Walking Dead threw their hat in. Is like, we just need trees.
Yeah, we
Like,
can film
this
anywhere.
is all make believe. Our story left Georgia. We've been pretending to be in Virginia for like 3 years. So bitches, we're gonna say goodbye. When The Walking Dead threw, because I kept waiting for The Walking Dead to throw in
Oh, wow.
on Georgia because they get that discount. Drop Dead Diva was the first show that I ever heard of. I don't know if you remember that show, Drop Dead
I do.
Diva.
I know,
It was
I'm
a
trying
lot
to-
of fun
Yeah,
on Lifetime.
it was. It
Drop
was
Dead
good.
Diva was filmed in Atlanta, and they got that Georgia Productions discount first.
Oh.
It's a very deep discount to film in Georgia, and a lot of the basic cable stations.
I just realized something. Archer, that animated series, is produced in Georgia because at the end of it, I thought it was a production company, but it says in the end, made in Georgia.
Made in
Oh,
Georgia.
okay.
Yep.
I didn't realize that until just now.
So it's funny
know
to
it.
see like these states that have reached out and said they want this business.
And I love when they want to crack the whip so fast. They're like, "Oh fuck!"
Oh, no, we
Yeah.
don't.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But seriously, I'll give some credit to the NFL because they helped us. But what really turned the tide in Georgia was Coca-Cola.
Oh, yeah, I can
because
imagine.
Atlanta
I can imagine.
is Coca-Cola.
Oh yeah, absolutely it is.
And they have one other huge business. Atlanta has one other.
Lowe's.
No, you said it. You already said it.
CNN. Yeah.
CNN's there.
CNN, that's
Lowe's
their
is
hub.
based
But
over
CNN's
there.
all gays all the time.
Oh,
the only place with more
sure.
gays than MSNBC is CNN. Like,
Oh, for Christ's
sweet
sakes!
baby
Anderson
Jesus.
Cooper's interviewing
It's a
Trump
fucking
tonight on
daisy
the,
chain
on
in that
the
bitch.
town hall.
And
Don Lemon is
Don
around
Lemon,
there?
I don't know who else. I honestly don't know who else.
Oh, there's
is.
more. There's got to be more gays. I mean, you've got a
The
production
weird thing
staff.
is, I
As
think
far as
Donald Trump
out,
is
I just
way
mean
more
as far as
offensive
any
to
out.
everyone else.
Yeah.
And I don't think he spends a whole lot of time talking about gays.
No.
Who?
Come to Trump.
You're right.
No, he
Oh,
doesn't.
No, he brings up marriage every once in a while, but because
Oh.
the leg that he's standing on is so weak on
But
on
he's-
traditional
he's-
marriage.
On 4 marriages.
He's so busy
Right.
being a fucker to Mexicans and to women.
Right.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
we're
and
ki-
finally,
gays are kind of out of that
on
one.
this on this show a couple weeks ago, I made the comment about Donald. Like, why the fuck does he want to build this wall? Because everyone has he met El Chapo? I said, like, has he met? They're going under, and the place is fucking. It's air conditioned and it's well lit.
And you can drive a
Today
motorcycle
on the
through
View,
it.
George Lopez is like, why does he want to build something up? We dig tunnels. Like,
Yeah.
what
Go
is-
down
and I
30
was
feet.
Like, thank you. That's exactly right. What the?
And I think
apparently
Rachel
George
Maddow
Lopez
did a
was
really
listening.
He was
funny
a
thing.
listener. That's exactly
He-
right.
he was
Rachel Maddow
listening
did
to
a
you.
really funny
George
thing about the
Lopez
cost
is
of the
our show.
actual cost of the wall. Was that her?
That was so well.
Oh, it was on NBC.
Rachel
One
did
of the-
it.
one of
John
the-
Oliver
John
did
Oliver
it.
did it.
Oh, John
I think
Oliver
John
did it.
Oliver did it. Yeah.
funny. Yeah, that was funny. Hi, Nan.
I-
Yeah, but it was.
Hello
it's-
from the other side. No
just-
kidding.
Just funny to me, like that because he doesn't go after gays.
No.
But he
He started off to, but when he realized he really was on the traditional marriage thing.
Oh,
Except
you're
for he
right.
doesn't
he got
qualify.
taken. He
No.
got taken down. So, but you can
true.
only take so many arrows from so many different sides that you're like,
Yeah.
I'm on marriage
I
number
think
3.
that I'm gonna stop now.
And I
Kinda
really-
gotta
right,
give
right.
up on that one.
I think this
yeah.
is his
Yeah.
4th marriage.
I can.
think
Oh
it
no,
his fourth.
this is
Isn't
his
it?
3rd.
Ivanka. No, I mean
Ivana.
Ivana.
right?
Ivana.
And he had one, I thought, really brief one,
I think there's 4 because I
Marla
was.
Maples.
right?
And now this one.
And Marla
Oh, I thought
Maples
there
to
was
me
a really
to me
big one.
goes back to, wasn't she connected to some other presidential candidate like Dukakis or
No,
something?
you're thinking
No,
of Gary Hart.
And you're thinking
Donna
of
Rice.
Gary Hart.
Yeah.
Yep.
But she was in it. But Marla Maples was
And there
an
was another one.
aspiring
Jennifer
actress.
Flowers was
Jennifer
with,
Flowers.
Clinton, right?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
just seemed to be of that ilk, but she wasn't. It was just a bad name
Hey,
choice.
Nero. Yeah, seriously.
So did we do what we did this week? Are we on that part?
We
We
haven't
haven't,
got there
even
yet.
got there yet.
Yeah, we got
Very,
I
very
interrupted
busy.
you all with delicious wine
It
and
was
water.
wonderful. It's
and
good conversation.
hummus.
My goodness.
And humus.
Hummus.
I love some hummus. Well, I have my fingers in too many pies. I have a
Oh,
lot
I
of
don't want to talk
projects
about where your
happening.
fingers have been because that's awkward.
No. There's
Does
a lot of
Sharon know?
What?
I know, right?
She doesn't listen till later.
Oh, I'm sure that's one of the pies.
Show me on the graph how many pies Sharon represents.
Well, we're hoping.
No, you know what?
Could
Spring
make
is
everything real awkward.
spring is just super busy. We were a little short staffed at the bar, so I picked up some extra shifts and did all that. And then I've got a book fair coming up, like my own book fair, which is really labor intensive and planning. And then Pride's coming up this weekend, and I'm trying to herd the cats that are stupid bartenders
Herd
and
the cats. That's
wonderful people, and thank you for
valid.
volunteering to help.
I like that.
It's a valid point, though. I get you.
Oh, it sure is. It sure is. Yeah, it's part of the reason I don't ever want to manage a bar.
No, right.
No shit.
No.
Yep.
Bartenders.
Good call.
Quite the
Ilk.
quite the different type.
Yes.
But yeah, so I've been doing that, and then in the middle of all that, with the boozy moms and everything, I heard there was an issue in rewrite. Well, there was just some struggle, and they needed an extra hand. So then I got myself roped into rewriting the bylaws for the PTO,
Oh my gosh.
which is a super fun endeavor.
Did you include any non-discriminatory lines in there? Anything?
It's actually really funny is I actually did because I was
Boozy moms.
Yeah.
Did you like a lot of boozy moms?
No.
You
It was-
stuff.
Actually, here's the funny thing. Like, I was kind of reading through like what was existing, and we went and I think it was yesterday had kind of a roundtable discussion and went through and suggested and decided on different changes and everything. And so then we went and put it in a Google document, and a couple of us have been kind of editing as we go and commenting and things. And so I was like, okay, fresh read. Let's go top to bottom. Let's look for things like punctuation and dumb spelling and transposed words, and let's just look for dumb stuff. And I go reading through, and I get to the second section, and it's membership. And it read, membership is available and open to all parents, guardians, administrators, and teachers of students at the school. And I said, well, that's so weird. I think that kind of excludes me in a weird way, or could exclude me in a weird way.
Right.
Because Sharon and I aren't married, so I'm not even legally a step parent.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I'm certainly not a legal guardian. I'm actually heads of household was the other thing. And
Okay.
arguably, like for tax purposes, I'm not head of household in my house.
Sure.
If you're talking like primary bread earner, maybe that's not me. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's weird. And I brought it up. I was like, I feel like this kind of excludes me, and two, other alternative type families, not necessarily gay families, but the kid who lives with grandma,
Right.
kid who lives with grandma or other unmarried parents.
Aunt or uncle, sure,
Right,
sure,
exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
and-
I made very inclusive change.
Oh, very nice.
Nicely done. That's awesome.
The grandparent scenario is way more prevalent
Yeah, it
than really gets any kind of mention,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
true.
lots of kids end up living with grandparents who are not then legal guardians.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there are grandparents' law, like specific grandparent laws that
Yeah, and
that you can look into. And sometimes
Well, I bet you
gay
deal with
par-
this a lot.
a lot of different
Yeah.
things, and sometimes gay families can fall into that under the grandparents' law.
Sure.
So there are things to
Yeah.
look at when it comes to rights that can
And,
happen because of
and
that.
in this small instance, it was
Which is
just kind of up for interpretation. Because
Right.
do I parent these children? Yes. Do they live in my
Yeah.
house? Yes. Do they?
But
you know
if
what I
somebody
mean?
wants to read it other than you're reading it, they
Right.
can.
Right,
And
right.
that's the
Absolutely.
problem. Yeah, that's the huge
Yeah.
problem.
So we amended that to include any adult who lives in a
I love it.
household
Good.
with a student.
So at this stage, though you amended the wording
Right. It,
and all.
it hasn't all been approved.
when
Right.
when does who approves it? When does it go to approval, or how does it get done?
So then it goes. The PTO holds a monthly meeting of all members and board members and blah blah blah, and so then it will have to be sent to the membership and then approved at a meeting by
Okay,
a
sure.
majority vote.
And how many of these boozy moms that you did a roundtable with are part of that board, or is there a whole separate board?
We're all part of the organization. There's like a tiered level of boards. There's like an executive board, and then there's a general board, and then there's your membership.
Okay.
And I'm actually, believe it or not, just part of the membership.
Okay.
I'm not a board member of any kind. So then it
Is
just
that something that has to be
willing
voted
volunteer.
in, or is that just
yeah, it
voluntary?
will have to be voted in. So
That
what,
would have to be
what will
okay.
happen is once
No,
we
not the
Well, what about
language.
your campaign?
oh
That you being a board member.
I don't care about being a board
No,
member.
no,
I'm
but
a
that's
one-woman
something
show.
that would have to be.
You are
Yes.
a one-woman show.
Jesus Christ,
There
that
you are,
sounds-
ladies and gentlemen. That's it.
Talk about your understatement.
I'm a one-trick pony and
Yeah.
a one-woman show.
yeah.
But no, I'm
And God bless you for
But
it.
the people that are voting on that, like to vote
it will
in.
be presented out at an open meeting.
Okay.
So anyone in attendance will have a vote
Got it.
and an opportunity to question
Got
and
it.
talk about it and raise objections.
Change the language a
And
little
I
if
th-
you
I
like
think
it.
the only stipulation is we have to have a a quorum of board members at the meeting for any voting to be valid.
When the word quorum
The
comes up, I
quorum.
feel
I
like
like that. Yeah.
That's
we're in a weird
official.
place.
That's just a certain number of people.
I have to
that
say,
means
like-
8 people.
Right.
Eight of a certain list of people have to be
Quorum
there.
means 8.
No,
A certain 8 of people, or no?
No. That's just the number that we need to have
That
because
you
it's,
need.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
I'm like, I
it's
didn't know
typically
quorum meant-
Dear
2/3.
Google, what is quorum?
2/3
It's
of a
gotta be.
membership.
It's,
It's a,
is it
as far as a group,
2/3
but
of
I
a
didn't
membership?
know-
In
when
our
she
case,
said
it is.
8, I thought
But
I
it-
didn't
but-
know that.
oh,
So
she's
Stand
gonna
by.
Something with
She's gonna
4.
find
yeah.
out.
Okay. Yeah.
She's gonna find out.
I do have to say though, and because of my like very, what's the word I want to look for? Sheltered upbringing. No, honestly, like I
truthfully.
didn't know anybody
see
who was
that.
divorced. I never
We've
knew a
talked about
child
that
of
before,
divorce
yeah.
till I was like
Okay.
a teenager. Like I didn't know about
Yes, I've
alternative
heard all the
families.
stories. I didn't think you were
Yeah.
very sheltered in a lot of ways.
As far as like the family unit goes, like
Oh.
there were aunts and uncles and grandparents, and like I grew up with the It Takes It village. Like the whole
Sure.
neighborhood was
Raised
involved.
you, right?
Yeah.
But with everybody's parents, like the only reason you didn't have a mother and father is because someone was dead.
Right.
Like divorce was
Right.
not something I had ever heard of.
And I was
Okay.
one of the first. I was the first in our elementary school to have
An adopted?
divorced parents.
Oh, divorced parents.
Yeah.
because no one knew that dad was not my biological
Oh,
father.
gotcha.
So
And-
it was about them being
and we
divorced. when I
kept it
was
kind of
12.
hush hush that like that was not the lady down the street. That was not her. Like the oldest son was not her husband's child. Like I didn't
Oh.
find it out till later. Like why last names were different. It just wasn't talked about. And it wasn't until I saw, and not from watching it personally, but somebody was talking about Sesame Street addressing alternative families. And I
Oh.
had seen the clip on some news show where they were like, "Ooh, it's so controversial." And they were talking about some people have a mommy and daddy, some people live with their grandparents. And I remember just watching it like as
Fascinated, I'm sure.
an older person. I don't think
Right.
I could say I was fully an adult, but I was probably like 16 or 17 years old going, "What? Oh, you know what it is? Now that I think about it, I think it was Mrs. Doubtfire. I think it's the segment in
Oh.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, that's funny.
Where he has that
Where he
conversation.
talks through, right.
And I was like, that's an important message to send to children. Like, you don't, like, we can't judge how you grew up. Like, we can't
No.
say,
No.
like, all these conversations about you have to have a mother and father. Well, if someone's dead, then someone's
Right.
got to help. Like,
and,
you
lots,
need,
and all along the way, lots of people sure
Yeah,
haven't.
and you need aunts and uncles or cousins or next door neighbors. Like, somebody's got to help
The
with this
only
thing.
way we can judge you is if you were raised in the South by uneducated Republican parents. That's the only way in hell
both
we
Christian, both white.
can. Because
But
parents
have-
just are white.
Amen.
I have to
sister.
say that might have been my first introduction to how to explain to children was from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Sure.
And that's how much
And that's
older I was.
actually a really great
Wow.
explanation. Like I remember seeing that for the first time and thinking that's a really great way to
True, it was.
put that out to kids because some people just do and it just is.
Isn't that the scene where he's sitting in the chair in the living room set and he's talking to
Yeah,
a puppet
and
and
about
talking
and
to
it's-
a puppet.
Yeah.
And it's after the court order that he can't see his kids.
right,
anymore.
right.
It's
Yeah, and
very
you're
touching.
dealing with an alternative family that like there's no judgment. Like you're not allowed to judge how people like raise their kids in the healthiest way that they can. And I remember, and it just clicked a button for me of like, that's an important thing to say to kids is like, you can go to school and be like, why don't I have a dad? Well, it's not happening.
Right.
Dad's
Yeah.
dead, dad's missing, but there's
Sure.
no father. So we have to find some other way to make you feel like you're a real person.
I don't remember though.
But I remember coming up with Clinton. Sorry to interrupt, but I remember coming up with Clinton because Clinton was like the first president that they ever talked about
Sure,
who
you
didn't
bet.
have a father.
You bet.
Because his father was dead.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh,
I actually
that
don't-
they
never
had
thought
gotten
about it.
I
divorced
don't know.
because of an.
Honestly, I
I
don't
thought
know.
he was an abusive man. I might be making all kinds of stuff
Stuff up.
right now.
And I
No
don't want to
idea.
go out on that limb
But
with you,
I
but
feel like because of
but he was a
his
single
mom
mother, yeah.
and there was.
But I remember
her
through the
strength,
Clinton era that
I feel
came
like that's
up of
true.
like this is the child of a single mother and what a success story. Like we have
out of
to
Hope,
stop,
Arkansas.
but we have
and
to start. Yeah, we have to stop
William
bashing.
Jefferson Clinton. Like
We have
there
to
was all
stop.
that
Yeah,
kind
we
of-
have to stop bashing single mothers because they can raise a president. Like I
Oh,
remember
no.
that in '92. I remember that. Wow.
I got on the not bashing single mothers bandwagon a long time ago because obviously my mom was and for many years, not all of them, but for many years, like my parents were divorced in '75, and then mom.
Well, he evidently did die in a car crash. My apologies.
Okay, so the father did.
The father
Bill
did,
Clinton's
yeah.
father died in
His
a car
actual
crash.
father,
So
yes.
the mom raised him on her own.
And Roger Clinton, Senior, who is his. Remember Bill Clinton's brother,
But-
Roger Clinton?
Yeah.
Who
I
was
don't.
a little bit.
He was the
different?
Billy Carter of the
Right,
Clinton
right, right.
Oh,
administration.
now I do remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, that's what makes sense to me.
I
now.
don't remember
Okay.
though. I had a different name. My last name has obviously always been the same. And at one point, I debated changing my last name to my mother's maiden name, which she went back to her maiden name after after several years, which made her father thrilled.
Right.
Because, he had 3 daughters. They all married off, changed their last names. There was in his line, there was no name that was carrying on. And I almost did, but Clayton Allen Luganbill doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah.
So I just left mine. It's easier. So, but Mom went back to her maiden name.
And sometimes you listen to your name and it sounds right. Like you're like to change
Clayton
there.
McKee has just been what it's been forever, and that's fine.
And it sounds right.
Yeah,
and
it's
Mom
fine.
kept the
Very
same
nice.
last name. That was my mom kept Ryer because that was kind of a connection. I was only 12, so to keep it more simple with
My mom did the
mine.
same thing for a while. She did the same, kept the name. But I don't remember, like in school, and there probably was, and I don't remember, and I'm sure Mom probably doesn't remember at all. If there was ever that weirdness of like filling out paperwork and be like, my last name was McKee and her last name wasn't, and was there some
Well,
weird...
that was much less common than like my I have an aunt who divorced when her children were very, very young, and she also kept the married name for a really long time. I think till both kids were over the age of 18.
Okay.
And a lot of people do that so that there's a connection, so that Mom doesn't have a different last name. Like that, you hear that a lot.
I know Mom did that for a while.
I have to tell you, in reading this, I've never paid attention to this, never knew this, and I'm intrigued. So William Jefferson Blythe was Bill Clinton's father. I never paid attention to the fact that...
Did you get to the part on the timeline about his fourth wife?
Yes, I did.
Whose fourth
that was
wife?
His fourth
Bill
wife.
Bill Clinton's dad, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he died in a motorcycle accident, or a car accident in 46.
Crash.
But I did...
In 1940, at 46 years old, or
In 1946.
Wow.
So Bill Clinton was born in 45, right? Am I lying?
So he never knew his father.
No.
Got it.
No, and that was the whole point. Was that
And so
his
Bill
dad was
really-
36 when he died.
and it's funny now that we're reading stuff
His
because
dad
now
was 36.
now we're quite far into our history. So there's all this stuff about blaming Hillary for DOMA and don't ask, don't tell, and there's all these things about like grand political compromises that were reached to avoid worse scenarios. And one of the things that people don't remember is like how revolutionary the world was in 1992, because it's 24 years later and we've had like TV shows and now like single moms raising children and like all this stuff. Like everything now seems like, well, why was that a big deal? It was a huge deal.
Very different
that
world.
a single mom raised a president. That was, and it may have
big
happened
deal,
before
yeah.
because of widowers, but because of what the Republicans were selling in 1992 about like only one mother
Family
and one
values,
father
right.
can raise a normal child, that they raised a president was just a big fucking deal.
And also the abusive part, I knew that there was something. Roger Clinton Sr.,
Okay.
his stepdad was abusive, alcoholic and abusive to Virginia.
His mother,
mother.
Bill's mom.
Bill's mom.
Got it.
I knew that there was something with...
I mean, that's interesting. I didn't know that because I honestly don't know a lot about the Muslim religion. Muslim women don't change their last names when they get married, so most Muslim kids don't have the same names as their mothers. I didn't realize that.
They do have the same names as their mother. Oh, they don't. Have
Because
the
they
same name.
don't.
Okay.
So-
Now, in Hispanic communities, you take your mother and father's name as a hyphenate.
Right.
Which, when we get a patient in the hospital, they'll run it together as one big thing, and people can't pronounce it. I'm like, just find where one name ends
Right.
and the second name starts.
Where does Martinez Vasquez? Figure out, divide those two. You're fine.
And that literally is what we
No,
run
I
into.
totally understand that. Totally understand it because you're right. It's all hyphenated. And they've got like 5 names.
So, any chance of you remembering what you did this week?
as a matter of fact.
She saw deer and she chastised us because last week
I did. He kept the goddamn phone on.
I
He was
fought for
bitching about me.
inclusiveness. You are arguing with
with Bambi.
I
the
was
forest
not.
fauna.
I was not.
Or flora? I'm not sure.
No. I think that's plants.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
She could have been
plants.
fighting with them too. Who knows?
Were you fighting the flora too?
I was mad at all of it.
That's my new band name. Wait. That is my new
Fight the
Florence and the
Flora.
Machine
So,
cover
in
band
in
name.
between talking to
Fighting
you-
the flora.
In between talking to you in line, we talked to her back in the.
I heard a little bit of that.
Okay.
And I pulled in the driveway. I was driving myself back, and this
She said she
dumbass
wasn't
leaves
driving.
No, I didn't. Then I didn't
No,
hear the
she
question.
said she wasn't driving.
No,
you
you
said, "Were you
no.
drinking?"
No, I think we said, "Are you driving?" While you were talking to Chick. No, I'm not driving. Remember, you had
Oh
stopped
yeah,
the car.
I did. I was stopped at a stoplight when I said that to you, so I didn't feel I was lying
Currently driving.
I didn't feel like I was lying as much.
as much as a good
Sitting
point.
at the stoplight, I'm technically not driving.
Omission, maybe.
Stopped.
I was very close to where I was going, but not drunk. Not. I was well behaved. Hi, Harrison.
But when you looked at it, you said, "But there are 11
I did.
deer."
I pulled into the driveway, and all of a sudden there are these deer staring at me, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!"
We
So
thought
it's
she'd
kind of
crashed into a circus or a zoo somewhere.
similar.
Oh, you missed it last
Oh
week.
no, I saw that. I saw online.
She did. Between that and the John Oliver, she had way too much fun. She laughed so hard
That was
last
so
week
much
doing
fun.
that.
I didn't know what that was, but I saw it.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, that's
That's
very funny.
hysterical.
That's what qualifies as a
You
Clayton
know, my
McKee
sister
bobblehead.
lives on an island, and it's
The
populated
professor
with
and
deer.
Marianne.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it in the stream?
No, it's still the old
Oh,
days.
it could be an island in the street.
It's and the rest. You know what I mean? They didn't have time to rhyme all 6 people on the island, so and the rest.
and Marianne.
No, the first 2 years
Oh,
it was
that's right.
black
It
and white.
was the rest. That's
Sure,
right.
sure.
And
all
the
the
rest.
rest.
There's only 2 more people. Fit them in the fucking song.
It's hard to rhyme. Rhyming is hard.
Where are they
They weren't
going?
sure if they were gonna
And
kill
it
them
doesn't
off
even
or not at
rhyme.
that
The
point.
Professor and Marianne. It took 3 years to get that line out. So
Writer's strike.
And
she-
in Marianne vaguely rhyme.
Yeah, so she lives on this island. And those deer are fucking nuts. They just sit there. And my niece and I were walking, and like we're walking through the woods, doily along,
Doily.
enjoying our day. And this deer is like looking at us, and this bitch is not moving.
The fuck?
Like I was like, I think we lose this. The
my island.
The stare-off battle just got lost by the 2 humans because we're not
Shit got
armed.
real.
Shit got real.
We're not armed.
We're not armed.
Right, because they'll kill
But
you.
they have to, like, what's it called? Culling the herd? Because it's an island, so you can't have that many deer.
sure. Okay.
Isn't that the right way to say thinning the herd? Is
Yes.
culling?
We can
Deer Google.
winnow the herd.
Winnow the herd. Winnowing down.
To use a political term.
But it's
I
just
like it.
it's really funny to see them because they're so brazen. But it's an island, so they do have to thin the herd. Like they can't ship them somewhere else. Like they do have
Oh, no,
hunting
no,
season and
well,
have to like.
that's the hard part because
But
she really does.
They're so used to humans now that
Right.
they do not fucking. They don't even blink.
Because
at
they
ya.
know that you'll back off. So
Yeah.
like, we'll win.
I can explain.
Pete is
to
on our
you-
side,
The
bitch.
bald guy and the Buick are going to move. Come
Yeah.
on, stay here.
I can explain to you exactly why Seidel has that many deer in her backyard.
Because she
Salsa?
feeds
First
them.
of all, she feeds them.
She feeds them and she shouldn't.
And this
Found the
backyard
salt
is
in the story.
it's really quite big, and there's a stream right there. It's very beautiful, but she goes to the feed store,
Sure.
Yeah.
and it's in an area where that's just not a good idea because they're running across the street. They're running across. I mean, so people.
Yeah,
can
and a
get-
big
it's
deer on a
dangerous.
highway is a very dangerous,
Dangerous.
dangerous
Oh my God.
scenario.
Speaking as someone who's hit a deer with a Cadillac,
Sure.
I know all
Yeah,
too well
it's
how much
awful.
damage.
and you
Oh.
lose.
You lose.
I mean, the
Oh.
deer dies, but that car is gone.
Yep.
They
yep.
no.
Sometimes.
The one I hit, they fixed it, but I remember going
What
over
year
it.
was this
They
then?
fixed the deer or the car.
the car.
The
Got
car.
it. Okay, I just wanted to make
But
sure.
what year? What year are we talking?
Just making sure.
Let's see, I moved here in 93, so we're talking 90, 91.
Yeah.
And
So cars aren't made of steel
Right,
anymore.
right,
They're
right.
made of
No.
fiberglass and shit.
Yep.
Like,
okay, right, no. Okay.
let me
They
just say,
explode.
nowadays when you hit a deer, the deer
Yeah,
still
it's done.
dies, but your car does too.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
there's
Yep,
2
yep.
deaths on that road.
I hit him with an early 80s Eldorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It was. So
say,
I'm just
the car
here to
was
tell you
fine.
those days of the Rust Belt and like the those people making beautiful steel automobiles are long
Sure.
gone. That deer will fuck up your
Yeah,
car.
Oh God.
Oh, absolutely.
Awful.
You'll probably be fine with the seatbelt, but that's going to be an ugly, ugly wreck.
And a lot of people.
And cattle, too. Cattle do the same thing.
Oh no, cattle, you're done. Like
You're
you
really
lose that.
Oh,
The
those
cattle-
are way
Way
heavier
worse.
than
Oh, no,
deer.
right. It's like hitting the broadside of a caterpillar, like
Of a cow,
dozer.
yeah.
No, of a tree. Okay, so
Or a
culling,
trump
killing
wall.
off small animals, some animals.
Thank you, Amina.
So Shane and I, back years ago, were on that little trip through, we were doing the Thelma, we were doing like the Highway 1 up the coast,
Oh,
Thelma
yeah.
and Louise down the coast. So we drove the whole western United States down different highways to see stuff. And we were in the middle of fucking nowhere. No lights, no phones, no luxuries.
No motor car, not a
no
single
motor- no
luxury.
Like Levinson and Caruso.
Oh, as primitive as can be.
If they have the
And
same,
we're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
So we're like
good time. I'm
driving
glad I showed
down.
up
We're
today.
driving down the empty fucking road in the middle of nowhere. I think we were in Idaho, and like cow. Like, that's what we kept saying.
Right.
Cow's coming, cow. And it was just flat plain. So we could see the cow coming from like
miles.
a long
Right.
ways
Yeah.
away. We're like, cow.
because Idaho's no fun to drive through.
Cow.
Yep.
No,
Cow.
so
Still cow.
flat.
Cow's coming. And we intersected at the same point and had to like slam on our brakes. And that cow just stood in the road.
Yeah.
It didn't give a
They look at you like, really?
Shit.
Come on, bitch.
Yeah.
But this thing was massive. It was as hot, and we were in one of those little girl trucks, whatever they're called, like a Chevy S10 or some shit that like has an S4 engine.
That's what I drive.
I know those little fucking girls.
That's probably why you said it.
Yeah,
I was surprised you actually
He
got to the
didn't
name of the
know.
truck, though.
I don't think
like
you knew.
That was like a
He's- yeah,
Toyota
he's smarter
Tacoma.
than he looks.
It was some early '90s
right.
bullshit car, but it was just
Mazda
a
B2.
way, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a truck only in the girly panty sense. Like this thing was not hauling anything anywhere.
Ooh, scary.
It was taking some CDs and a couple of light dresses up to San Diego. But this cow was higher than we were. Like we were eye to eye with the cow in the cab of the truck. And we had both said, like, we had been driving the night before through the same country. We had just stopped to like sleep. If that had come out in the middle of the night, like we wouldn't have lived through it. We were in an old car that had no airbags, had no safety nets whatsoever, and that thing would have fucked us up. And if we would have lived, we would have died at the side of the road because there weren't cars for miles.
Right. Nobody would have known you had
But
happened.
I did not know until I was up close and like one-on-one with a cow that, oh, you're not winning. That thing is massive.
You're not winning.
Like, milk me, bitch. That's what I thought that thing was going to turn around and say.
And they're so
Pull on this udder,
What
y'all.
yeah, little cunt.
Wow.
cows are the dumbest animals I've ever met.
Oh, and
They're the
Mina says
worst.
Nairobi has elephants. Can you
Oh, God.
imagine?
Oh my God, no.
Of course,
No.
of course they own the road.
Yeah.
They're bigger than any land-moving
I
piece of
can't even
equipment. They're just,
I don't.
imagine.
That's
I
like an
feel
SUV.
I
That's
don't
like
wanna-
a range. What are those things called? No, RV.
yes.
Right,
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Winnebago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Winnebago.
And what's funny is like 2 weeks ago, I googled Nairobi, and it looks like a very beautiful place. But now with the elephant
No, right.
situation,
No.
I'm not going.
Nope.
I don't anticipate me driving
No,
anywhere.
you're- I mean,
ever.
so-
I'd be okay
All
with
right.
the elephant.
Now,
situation.
Amina, you're
I'd
going to
be
have to
okay
correct
with
me, but I think we're in sub-Saharan Africa, if I'm not mistaken. You're in like we're not pretending.
Oh, yeah.
That's like
No,
being
I
in
was-
Virginia and being surprised you saw a deer. Like you're.
But beautiful images come up when you Google image
Oh,
search.
no,
like
it's a
Nairobi.
it's
It
a
looks
beautiful
very,
city.
Their
very,
tourism
very
board is
beautiful city.
working overtime
Yeah.
on that, I'm sure.
But you
Those
go
images
5
are
minutes
nice.
outside, and it's
Yeah.
just like Virginia. 5 minutes outside, you're in the country, kids.
That
Like, we
sounds
ain't
Yeah,
fucking around, but
there's- and such poverty in some of those areas.
I-
in looking
And horrible
in reading
internet.
through.
Same with
Talk
Virginia.
about that.
No, absolutely. But I'm just saying, like in reading through, I had never paid attention to.
For
some
those of you
the-
listening in Virginia or
I
Louisiana,
shouldn't say not paid attention, but
Yeah.
I hadn't realized to a degree.
we need to move on to what you did, and then
I
and then
voted.
let's
We had a
move-
wonderful birthday party for Harrison was in town. We did a
Yes.
beautiful birthday party for Doug Wilkie at French Grocery. If you're gonna have a birthday party and you like good food and wine, arrange it. Get some people together. It's absolutely beautiful. Marnie and Ernie were out of town, or Marnie was out of town.
Yep.
It was a beautiful party at
Really
French
would have
Grocery.
loved to have been there.
It was lovely, and we went back to my house for drinks afterwards. The food was spectacular, absolutely spectacular, and the cake was to die
Oh,
for.
yeah.
The cake was handmade cake with like fresh fruit and like berry grenache and all this shit. But the courses went on and on. We ate for a good solid 3 hours.
Oh
on
my
what we had, and
gosh.
the
I can't
food
believe it,
was the food was to die for. And then the
sounds
voting
amazing
was
to me.
it was French Grocery, French Grocery, French
I
Grocery,
was just saying to
French
Clayton, I've
Grocery.
noticed that I sit here for 3 hours and eat.
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh.
but to
Same
have
concept.
course
I have more
after
snacks.
course, and it's really the art of dining, which I think has really been lost.
Totally.
And I didn't lose it because I never had it because my family ate like the house was
Right.
on fire. So I'm kind of like
Two kinds of people in this house:
Yeah,
the
exactly.
quick and the hungry. That's
Yeah.
all you got.
That's all you get. So I have to
Eat it and beat it.
I have to say, like, sitting there for all that time and enjoying appetizers and the amuse-bouche and the salad course and the meat course and the dessert
I
course.
could do that for 11
and doing
days.
conversation throughout the whole thing where you have to keep yourself entertained. Like, It was a lovely experience. And then the voting, and then I went to Vegas and I saw the Beatles Love, but we'll talk about that in entertainment.
I'm sure we will. I don't recall you ever saying you were going to Vegas. All of a sudden, I saw you.
Because we
check
missed
in.
him for a week. He probably would have mentioned
but
it.
usually in passing, in some sort of, I will hear about it somehow.
No, it was very last minute. I went to see Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. Oh, we actually did miss it because it happened in between. I met a friend for the day before St. Patrick's Day. We did Rulabula. He had told me he and his girlfriend were going to Vegas to see Love. Would I like to come? I was like, I want to go. And I booked it the next day, and I was going to talk about it last week.
Okay.
It was a 48-hour trip. It was right after work, so I knew I was going to be up for 36 hours. So I did all my coffee and planning around a 45-minute nap for 36 hours of awake. And it was a good time. Vegas is a toxic place,
yes.
But if you gotta go, you gotta go, and it's.
Gotcha.
You just make your peace with your maker,
and then the other oddity was you sent me a text that all the mail that had been held in August. What happened?
How did I forget that? So I get home yesterday and I'm like, there's gonna be one day of mail. Like I just didn't want to alert all the guards. I was only gonna be gone from like after the mail came on Saturday till before the mail came on Monday. My plane was 5 hours late because of a storm in Reno. You just can't plan on that. But I come home to like this mailbox full of shit, and some of it's in this big plastic bag, and I'm like,
oh my God.
What the fuck is going on?
Well, the plastic bag means something, though. Like when it shows up in the plastic bag, that means there's a little note that says, we fucked up, here's your mail.
And it says, oh, your mail was damaged. There was not a damaged piece of mail in that. You're just 8 months late, you motherfuckers.
They lost it.
They lost it.
Was there anything in there of any value at this point?
Well, there was the fall movie preview episode of Entertainment Weekly, which is very important.
Which is super important.
But the thing that I was really waiting for the whole time was the invitation for my friend Justin and Kurt's wedding.
You're late.
And I was very upset when I knew I lost the mail because I really wanted a copy of their wedding invitation because I've been to gay weddings before, but it's always like last minute, like somebody's pregnant or it's like a fire sale or like it's always something.
This was an elaborate planned
out. It's buy one, get one on gay marriages. Let's go.
Yeah, this was one of those. We got to save the dates. We got all these things. Everything was planned out. It was very elaborate. And I told you that when we went to the wedding, we were like, oh, do we stand up here? Like, you know what I mean? Like no one had been to like a planned out event, old fashioned wedding with two men. So everyone was like, should we stand for him or should we? And then we're like, stand up. And then we're like, well, do we stand up for the whole ceremony? Now we all stood up and nobody knows why. And the officiant, please be seated. We're like, well, thank God somebody told us the rules.
Exactly right.
So I really wanted this invitation because it was the first time I'd been to a gay wedding that was a wedding, a wedding of two men that was that planned out and thoughtful. And I'm like, we need some etiquette. Like somebody has to come through and provide wedding etiquette. Like you can't play Here Comes the Bride unless there's a bride, unless it's two women.
Short, fat,
and then,
wide, right?
Even then,
which bride do you stand for?
10 years ago, I had a couple of friends who got unioned. I guess it would have been 20. It was actually.
They Norma Raid themselves.
Norma Raid it.
18 years ago, they got unioned.
Was it hostile or civil?
No, they held up a sign. But it was
seems hostile.
I think so. But they asked me to be an usher, and I'm like, all right. And so
a black singer?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. And they come through. These people are coming through the door, and they're like, "So, which side is the bride on?" And by then, I'm so fucking confused.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Which one?"
Because there's questions that you're programmed to ask about a wedding, but all of a sudden, like the rules have changed. So you need you need the gay Martha Stewart or just Martha Stewart,
right?
But you need someone to come through and be like, "All right, here's the etiquette."
She's still on house arrest. I don't think she could come.
Yeah, exactly. Is the anklet off? So you don't.
Can we FaceTime her? Does that count?
But It was just very confusing as to like what's the respectful thing to do, not what's the right thing to do, but which one says respect to both. Like one is to honor the woman in a tradition that doesn't honor the woman, so somebody stands up for her once and the rest of the time she's in shitville because marriage is an ugly institution. My opinion. It's why I didn't really want gay marriage.
I understand.
But now you're in this
gay marriage. You got
marriage.
Equality.
So what do you do? So this invitation meant a lot to me, and luckily when I had told them that in the mail fiasco, and they were like, no, other people have lost their invitations too, and Kurt's mom, who had handwritten each one and she had designed a style of calligraphy and written out the things and done the handmade things. When she found out that I was one of the people that didn't do it, didn't get an invitation, she wrote out a whole new one for me and like delivered it
that's
to me
nice.
when I arrived
Aw.
for the first day of
Very nice.
celebrations. And I was so touched by that. That
So,
she did
so now
it.
you have both.
Yeah, no, it didn't come.
Oh, it still didn't
so
come.
the only thing that
Wow.
meant anything to me from all that lost fucking mail still didn't.
Still not there.
Give it a few months.
And you said a lot of other
8
people.
more months.
But at least
said
you have
a
that
lot of
copy of
other people,
Entertainment.
Same thing happened.
It turns out the USPS is most as much as I want to support those motherfuckers.
Right.
They lose a lot of
funny.
shit. But
Thank you
it
for
turns
hearing
out
that.
mass mailings are bad.
funny.
Mass mailings don't go well. You lose a lot.
That's
No.
interesting.
And so wedding invitations are one of the big mass private mailings. That's one of the things
No,
that's so
I'm
much.
Yeah, I got all the Christmas cards from all the fuckers I don't like.
I'm gonna parlay what happened to me over the past week, although I haven't seen you for 2, with oddly a little mail story. But again,
Ooh, segue.
this week it's been.
Speaking of mail.
I took mom.
Boyfriend in a box.
Again, set it to top of the show. It's mom's birthday. I went to lunch with mom on Saturday. Took her to a car show that I had hoped would be much more exciting. We had 50 cars.
It's a
we were
car
done in-
show. What are you thinking?
No, but I mean, I figured more than 50 cars, and 25 of them I'd already seen before. We walked through in 20 minutes. We were done. That was it.
What
No-
did you expect for a gay car show?
I just expected more
Yeah.
because it was built up last year to be.
Now he's
oh,
getting
the
defensive, so let it go.
No, because no, but they built it up, and it was such a grand time. And I'm like, this is the grand time.
Right.
It happens.
But the best thing was it was a donation entry, and all the monies went to the high school at the 1 in 10. So
Okay.
my 20
Very
bucks
nice.
went to that.
Very
It was all a
nice.
good charity.
$20 is $20.
So did that. It's Michael's birthday. We've been running around doing his thing. Blah blah blah. Getting ready for Pride. That's all coming up this week because the end of this week is very busy for
Right.
Very
everybody.
busy for
But
everyone.
the mail thing, and I just find this wonder. And I was going to ask you all if you run into this very often. I have lived like Marnie. Marnie's lived in her house
24 years.
24 years.
a
I've been
long
in this
time.
house 15 years. How often do you get mail?
Damn life, 22.
Still
Anyway.
for people who don't live there anymore.
Oh, his name's
Oh,
Randy
yeah.
something, and
Yeah.
every fucking day I'm
But you've
sending
only
that
been in
shit
your
back.
house how many years?
7 years.
Okay, 7 years. And-
I've only been at my house 18 months.
okay. So the other
still
day,
do. No.
and it's very, very rare that sometimes the mailmen get it wrong and they'll give me the mail for a neighbor. That's
course.
fine, no big
Yeah.
deal.
Different, right?
Yeah.
Right, and I always take Cynthia's mail to her next door and all that stuff. But this time, and I just found it odd. I get a piece of mail from a radiological professional clinic up in somewhere. This is in Carroll Stream, Illinois. It's their billing department, is what it is.
In Illinois. Wow.
Illinois. Now, so the person who's on it, I don't even remember ever receiving mail for this person before, but obviously I've only lived here 15 years. So, out of pure curiosity, I Googled the name of the son of a bitch who's on this piece of mail.
I would have steamed it
That's
open. But go
interesting.
ahead.
Well, I haven't opened it yet.
I
It's
just
still here.
opened it.
Still here. But I Googled the name.
Well, because
and
if you
oddly,
open it,
Federal crime. Yeah,
gonna
only
know?
if you get caught.
found out that the person this
Done
is
that,
addressed to was arrested recently in Maricopa County and is
Oh.
currently in jail for assault.
Oh, don't open it. Don't open it.
So I called just
Don't commit a felony on air.
No,
So
no.
I called this place and I'm like, I need to find out who's in the building. I need to update. I'm getting mail for somebody that doesn't live here for 15 years. I think it's funny that they haven't lived here for over 15 years.
Sure.
So I call and the one woman is like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. I have to transfer you to the different department, yada, yada, yada. So I finally get to the department. No live person. And they wanted me to leave all these numbers, the account number and all this stuff, all the shit that I don't have. I hung up. But I'm like, I was just trying to be a good citizen and be like, okay, he's alive. He's in the custody of Maricopa County
Right.
Sheriff's
You can
Department.
find him.
But he's not going to pay this bill. I'm going to guarantee you that. In an effort to hopefully stop them from mailing. I just thought it was interesting. But I was just curious how much mail that does not belong to you, and people in the chat room as well. How many times do you get mail for somebody that lived where you currently live that's no longer a tenant there?
Legitimately about half of my mail.
Really?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I get like a letter a week for Randy. And then somebody that lived in my house at some point had a painting business.
Okay.
So I get invoices or tax bills for this painting business.
Oh, wow.
And I inadvertently opened Randy's mail the other day because he had I thought it was part of the old mail, but he was one of the parts of the Monday mail.
Okay.
He's had some work done at Scottsdale Healthcare Clinic. Probably should. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. I'll sing Beatles. They'll mute out the whole thing.
Great. Now we can't upload this show. We have to destroy it forever.
So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Other than that, it's been a great week. The weather's beautiful. We're rolling into a Pride weekend, and I hope it all goes smoothly, and I think it will.
I think the weather's going to be really nice.
I got the email for scripts for our parade. I can go through. Well, I'm going to edit them first, and then they've left them. This is the first year that they've taken my suggestion. They are when I send them back, they will send them back to us in a format if we choose to put them on a tablet. So we could actually, rather than printing 87 pages in a 3-ring binder that's wasteful, we could literally put them on a pad of the eye and scroll through them ourselves.
I'm concerned about sun glare.
Sun glare and power.
A real bad eyesight.
A real thing outside with sun glare I found out recently. I'm not sure about the iPad, but the phone is not doing well lately. This new phone, this is my first time with the 9.5.2 or whatever the fuck number this is. With a bright outdoor Las Vegas sun, I could not see my phone at all. And not because I need my glasses. That's a whole different issue. This was because I just could not see what the hell it said in that bright sunlight.
I enjoy the environmentalism of it, but I think standing in the sun in the middle of the street...
I'm afraid of dropping my iPad in the middle of the street.
I'm afraid of that.
Cases like this are made for.
Well, I have that too.
You're good.
I'm actually more concerned that I can't see the iPad.
Okay. Well, but I didn't say we were going that route.
I'm happy to foot the bill for the printing.
No, it's just the first time that they've offered that is what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're going that route. I'm just saying that
very kind of them.
Offered it.
Yeah, but
they're very cutting edge there.
Doesn't Katie June carry like a clipboard and like doesn't she usually have hers?
What we do is we have each stage has a 3-ring binder.
Yeah.
I've already edited the scripts. Right. We both get the same book, and then Katie and I hand it back and forth.
I was thinking she had like a 3-ring or a.
I think the down the street binder is really just a stack of paper stapled together.
I don't know. Ours have always been put in a 3-ring binder.
We weren't very bindery down the street.
Well,
I thought she had a clipboard for that.
Should be this year very bindery. Bound.
I do enjoy it.
The fact that you two are going to be bound is. I might even come out Sunday morning.
Enjoy a binder.
Oh, if you don't, you're not going to miss anything. It's going to be the same fucking parade with us.
Yeah, I know, but we love that.
It's all good.
So it's good. We'll see. And what time does that start at?
10.
Steps
Sunday
off at
10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mom found an error in the website today. They had both stages at the same address.
Oh.
So I screenshot it, sent it to Justin. They're updating it now.
Good.
Magic.
Yes, it's fucking magic.
It's magic.
It's fucking magic. Hand to pocket. Pocket, fuck you. Anyway.
Hi, Dale.
Anyway,
Uncle
boys
Chip,
and girls,
Uncle Chip.
we are... What did I do? I did something wrong here. Where did this go? Where did the thingy go? There it is. I need this right here.
Oh, no, Dale is from New York State.
Yeah,
We
Dale
are
is
coming back.
My Dale. Dale's
We're running late.
Okay.
We're going to do headlines when we come back. There's so much to cover. It's the show. It's Q Talk America. It's Tuesday. We'll be right back. Thank you for listening.
You've been listening to the show on Q Talk America. This is Q Talk America.
The following broadcast contains adult humor, language, and topics, along with partial nudity. Actual knowledge is used sparingly. This show is a result of a lost bet and a bad game of rock, paper, scissors. It's The Show with Clayton McKee. And now, a man with a face for radio, Clayton McKee.
Hi again, everybody. Welcome. It's the beginning of Hour 2. And what do we do at the beginning of Hour 2? We do this. It's called the drinking disclaimer, and it goes a little something. Where'd my fucking cursor go? I hate when my cursor leaves. Where's it? There it is. It goes like this.
And now, a drink along. We dare you to stay awake during this royalty-free music and to play a drinking game with us. If you are currently or soon to be driving a car, you cannot play. If you are presently the primary caregiver for children and or the elderly, you may desperately want to play, but no. If you are listening from a rehab facility, you are disqualified because you already hit bottom. And that means you already won this game at least once. If playing this game is in any way illegal for you, put the bottle down and make better life choices. There is no good in your goodbye, and there is no lifeguard on duty, so you will be swimming at your own risk. Tell your lawyer to take the fucking day off. You can't sue us. We warned you. Good luck.
Alfie.
I'm just kidding.
All right, in honor of my friend Stacy, who I had a little reunion lunch with, our drinking phrase is body heals itself. Just work it out.
I like it.
Body heals itself.
Body heals itself. And
I like it. Okay.
We say that a lot at work. Whenever you're like, I don't know what to do, the body heals itself. Just walk away.
Sure.
Like it's just the honest reaction to illness. Like the best thing to do is just nothing and let your own natural
Heals itself.
defenses body heal
Body
itself.
heals itself. Cheers.
Stupidity, body heals itself.
Body.
Okay.
I like it.
And
My
with
insides are on the outside. Body heals itself.
type all that out, Clayton.
okay, give me just a few. I got a lot going on right now, so stand by.
Very busy. Very busy.
We're running late, but we're gonna still do it. It's entertainment right now. No. I hit the wrong stinger. See how fucked up we are?
That was some good. That was a good reaction.
Are you-
You know what? Body heals itself.
Body heals itself.
Are you awake?
Hey, by the way-
Are you awake now, Al?
Yeah, I am.
There we go. There you have
There
it.
hasn't been a show yet without a
Just
technical.
saying, there still hasn't.
Let's not do entertainment. Let's do headlines.
Yeah.
Oh, for the
I'm
love of
excited about the
God.
timing of this. We're never going to get to my segment, and I'm okay.
No, we're going to 10:30.
Now the entertainment section's like 20 seconds long.
Oh, be kind,
alert.
rewind, and then maybe return it.
Pezzy assholes.
I unfriend you.
It's not how this
I mean, it
works.
works.
McAuliffe is the name of a hero.
He's Mr. Goldfinger.
27 puns I enjoy.
Another way to be awful at 35,000 feet.
A human library.
And important changes to an Arizona law that affect you and me on this Tuesday. It's March 29th, 2016, and these are headlines. Oh. With our
Wait, no.
Wait,
Oh, wait, the other way.
Well, wait, no, you have to, hang on, I got to remove that
Nope.
thing. Oh, what happened there? There we
hey.
go. Would you stop? She loves that way too much.
I was trying to kiss your cheek.
A North Carolina man says he was
Don't wanna
arrested for not returning a video cassette tape he rented 14 years ago. James Myers Jr., a single dad from Concord, North Carolina, said he was driving his 10-year-old daughter to school around 7:30 a.m. last Tuesday when police pulled him over for what they said was a broken taillight. Myers gave the police officers his driver's license and was shocked when they said that there was a warrant for his arrest of a VHS rental of Freddie Got Fingered from back in 2002.
Oh.
I love it.
It was a porn.
No.
Freddie Got Fingered is not a porn.
They were
It's a
Makes
really
it
great
terrifying,
point.
right?
You're thinking of Freddie Got Fisted, and it's an honest mistake.
Different. I
But the
understand.
body heals itself.
But in the rest of the story, you will learn more about the movie.
About Freddie and his finger.
Yes.
What?
He says that they were chit-chatting with me and talking about how ridiculous the warrant was, and then they arrested him. Because I had my daughter in the car and we were on our way to school, they said that I could take my daughter to school, go to work, and then find a babysitter, and then come into the police station later and turn myself in, and that's what he did. He was processed.
Very civilized.
He was processed at the Concord Police Department on a charge of, quote, failure to return hired property before being transferred to the
From the
Cabarrus.
verb to hire a cab, it means to lease or to let.
Right. So he rented a VCR. He rented a tape from 2002. He was transferred to Cabarrus County Jail, where he was released on a written promise, according to a police arrest report. Myers, who said he had no idea what became of the tape, is scheduled to appear in court next month.
Oh my God! It's a Tom Green movie.
Stand by.
Oh, wow.
I'm reading the story.
I know. Spoiler alert.
He's getting
Dear Google, Clayton's story's really long.
The arrest warrant, well, I get the shorter ones later when you lose more interest. The arrest warrant was issued back in February of 2002. Myers, who is a drum and bass musician, said that he had never been arrested before and that this ordeal was very humiliating. They took his belt. He was trying to actually hold up his pants by himself while trying to sign papers. It was very embarrassing. Scared his daughter, who thought he was going to jail for a bad brake light. Myers rented the VHS tape from J&J Video in Salisbury, North Carolina. The store has been closed for over 10 years. Myers said that Tom Green, the writer, director, and star of the movie Freddie Got Fingered, reached out to him from his stand-up comedy tour in Australia when he heard the news. In addition to tweeting his reaction to the news about his 2001 action comedy film, I just saw this and I'm struggling to believe that this is even real, his Twitter feed said. So the guy got a phone call from Tom Green in Australia. He answered his phone and Tom Green started singing to him from the other end of the phone and said not to worry. He would help in any way that he could and to keep him updated on the outcome. It was very cool. He said he was a class act and made me feel better of all the stress that's been going on in my world since the arrest. But the
That's
I hope he
producer,
didn't lose his right to vote.
it's not a felony.
I'm going to say that.
Not a felony. But I'm like, really? Because
It's
white.
Australia. We don't know.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Oh, it's in Australia.
No.
Tom Green is
Down
in
under?
Australia.
Oh, Tom Green is
He's
down
in North
there.
Carolina.
Very good.
Listening. Can't hang a bell.
I thought Tom Green was
It'll
Canadian.
grow
I'm so
back.
confused.
The body,
The body
and the
heals
blood,
itself.
Body
something.
heals itself.
Body heals
Remember
itself.
when
Whatever.
Drew Barrymore dated him? Poor
Oh, that was
unfortunate
so
soul.
She did.
weird.
During Charlie's Angels, wasn't it?
And
'Cause he
his
was in
unfortunate
Charlie's Angels.
testicular cancer
That's
trauma.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
I
lost a
remember
ball.
that too. I remember that.
Well, he lost to Drew as well.
One less ball to answer.
Or to lick or whatever.
Yeah.
One less testicle.
So those
in
of
the
you who are playing
world.
along at home, the drinking phrase is the body heals itself.
Body heals itself.
Body heals itself. There we go.
Okay.
All right, Ryer, take it. Good
All
luck.
right,
Good luck.
And the people at lunch here are very happy if they're listening because
they.
they asked for that specific drinking phrase.
Why is that door closed?
I don't know.
It shouldn't be.
Just luck.
Okay.
So Anantha showed the Holy Festival of Colors, and oh my God, does that ever look
Holy
wonderful? But it goes to my story about
Come on, go into the chat room.
Pez. An Easter egg hunt went crazy. I don't know if you guys read about
I
the
had
Easter
heard
egg
about
hunt.
this.
Reportedly descended into a mess as parents allegedly trample and steal candy from the kids.
You know, my friends on
The body grows back
KTAR
of some
were
day.
talking
Body
about
grows
that.
back.
Your friends.
The body regenerates.
Right, something. Go on.
No, my friends on KTAR were talking about this the other day.
Yes, your close
'cause
friends.
I'm
Yes.
on a
Yes, you are.
self-loathing
Yeah.
addiction to
Yes, you are.
KTAR again lately.
But did they say how fucking ridiculous it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So trampling, trauma, stolen eggs, and broken Easter baskets. These were some of the scenes attendees said at an annual egg hunt hosted Saturday at the Pez Visitor Center in Connecticut.
The Pez
Visitor Center, right? Killing me.
Where else are you going to go in Connecticut?
Pez staff said the mess was created after some among
Get out of my neck. Get out of my neck. Get out of my neck.
A lot of tracheotomies going
Eat
on.
from my neck. Eat from my neck.
among the 1,000 attendees ignored the instructions about participating.
One
for
out
the
of how
hunt.
many?
1,000 attendees.
Okay.
So, the hunt covered 3 fields with almost 10,000 eggs hidden throughout and staggered different start times for different age groups.
10,000
10,000
eggs.
eggs, right? And different age groups, which I thought was wonderful. I mean, for the families that can't do it or families being able to get together, I just thought this was a really cute idea, which I had never heard of.
For those of you that
Wonderful.
can do simple, it's 833 dozen eggs. That's a lot of
Yeah,
eggs.
but I think it was more candy.
That's math I
Somebody
didn't
divided by
need. Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I think I have unfortunately, people chose to enter the field prior
I hate all of you. Just so you
Yeah,
know.
it's okay.
to
Equally.
anyone from Pez
a
staff
hateful
starting the
statement.
activity. So it wasn't even started. Like, this whole thing wasn't even started, and people are that fucking greedy.
Yeah.
They're that fucking greedy. This free event.
Well, see, the problem is...
I have so many questions on this, Ray, and I know you probably got more to read, but I got questions.
That'd be weird.
But here's the
I think
problem.
we're at 4 things.
Like, somehow parents are so wound up
Cunty?
in provide. No, just
Yeah, I'm gonna go cunty.
super wound up in
No.
providing like this perfect experience for their kids. Like, they're so
No, they're greedy,
stressed out-
and
No,
they don't have any fucking manners.
No, they're so stressed out about their kid not
Point
getting
right.
Having the best
experience,
possible
not getting
goddamn dirty egg in the
You're
ground
gonna have all the
experience.
eggs, kid. Even if I have to kill
seriously,
the other kid.
Tommy, if I don't get you 10 eggs, you're gonna hate me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously.
Again,
My therapist is
accountability.
only going to talk about the Easter egg
Meanwhile,
hunt that went wrong.
Tommy is picking grass and eating boogers over there. Like,
Yeah.
I
Tommy
hate
could
to
give a
tell you,
shit.
Tommy doesn't
Happy
give
as
a
Larry,
shit.
just having the time of his life.
I mean,
Federal offenses are being committed.
God.
On air,
$38.
we could never air this show.
You better pay it now.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
You better pay that.
This one's admitted
All right.
to committing the offense. This one did it while we were watching.
I'm just hoping
my
that
mail.
humming the Beatles will get us out of it.
The worst.
Dead body recovered.
Yeah.
What is it?
Body heals itself. Dead body recovered.
Dead body
They're the same.
I don't know. Whatever.
I'm gonna need more to drink.
Jesus.
Oh, I can help.
Now,
I don't know how. Maybe
don't know.
sugar? I don't know. All right, let's talk
So,
about Easter. Are you
give
almost
me
done?
a second. Almost. So, unfortunately, these people chose to enter the field prior to anyone starting the activity, and the crowd
False
moved.
start.
Yeah.
False
10-yard
start.
10-yard penalty. Back it
Third
up.
down.
Yeah. Offensive touching.
False start.
So, the crowd moved to the second field.
I want to
And
say.
then that was the end of the story.
All right. All right. So my sister.
Dead body buried.
So yeah, dead body. So he has risen indeed.
Something.
So my sister,
I didn't bother to get out of bed.
my
till,
sister
like,
Debbie,
10.
who I love dearly, she
Yeah.
sends me this text on Easter about how she misses me on this holiday. I'm like, what? Like, no.
No other holiday.
Oh my
Not that
God.
one.
Thank you.
I would believe you on Saturday if you missed me because maybe we would do something on Saturday, but Easter baffles me. I don't get one fucking thing on this holiday.
No.
Jelly beans, mildly appealing,
Please,
but
come
not
on.
really.
There's
really.
ham.
Hate
There's-
ham. I hate ham.
Do
Too
you?
salty.
I can't say I
And then you
remember
put
that.
pineapples on salt. I'm out. I don't
Why
get
are you
it.
putting
Hashtag
pineapples
ham
on it?
hater.
I know,
That's
there's
a new
people always
thing.
do
I
it.
gotta write that
I think
down.
that's asinine.
Honey on more shit, not into it. Like
Who's putting honey?
They have no
honey
good
baked
music.
ham. I get it.
No good music.
I do as well.
Like seriously, write me a
Scalloped
good Easter
potatoes?
song. Give me a little silent night
Some
about
shrimp?
Easter.
Funny story.
Like
a year
get some
ago,
with
PR
you.
people on this Easter thing, and
it's
then
a
they
good time to
change
get
the.
together and have cocktails and just.
But you don't know
Eat.
what date it is. They
Sounds
keep
like a
changing it
Tuesday.
every fucking year. Like at least Thanksgiving, they change the date, but it's always on Thursday. I mean, this one's always on Sunday, so I guess I'm arguing my own
Right.
point. But it's.
Talking about. Come
But
on.
it's just one of those holidays that
This is the dumbest argument you've ever had for something.
there's nothing
Really,
in
the
this holiday.
dumbest?
This is the holiday that's
for
not
real,
for me.
listen
Like,
back.
not a big fan of the chocolate shit. I don't get jelly beans. I have no idea why you would want to go find a dirty fucking egg on the ground. What are you gonna do with it later? I'm gonna eat something I found on the ground.
No, like
Am
you're
I
going to eat a
homeless?
hard-boiled egg with the shell. No, you're
No.
going to like.
I wouldn't eat a hard-boiled egg. Why did you do that to the egg? It was
Have you
delicious
ever
with
had egg
toast
salad?
earlier. No, because your farts
you know-
smell like death.
Okay,
Anytime,
anyway,
oh, the
you know the
fart.
corn in,
Point to
corn
he-
out,
point to
egg
he is
salad
risen.
in, egg salad out. That wind coming out of you, I know you had egg salad and I left. I am fucking
apparently
no
I'm
fucking
with
way.
you, Harrison. Like it's
Okay.
only Al's people that are baking ham with pineapple on it. I've never.
They
had
always
such
stick
thing.
fucking
Oh,
I
they
don't
No,
know.
you
always
always
put
put
the
pineapple
pineapples on
rings
the
on.
top.
Yeah.
Pineapple
those fuck you
rings.
people
I don't eat it.
Yeah.
I still don't eat it.
I like pineapple on
Pineapple
pizza.
ring and then like
On
a clove
pizza,
in a
Yeah,
stick.
and they
Yeah, there's
stick
a thing.
things in there that smell like ass. Like what is
Cloves?
clove?
No clove.
No,
fuck?
cloves are delicious.
I don't get
Anyway.
it. I do not understand Easter. I don't.
Well, this whole
Two
thing just
things.
made me want to rethink it now.
Two
But why
things.
would I eat something dirty off the fucking ground that
You're
some kid with
not.
snot-nosed fingers got their hands on? No, that's appalling. And why am I hunting for shit that you hid? Am I 6? No. I would tell my kids, you're smarter than this. Walk away. Find something else to do.
I agree. Two
Let
things.
them decorate their fucking eggs. And it smells like vinegar. It smells like a douche when you're dyeing the goddamn eggs.
Oh, douchey fart.
It's a douchey fart. It's a douchey fart holiday. I do not get it. Sorry, Christians. This is not my day. I do not get what you're going for on this one.
Two things.
Make it 3 and you'll be within the
Number
realm
one.
of religion.
Number one. I actually, less vehemently, but I actually sort of agree with you about Easter. I kept forgetting that
I'm
it was
with
a
Nero.
holiday.
Baked food
Yeah.
is wrong.
Like all week, people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what are you gonna do this weekend?" I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
What are you gonna do on Sunday? I'm go to brunch. It's my every other Sunday. I'm going to brunch. Like,
And they don't have a
fuck
good
do you think I'm
Easter
doing?
drink, like an eggnog. Like
Right.
they haven't liquored it up yet. Like PR this holiday, people.
Thing number 2, as it turns out, coincidentally, I ended up working at the bar last Easter, not this Easter, but last Easter, and it's karaoke on a Sunday at Cobalt. And so
Did
Drewby
people sing a lot of holy music?
Drewby and I looked up all of the Easter music.
The old rugged cross. That's what you get. The old rugged
No,
cross.
turns out there's a
Hark
ton of
the
it. Most of it to the
herald
tune
angels
of popular Christmas songs. So they've changed the words, but it's still Frosty the Snowman.
Here comes Peter
Yeah.
Cottontail hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way.
There's that one.
There's
that one's an
nothing
original.
Jesus
Dead
about
body
that.
buried.
No, there's not a lot of
the body
Jesus
heals
happening.
itself. Like Easter turned into a rabbit in your story.
Didn't we
Like,
find out?
what
Isn't that the
fuck?
moral of Easter? That hashtag the body heals itself.
Body heals itself. Exactly.
Apparently, if
a
you've
spear
risen,
through the side, you're coming back.
Nail
By the
him
way-
up. Put
By
him
the
in
way,
the cave.
Just so that everyone knows,
body heals
Al's not a
itself.
Christian.
Out he
Come on.
comes.
by the way, let's take a quick glimpse of what's going on at Cobalt right now. There's that.
No, but I absolutely have to tell you. All right, now Nero
No,
is. Now
Nero, I can't. The lamb, I tried some lamb
Now-
this Easter. That did not happen.
Now
Did
we're
not
all
go
addressing
very
Nero
well.
with the lamb. Now, if lamb became part of the holiday, I love
Write
me
down
some
Nero
lamb.
the lamb.
I love me a
Nero
gamey
the
meat.
lamb. No.
Or if we cooked that fucking
No.
rabbit, you know what I mean? If we chased him down the bunny trail and skewered that
Why are you so
motherfucker.
angry?
I hate this holiday makes no sense to me.
I
and
guess.
if somebody puts a peep in my face again, I'm gonna
shouldn't
shove
have
it up
done
their
the story
ass.
on
Have the lamb
Pez.
stop screaming, Nero?
Yeah. Oh my god. Peeps. Who eats that shit? What is that shit?
Do you know I once
Diabetics.
tried to roast a pea?
Diabetics eat that.
It's like cotton candy gone horribly, horribly wrong.
You're so angry.
You are angry today.
Because I just. And when people are
When
like,
you miss a week,
what do
you miss a lot.
What are you doing for Easter?
I
Who
don't-
gives a shit? What are you all going to do for Easter? It doesn't
Make
have
a
good
hat?
music. They don't have liquor.
Shaped like a pterodactyl.
Now, the
Shaped like a
bonnets
dummy.
are a good start. I got to tell you, making it a bonnet-related holiday is the best thing they got going for
But
them.
if you wait for Kentucky Derby, you get better hats and better drinks.
See?
But not necessarily
But
better food.
it's a step. It's you learn at Easter, and then you get
You get Derby
bonnet.
hats.
Now, see, if you work in PR, that's
love
how
the
you'd sell
challenge.
it.
All right, no,
It's
no.
Kentucky Derby practice day.
Yes.
It's body
No.
heals itself for the Kentucky Derby day. I
Right.
don't
You
know.
do
Because
one in the
Kentucky
spring.
Derby, you get fancy hats and mint juleps. Like, you cannot go wrong.
So just adopt that for Easter.
could
Call
be
it.
Easter bonnets and
I don't want a
mimosas.
fucked up
and then you
hat, no.
graduate
I'm
up
into that.
to
I'm into that.
I don't want my mimosas going around to the Jesus thing. Like, let's pick a new drink. Maybe Cure Royale or some shit. You know what I mean?
Because
Easter bonnets and Bud Lights.
what is that? What?
bonnets and
What
buds.
in the ghetto?
Bonnets and
What's
buds.
happening?
Bonnets and buds.
I kind of heard it scream.
Oh, Bacardi, we just make it a rum day.
The lambs are screaming.
Make it a rum
you
day.
know?
Bonnets and Bacardi.
I don't know how we've missed this on previous years, but I seriously, this
That's exactly right,
this holiday
Joe.
needs a PR person.
Well, it's not you.
We know, but Easter is the Natalie Cole of holidays to me.
Apparently, I missed you like crazy.
Just drives me fucking
Oh,
nuts.
Amina's cat just left the room.
Amina's
Animal.
cat is in heat, so
I don't know
Amina's
anybody's
cat-
pet's names, but I know her cat's
Yeah,
name
Hannibal.
because it blames me for its screaming.
Can
My
I?
screaming.
Oh.
Well, the body heals itself, Hannibal. You'll be fine. Kentucky Derby Christmas. That's what you should call Easter.
Oh.
Because Spring's Thanksgiving Drew was a big loss, but
Anyway.
Kentucky Derby Christmas is how you want me back.
I'm into it.
But you got to pick a different pagan holiday because and those fucking peeps, those are just shit candy. That is shit.
My
fucking
favorite
I'm
candy.
so angry.
My favorite
It's okay.
meme this
Have you
year.
put one of those things in your
No,
mouth?
I don't want one.
It makes you hate Jesus. And I,
I don't
never
think
met him.
that had anything to do with it.
I know.
The best thing that happened
All
to
right,
the
I blame
internet.
Jesus. How's that?
All right.
Is that better?
Fair.
That seems
If,
fair.
if you
Cat
need
Carlson,
to
you have the
blame
floor.
Next caller. Nope, next caller. Move on.
Did the timing just
I-
get completely
The
Blame
joke was
Jesus.
really
I
funny
hate
like
when that-
10 minutes
I
ago.
hate when
like,
that
move
happens.
on.
Lord,
Let's move on, shall we?
mercy.
Fucking
Well,
peeps.
Police in Canada caught a masked armed robber as
Children were trampled. I thought you'd like this story.
I'm just gonna sit
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. My bad.
I'll just shut all your mics off and do the show alone.
Okay.
Well, we'll be out of here by 9 o'clock.
I'll finish all this.
But I do have to interrupt you one more time. Children were trampled in your story?
I tried to tell you.
I
you
was
would
so
like
angry
it.
They
about
were-
peeps. I didn't hear the happy
know.
ending.
They were trampled.
They were
If you let her get to the whole story, you'd have got to the injury
I
part.
can't. I'm so bitter about peeps.
I know you are, but this was about Pez, not about Peeps.
It's the Trump of candy.
I'm telling you.
Peeps are a candy. They're the best candy. Sometimes they're a good candy. Sometimes they're not a very good candy. Some people like to eat them when they're
We're gonna
stale.
build a
always
wall.
But
fucking
they're the best
stale.
peeps of all.
We're
Yeah.
gonna build a wall out of Peeps.
Yeah,
Peeps are huge.
Huge. I got huge Peeps. I mean,
Huge. Both my hands are peeps. Go ahead.
poor-
I'm sorry. My bad.
I mean, Peeps are this marshmallow thing
Somebody
that they
gave
make
me
in
sugar. It's not
shapes
my fault.
Of like a bunny or
Snickerdoodles, made
like
today.
like little chicks, and I don't mean. You're
All right,
gonna
Clayton,
eat
you have the
chick.
floor.
Go on.
You just said you were looking forward to melons too. Like, what's going on, Martin?
Well, let me just take off my glasses and explain. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing there.
I got the melons and
Next
we need
caller!
some chicks.
They're full of gluten. That's what peeps are.
Yeah.
Gluten
They're
filled.
just gluten-filled animal treats.
Well,
Super
Cajun
gluten,
can't
yeah.
have any.
Yeah.
No.
Police in
not this
Canada.
week.
God, I'm gonna. How many times do you want me to start this story?
One more time. This third time. Body hears itself. You'll do it. I'm looking at you. I'm listening. I'm waiting.
No, you're not listening.
But I'm looking. My eyes are closed.
Canadian police caught a masked armed robber after he unfriended his victim on Facebook. Riley Smith, age 20, stole about $750 when he held up a Subway sandwich store in Moncton, New Brunswick, back in November of 2014. But the employee that he threatened at knife point was actually a friend of his on social media. Smith's disguise masked his identity, but the robber's victim became suspicious after he realized that his friend had deleted him after the holdup. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police matched Smith's DNA to a sample taken from a bandana found dumped in the restaurant's parking lot after the robbery. Authorities issued a countrywide warrant for Smith's arrest, and he was eventually detained in Calgary, Alberta, back in November of 2015. He was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to a robbery in a court in Moncton on Wednesday. So it took a long time to find him, but they've tracked the little fucker down. So be careful. Be careful who you unfriend on Facebook.
Anant, work that out. Do something. Shit, make him a little more calm. Anant wants to convert Al to Hindu. I want you to breathe.
I'm going to need to hear your Hindu song celebrating a holiday, because I'm not getting into the religion. I'm just here for your PR.
Not
Oh,
different
no.
one.
So close.
I feel like there's going to be. Is there going to be a sitar? Is
tequila.
there going to be a sitar?
Oh, I'm in. Entertainment's got a lot to do
There
with
could
sitar.
be. There could be.
I don't know. Running another story
All
for
right.
you.
Yes.
I got
yes,
pictures
yes.
to my next
I
story.
have 27 stores that were named by absolute geniuses. This just cracked me up.
I've got the best geniuses.
Maybe.
I have all the geniuses. Sometimes I have some geniuses.
All right. Here are these 27 different stores. Tell me if you like these names or if you shop there. Bread Pit.
Bread Pit.
Bread Pit.
Okay.
Nope.
Sounds like Brad Pitt. Probably,
what if
probably
they-
a bakery.
What
But
if they
you're
have
using the word
Angelina
pit.
Jelly?
Better than Pitt.
Yeah. Good call.
Pitt's
Bread
the
Pit.
problem with that
What
word, not the
about
Brad.
The
Yeah.
Titanic.
I'm in.
Oh,
Titanic.
where I buy all my
Cute?
ties. Yeah.
Cute? No.
That's very nice. No?
Thai food.
Oh, gross. I'm not going.
It's an underwater restaurant, oddly.
Correct.
Totally kidding. Totally kidding.
All right. How about we're going to go get our hair done at Lord of the Rinse?
No.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to
Cute.
take that one. Yeah.
All right,
Lord of
cute.
the Rinse, I'll go for it.
I'm part of the
Okay.
nerddom. I'm in.
How about...
As long as it's not a like a golden showers joke.
I don't believe so.
No, gross. Because you have
What
to,
about
you didn't get permission
going
for
for Peter Pan? Pita.
I can
Judges
hear you.
allow it. I'm
I
gonna
can
guess.
Wanted
see
to
you and I
explain
can
it.
hear you.
All right,
The
Peter
fact that I'm not
Pan.
reacting doesn't mean I don't hear you. I just don't enjoy it.
That's
He
fair.
says that to all his lovers.
I heard you. I got it.
I know what you're
wasn't
doing with your
funny.
hands. I'm just not into it.
That's fair.
I say we should go eat at the Codfather.
That one's hilarious. No,
Codfather.
I've heard that one
The
before. That was
Codfather.
hilarious.
Supreme quality.
Yeah.
It's a fish you can't refuse. How about...
That's
All right,
funnier to me.
okay.
That's
4
funny.
years of puns. That's the winner. That's
So far.
That's well played.
So there's
A fish you can't
It's a
refuse.
fish you can't refuse. Margaritas with an Atticus pinch of salt. Tequila Mockingbird.
I've heard it.
No,
I've heard it.
I gotta let that one
Cute.
go.
I like it.
I've heard that one before.
How about Frying Nemo?
Did you say frying Nemo?
Frying Nemo. I can't make it up. Look at that place.
Frying
Frying Nemo.
Nemo.
And it actually even looks like it.
Fish and chips.
I can't
that's
believe
fantastic.
Pixar allows
Fish and
that.
chips.
That one,
I know.
it looks to be in England probably.
It could be. Good call. We don't know. I'll look
Across
that
the
up.
pond, it's harder to sue.
Lord of the Wings. That one was a little tough for me. Yeah, would this be too soon? Amy's Winehouse?
I'm gonna allow that one too. I like it.
Yeah,
That's
but
funny.
is it dead on a Friday night?
I bet
I'm
it
gonna
is.
quote. I'm
I
gonna
bet
quote
it
My
is. It's
Fair
good.
Lady.
Yeah.
She knew the good of it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, they drink like sailors. I've lost track of if I'm talking to a Nant or a Mina. Isn't that sad?
Both. You're talking to both of them actually.
I would
Oh, I
certainly,
am. Okay.
I would certainly
At the
tell you
same
not to
time.
look to me to figure out that one because I won't know.
No. So we have So It Seems, cute alterations.
I'll take fix up from both. I just want to put
Fix
that
a
up there.
baby.
What's
All
that
right.
one? I'm sorry.
So It Seems. Get it?
So It.
Seems.
SEW.
S-E.
That's lazy.
S-E-A-M.
S-E-A-M-S?
I think it's
No.
kind of cute.
I'm gonna
I
need
think
you to
it's
work
kinda
harder on that one.
cute, Maybe.
It feels like something on Pinterest.
Yeah.
It kind of does. That's good. So we're gonna go get new glasses at the Specs in the City shop.
I
I
I'll
think
allow
it's
it.
cute. I think it's cute.
That's not a proud moment, but I'll take it.
I think so. Also, we can go get some pho at
Rah, 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 rah.
Fabulous. It looks like
Oh, now
Fabulous.
I have questions about pho.
pho. Uh-huh.
I don't know what that is.
It's it's like a Vietnamese soup.
It
Dear
is, and
Google.
And they
dear
take in
Google.
I believe noodles kind of go in it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I have to
Supposed
find out
to be
because
delicious.
people
People
drive
tell
through my
me-
neighborhood to get to the Vietnamese restaurant at my
Yeah.
corner, and I'm not familiar with the animal. I have to tell
People, Ben Aaron's brother, apparently loves it.
In related story, there's not a lot of cats in his neighborhood either. So
There aren't. That's
Unrelated news.
good. Yeah.
And those
Yep.
pussycats is quick.
What about going to get readjusted at Thoracic Park? Cute.
Oh,
Come
that
on.
is cute.
That's
That's
very
cute.
cute.
All right. Harrison's gonna like that one. That's
Yep.
fun.
Thoracic Park. It's very cute. Darth Vapor for the new
those e-cigarettes.
the e-cigarette.
Am I
kind of
high in
things.
that story?
You could
be.
Then I'll allow it.
All
All right.
Now, this one I figured if anyone was going to enjoy and laugh at, it would be this asshole. Solely based on the fact. No,
This
I mean it
asshole.
with love.
Body
Solely
heals
based on
itself.
the fact that it is just wrong. It's called the Hindenburger, and it's flame broiled.
Yep. Great asshole.
Yeah, that's
You-
fair.
Is there one burger called Oh the Humanity?
No, but
Oh, the
there's a
humanity.
burger combo
That's a
for
donut.
$4.99, and it could be that. It could be
That's
that.
funny. The Hindenburger.
I thought that was
and I'm
good.
sure any surviving family members of them has already filed
Really?
lawsuits.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Oh, they're
sure.
dead.
Look,
It's been 100 years.
they
Get
could
over
be.
it.
They could be.
Char broiled.
they're hydrogen broiled, yes.
Because you know, if your puns are in bad taste, I'm
Then-
back.
then
The
you're-
asshole's
then
back.
Is there
you're
anything
there.
about Jews and fire in there anywhere? Or is the Hindenburger
That
enough?
could be inside the
Oh.
place. There are flames.
The Brazier Foods.
The brazier food. So I think all the gays are
Is that
getting
what
their
brazier
hair
means?
done
It's a
at
flame broil.
Barbara Streisand.
Barber.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cute.
And now that the gays are hipsters, a barber is something they need because they're always trying to trim something. There's some bush that's out of control.
I'm a little nervous about that. There's a new coffee place called Fuck-Coffee.
Well, okay.
I think it's pronounced
Foo
Foo Coffee.
Coffee.
Yes.
All right.
but
So there was a radio station in Buffalo
F-U-C-K-Offie.
that
cute.
had this elaborate. I cannot remember what the radio station was in Buffalo, but they had this really elaborate story about the land of Fa, and they would talk about the Fa King.
Oh, sure.
And then
I
he
like
played
that.
pool, so it was a fuck you. You know what I mean? He had his own fuck you,
Okay.
and it was just
That's
so
cute.
funny. And they did it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks with the land of Fa and all the things they could do with it, and it was just so like childish and immature and just outright fucking funny that you could not fucking funny.
Fucking. That's just fucking
But it
funny,
was-
yeah.
And and then years later, Meet the Parents. What was that show called?
The
What was-
Fockers.
The Fockers.
Uh-huh.
The fact that that's how they got away with a PG-13 and not an R rating was they made the family's
sure.
name Fockers.
Sure.
So that they could drop that F-bomb anytime they wanted
Anytime
to and
they
make it the
wanted.
family name.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
That's funny.
It's a brilliant way around the Nazis at the ratings board.
I enjoy a good loophole.
Anyway, the end. It just made me laugh. I just thought that was great. And the puns and the Hindenburger
Oh.
was just
The Hindenburger, I
my
enjoyed the
favorite.
Hindenburger.
That
That's
was
very
a lot.
nice.
Two things I got for you here.
Two things.
Before I get to my next story, which I'm sure you all are going to shittle over. One of the things Al was talking about is this, like this,
Yes.
the Sofa King. Al, over here.
Oh yeah,
over here.
Sofa King.
The prices are Sofa
They're
King
so
low.
fucking low, yeah.
And then Kat sent this to me, just a reminder about eating Peeps. You open the package,
Yeah.
realize they're horrible, throw them away.
Yeah. Terrifying. Terrifying. Yeah, they
That's-
are not
That's true.
good.
Yeah.
Not good.
All
In
right.
fact, that
A lot
happened
of
to me
them.
this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
a man coated in gold spray paint was arrested Wednesday on suspicion of driving under the influence after he crashed into 3 vehicles in Berkeley, California, according to the California Highway Patrol. The shimmering suspect, identified as 21-year-old Damaj Cook, attempted to elude police.
Damage, like damage.
D-A-M-A-J. Damage,
All right.
damage, whatever.
I thought you were still on her pun line. Nope. Body heals itself, Damage.
He attempted to elude police only to actually have a wheel fall off of his car. Police said that their pursuit began when an off-duty officer witnessed the collisions. Police said that while en route, we received a description of the suspect as being gold. And the description was certainly correct, as the suspect was covered head to toe in gold spray paint. The officers approached the suspect to confirm that indeed they had struck gold, pun intended. The 24-carat crook claimed that he was painted gold for a photo shoot that he had just come from. Cook was medically cleared and subsequently arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence on a hit and run. He is scheduled to be arraigned on, he was already arraigned on April 22nd. Police, I'll show you this, two things. Here's the steering wheel of his car. And you can see the gold paint on the steering wheel that obviously rubbed off on the car. And while he was being detained, the police were kind enough to put some sort of a fabric over the chair so that he didn't infect the chair. Did you miss both pictures?
Oh, no.
So I'm going to go back. So Al is on the delayed feed. Here's the steering wheel of the car with the gold spray paint.
Oh, yeah.
Came off of his hands. While detained.
Oh, a Nissan Altima.
Yes. So then they put a piece of fabric so his gold paint wouldn't come off on the chair.
That's not even fabric. That's a Tyvek jumpsuit.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, that's what they put
We're
on
just
to,
gonna put- I
to
love
not
it.
get blood all over their clothes.
Just before you sit down, I'm just going to put a tarp down because you're kind of disgusting.
Because it's awful, yes.
Right.
Body heals itself.
Body
It
is.
does indeed.
There's that. Ryer.
So, good news.
Two things.
Good news. The name McAuliffe, we remember from the space shuttle, Christy McAuliffe, right?
Go throttle up. Not
No,
a good choice.
No, bad. But there is a new McAuliffe that I am going to give some credit to. Governor Terry McAuliffe vetoed legislation passed by the General Assembly to eliminate funding for Planned Parenthood during a ceremonial signing at a clinic in Richmond on Tuesday. Did it at a Planned Parenthood. Vetoed this bill at a Planned Parenthood.
That's classy.
Okay.
I liked it. Get rid of it. It's
That's
awesome.
my new goal.
I like it.
I'm going to sit right in the middle of the organization and then just shit all over them.
What do you mean? He vetoed it.
He vetoed it.
Oh, he vetoed the bill sitting in. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was on the
Yeah.
other side of it.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what
No,
the
he went
fuck?
the right way in the
Oh,
right
very
place.
good. Very good.
Yeah, I'm very confused by that.
I was very
too.
I was very on the other side of
Yeah,
that.
I
I'm
got
sorry.
very confused.
Hello from the other side.
I thought he was vetoing funding, and I read another article about somebody like ditching funding in another state.
Right? No,
I was
this
only-
about defunding.
I was
Planned
only listing like,
Gold became
it's this
a
much.
racial
It's okay. My goodness, I thought that was good news. Maybe I misread this.
Maybe it is. Maybe I should listen.
Yeah.
When she listens,
Supporters
both-
of the Republican-backed
There's that.
bill maintained it would take money away from the organization and reroute the funds to healthcare groups providing comprehensive care to families. However, opponents said it would limit women's health rights, which of course we all know. So anyway, that was fantastic news when it came to defunding, as far as defunding Planned Parenthood, and the governor just saying, fuck you. It's not going to happen. And doing it at a Planned Parenthood, awesome. But then on the other side of the country, Utah, God love Utah.
A state
passed
so beautiful they dropped atomic bombs there twice.
I can't imagine. They passed a fetal pain abortion law that required anesthesia. Have you heard of that?
Yes, that they were saying that the fetus
The
feels
fetus
pain.
feels pain. So therefore, they have the mom. Utah will now require doctors to provide anesthesia to women having abortion at 20 weeks of pregnancy or later. The law, which experts say is the first of its kind in the nation, is based on the scientifically disputed notion that a fetus can feel pain during the procedure.
But
The
Well, that's
governor,
actually
there-
interesting coming from Utah, like a super
the governor
conservative,
is
super don't talk about
adamantly
anything.
pro-life.
No,
Adamantly pro-life,
so
and
this is
that's-
a way to say that if you need an anesthesiologist
Right.
to perform an abortion, that means they're going to bring in more people, and you can't do it in an outpatient clinic. You're
Right.
going to need to,
It
Right.
makes
because
it
you're
a
going to
bigger
Joan
procedure.
Rivers them. You're doing a
Right.
procedure that
Right.
needs you're going to need a code cart, and you're going to need people that know what they're doing, because you could send them into cardiac arrest because you're going to
Sure.
anesthetize them.
Because,
So-
but going back, and you can answer this because of the restaurant you work in. Just because the mother is under general anesthesia doesn't mean that the child would be at all.
it depends on what drug it is, and if it passes the blood placenta barrier or whatever it's called. Like you have to
You
decide.
could really be. You could both could be under, if you will.
Well, and
Right,
I
and
think
it would
what
be
they're
it would
trying
be.
to say is
But if
that
you
the
put one
fetus-
under respiratory distress, I think just logically both, because she's breathing for both.
Right, right.
So if she doesn't have oxygen and the oxygen is going through the blood supply into the placenta, then she would be without blood supply as well, I would think. So you're putting her at risk with the anesthesia, so you'd be putting the baby at risk too, which is saying that you would need someone there to
No.
provide an airway and do all those things.
I get what you're saying with it's a veiled attempt at saying you got to have a whole army there to do it. You can't just do it in a
An outpatient
facility, right?
clinic.
But my question is, I don't think a general anesthetic puts you're out, but I don't
I
think
don't know
the
that it's-
fetus would be out.
No, I think it would just be an oxygenation. I think it would just be delivering oxygen to the blood supply argument more than it would be.
So
Because
this
the
says-
baby's not breathing. The baby gets its oxygen from the blood supply. And if the blood supply, you breathe in and the blood exchange happens in your lungs and
Right.
goes to the blood.
Right.
And the blood is what feeds the baby oxygen. So if you're cutting that off, then you're cutting off. If you're decreasing the mother's ability to take in oxygen, then there's less chance that the oxygen could hit the bloodstream and get to the baby. So you would need someone there to provide oxygen to the mother to get to the baby via the placenta.
But Clayton's question is, if you knock
About
the mom out,
pain.
is the baby out?
No, it's not about knocking out. Your anesthesia is about pain.
Pain.
But
Right.
the difficulty with anesthesia is that you fall asleep and you lose your airway. There are two different arguments. Are you giving the mom pain relief that also goes to the baby? But the danger in this case with anesthesia is the danger of losing an airway. You fall asleep. With anesthesia, you could fall asleep and lose your airway. That's why you would need a code team available and
A
someone would
lot
have
of
to help
people,
you.
let me rephrase a lot of people. Many people are afraid of having procedures done, even if it's more of just a general anesthesia. It's not a,
I was just saying,
whatever.
As you get older, general anesthesia becomes more of a danger
Exactly.
because of the airway problem.
Right.
So that's why it becomes a problem. You have no idea. I mean, you do know what
The
which
first question
drugs
is-
cross the border into the placenta and would cause pain numbing
Right.
there. You would
So-
figure that out. But
So, I don't think as I understood the article that I clearly wasn't listening to begin with.
Thank you. Well, that's the other one. I've mixed them.
The bill doesn't say must go under general anesthesia.
The cost for it's a new anesthesia requirement. So they're saying
Right.
what.
So, but you could do a local anesthetic, even
Like an
applied
epidural?
directly to no, not even an epidural. You stick a needle right straight on through and give it to the fetus.
as long as it passed the barrier, like you have to find out what
That's what I'm
drugs
saying.
that's what
pass.
it doesn't say, and I was trying to see.
Like
if
we
they
don't have
had
to
that,
we
but
don't
it
have to
doesn't.
knock mom out to apply an anesthetic, because we can apply that pain medication directly to the fetus, according to Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah,
Like, we
I mean,
could-
that I don't know about.
Right.
But the worry about knocking everybody out is the airway. But
we're
we don't.
We're one of the states facing a court challenge about this.
Oh, that's very
Of
fun.
course we are, because it's
Very
Arizona.
We are, right?
Because we're hillbillies.
Yeah.
Who want
They
Retired
were
cops to
talking
carry
about the cost estimate when asked if there's a cost estimate for the new anesthesia requirement, because it's a
When you introduce an
third-degree
anesth-
felony
Yeah, when you
to
introduce
not
an
introduce the anesthesia,
When
to
you-
not do it.
yeah, when you
No,
introduce an
becomes a felony.
anesthesiologist into anything, you're introducing a whole new level of.
well technical?
But we're worried about
Really?
what the anesthesia is your airway.
Well,
if
and
you-
the funding
if
of it.
any of us-
because
like,
I
we're
now
was
all-
just
there's
saying now
funding.
you've added costs.
We're all getting
Yeah.
to that age where a colonoscopy is coming up. You have to be sedated a little bit, and they have to give you a mild anesthesia. So they need to know, like, are you going to have trouble breathing? If we sedate you and give you some anesthesia, can we maintain your airway? Can you just fall asleep with all these drugs and just be drugged out and asleep? Or are you going to lose your airway, and we're going to Joan Rivers it, and we're going to be somewhere where you're not going to get oxygen? As soon as you say the word anesthesia, we're just in a new level of...
And I'm hearing all of what you're saying, but what I think, what it sounds like they're saying is they believe if they give her anesthesia, it will diminish or numb the pain for the fetus.
Because
that
they're
sounds
saying
what,
And that's a
the fetus-
possible thing.
right,
That's
because
what it sounds
they're
like.
And
saying
so
the
you're
fetus
hearing the
feels this.
Republican side of it.
Yes.
Well, this is the
Yes.
right thing to do. But what they're
Right.
really saying is we need another doctor on board, and we need you to not do it.
And we
in
need the
Planned
cost to
Parenthood.
no,
go
I
up.
get
Yeah.
I get their
Right.
argument.
Yeah,
And
so
It
you're on
just-
both sides.
But it just
Yes.
sounds they're selling it wrong. There's what he's saying is right. They want everybody on fucking on board. You can't do it in a Planned Parenthood facility. You got to have 37 people. I get all that. They're
And
trying
the
to sell it that
financial
way.
stuff.
But it sounds like what they're saying is, if we put the mother under general,
Right.
the baby feels nothing. And I don't think that I don't
Right,
feel
and they're
that
trying
that's
to pull at heartstrings
right.
right.
to tell you that the baby does feel something.
No, and I
So
get that too.
therefore-
I
Right,
just
right. I'm with you. No,
Yeah.
I'm hearing you. I'm just saying that I think that's where, when you look at this, it's just they can't prove scientifically. They've not.
But it's like the
proven.
transvaginal ultrasound. What are you going for? What do you need out of that? What do you need by probing a woman transvaginally? What do you need by sticking an ultrasound up a woman's
Which is
vagina?
one of the strangest
What
things
are
in the
you
whole
after
world.
in
That's
those
all I
states?
can tell you.
Because
I've never
there's-
had one.
But
Right, but that's that whole thing of
Before
like,
I had to have
what
that,
is this extra measure
yeah,
of
that's
medicine?
weird.
What do you need
I
it
had to
for? And
pay
people
to
be
have
like,
a
well, we have to make
vibrator.
sure it's healthy.
Sounds
No, you just
terrible.
want to add one more device to make it a horrible experience for
Hi,
a
Greg.
woman. What is
Right.
already a horrible experience? What do you need to make it worse? You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to make what's already a horrible,
Horrible, difficult
life-altering
decision.
decision
Yep.
how can you make it a worse experience and make the woman be more of a victim of
now
what
we're going
needs
to put
be
you
done?
under. Now it's going to cost. And they're saying, sir, are you going to cover this?
Right, and what
With this
happens
vote?
is you keep rich people, you keep rich Republican women from having from able to have abortions because they have health care. You're just keeping poor women from the same choices
exactly right.
as wealthy women get
Yep.
with insurance. You're just keeping people out of the choice mode. Because let me tell you,
It's
if Mitt
designed to
Romney's-
mislead patients.
well, I really can't even finish that sentence
I'm
because
sorry.
God knows Sarah Palin keeps popping out grandkids from
Punk
the
ass
abstinence only.
thuggery.
From a
Because
daughter who's never had sex.
that
Bye,
argument that
girl.
we used to make I can't remember what that argument used to be
Drive
called,
safely.
but I mean it really is being proven wrong by Sarah Palin. She's sticking to her word. You know what I mean? Abstinence doesn't work for her family, but she's certainly given birth to all 75 kids that little cunt has.
I'm not sure where we went with that. I decided to answer a text
See you next
message.
Tuesday.
Yeah, but it's just really strange. But there used to be that thing that rich people would, like rich white people with insurance, would do one thing when poor people didn't have the choice. But while Sarah Palin's daughter is a cunt and clearly making hundreds of thousands of dollars about lying to people about abstinence, she does take the baby to term and give birth to them and raise them as bigots. Because the oldest kid's first word was faggot. So we know she's not raising
The
like
body heals itself.
yeah, the body
ladies
heals
and gentlemen.
itself. Let's drink.
That's good.
I'm not sure.
But she is the argument she is the absolute antithesis of what we used to say about that rich people would just quietly have the abortion and not talk about it. But clearly she doesn't, and it doesn't matter how stupid the husband is, they still give birth to that kid. So Sarah Palin's kind of what we've been fighting against,
Yeah.
and she's proving it right. So she's a twat, and she certainly is a blinking idiot or winking idiot, but she kills the argument right in its pants when it falls out of her crotch.
Next up, our new sponsor, Sarah Palin, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like I need a cookie.
I never really
I'm
thought
actually
that through
very
until right now
confused.
live on TV. Like, that's kind of amazing.
We're on TV now.
Both of us.
Well, that
Some
looks like
people's
a TV.
TVs. We're
This
on
is
some
a flat
people's
screen
TVs.
television right there.
Mama,
Good point.
his mom
and
watches
I,
on a
that's
TV.
true.
She watches on a
That's true.
huge TV. Did we beat that story to
I
death?
believe
We're
we
going to
did.
move
We
on.
We did. It was interesting.
We
I found it
anesthesiologist the shit out of it. No, thank you.
We've all flown somewhere before. In fact, Marty just came back. Well, actually, you both just flew recently. We've all seen.
My arms are tired.
We've seen a lot of people with bad habits on airplanes, but draping your hair over the back of your seat so that it covers the TV screen of the passenger sitting behind you may be going just a bit too far.
Hashtag.
Boston Globe columnist Dante Ramos tweeted the photograph from a verified account of a young woman doing exactly that on Tuesday morning. It says, "Congratulations to the pointy-tailed young woman in seat 22B. You've invented a whole new way to be awful at 35,000 feet." And this is the picture that he tweeted. So the tweet soon went viral, with many commenters suggesting that Ramos could solve the problem in many different ways.
Scissors,
He later
You
revealed...
can't bring scissors on a carry-on.
No.
nail clippers, and some patience.
Nail clipper that
He
bitch.
later revealed in another tweet that the unidentified woman had moved her hair shortly after, quote, "we got her attention." It's unclear. You're right. It's unclear where... That looked odd. It's unclear where Ramos was flying to or from. However, the Huffington Post has reached out for more information. So apparently she resolved it, moved her hair. While certainly being annoying, draping hair over the back of the seat doesn't actually feature in the list of 10 worst habits of airplane passengers, which
do
I
you have that
happen
list?
to have
I
the
love
list.
it.
I would like to
Good.
interrupt before. I think a well-placed cheese knife from that stupid box that they sell you could have just done a little damage.
You know what I think I would have done?
I would have just yanked the shit out of it is what I
no.
would have done.
I'd have played evens and odds. You take just a couple little hairs from the very bottom and just yank them the fuck out.
Right.
And then, even. Yank!
Oh, got it.
Odds.
Okay.
No.
Did
It's
you-
a fun little game.
Yeah.
Did you
Never.
notice that maybe somebody else is dealing with your fucking hair now? But if you could still carry scissors on a plane, I'd have been like,
Snip, snip, snip.
I would have, I without
and I'd be like, oh
rude.
no, something was blocking my TV. I didn't find out what it was.
So a list of things that people do on planes that are annoying. Reclining their seat as far back as they can to partially be in your lap is one of the things.
It's 'cause
They don't go that far back
They think
anymore.
you're a dentist. They think you're a dentist.
Yeah. Planting their elbows firmly on the armrests and leave you no room for
May I
yours.
adjust? May I adjust?
What?
How many fucking airplanes have you been in where the seat actually goes back that far? None.
And now when they do, but now like the first class
I don't
seats
mean
that
to
go
be
back.
It is an illustration, Ryder.
Yeah, but it's a bullshit illustration.
But now
It's an
they
unfair
sell
one.
those plane seats that go back all the way, and the person behind you isn't that close. Like when I flew to Paris.
Yeah. Well, that's different.
It's reclining, and the person was not wasn't doing my dentistry.
Can I just get through
Go
this
ahead.
goddamn
No,
segment?
but I
No.
like your
My
optimism.
God.
We're trying to get to 10 o'clock before we get to
Show
entertainment.
heals itself.
Being rude to cabin crew.
kind of like in here.
Like, and I
That
don't like
is-
that. When people are just
No, I
rude to
agree.
the staff, it's
I
bullshit.
hate it when people
I
are rude
agree.
to the staff. In fact, somebody posted something like really self-righteous on Facebook, and it was fairly political and self-righteous, and I don't remember the exact topic. But the moral of the story was that they were being a dick to the person that it was door knockers. So it was somebody who had like a Bernie Sanders door knocker, like come to their house and like, hey, entirely too chipper, and this just wrinkled up old queen on my Facebook was just really, really just a bitter old
Was it
man.
Al or me that posted? I'm not sure.
Neither.
It was me.
But they were retelling this story about how they were essentially horrible to this person who's just doing a job, who's just knocking on doors, trying to pass out flyers or do whatever they're supposed to do.
Okay.
And he was super proud of how horrible he was to this person. And I was like,
No.
first of all, I don't think that this person was the person that stole all your information from the Hillary mailing list. So don't be mad at them for that. Because, if Bernie got the information, it wasn't this fucker knocking on your door.
Right.
The
him.
Democratic National Committee sending out anything to anybody who votes Democratic.
Right.
Right. And it's just like, stop being mean to the service staff. If your steak is cooked wrong, guess who didn't cook your steak?
Right.
The waitress.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yep.
Continuing on with things that people do annoying on planes, carrying hand baggage that is clearly way too big, and they just hold it in their lap the entire fucking flight. That's annoying.
Hate those.
I like to bash people in the head with my backpack as I go by.
Talking loudly to their travel companions so that you can even hear yourself think. That's annoying when they're just like a fucking party going on in a row. That's annoying.
Also,
agree.
I can't help it. My voice is just loud.
But do you remember when Southwest Airlines had the club rooms?
With
you could sit with
chairs?
six and you
that
faced
was
each other.
awesome.
Oh yeah, I
And
do.
you could have a little
Yeah.
party. That was
That would be
delight.
amazing. I don't think I've ever
Oh,
experienced
I
that.
do recall doing that.
So you sat across
in
from
the
your
front of the
companion.
cabin. There's three
Or
No,
in
there
the
was-
very back.
No,
They
there
were
was
in the
one in the
back.
front, one in the middle, and
Yeah.
one in the back. There was
Oh.
three
It was
sets
awesome.
of. So it'd be 6, 12, 18.
Good math.
More than that. 12, 24, 36. There was
36.
I was
36
told there'd be
seats.
no math.
We divided by 12. We multiplied by 12.
Look, we're back
We-
at
Oh,
zero.
the same show.
You got a 12er, I can help you.
I always get annoyed with these people that jump up and rush off the plane like there's some fucking fire.
Right.
We're all gonna get
Yeah.
off the
Oh, no, they
plane.
jump off and then they stand still because the line isn't moving.
Right. That just annoys me. I just wait. I just wait for them. Fuck it.
Wait.
I'll be the last one off. I don't even care.
Yes.
Because you're right. Where are you going?
Where are you going?
See, way back in the day when my father still like booked my travel and I was living on the East Coast, far away from my family,
And there's a
was
connecting
entirely
flight.
Zoom, and my
Yes,
father
yes.
believed that in every major airport in the world, 20 minutes was enough. Was enough. So I've certainly been that person
Terrifying,
that jumped
yeah.
out of my seat before the plane
But
even
then
hit
you
the
have
ground
a
and like
reason.
ran to the
But
front.
you have
But
a
that's
reason.
legit. If you're trying to connect,
Yeah.
and most people will say like, "There's connecting flights going. Please stay in your seat so that the people with connecting flights can get off first." And you'll have those assholes that stand up anyways. But most of the people will be like,
Oh.
Have a great day.
"You got a
Nero.
connection. I'm home or I'm at my destination."
Right.
But when I book a flight, like Southwest, it's winner takes all or whatever
Sure.
the fuck it is. And I travel alone predominantly, so I don't really care. And I sit wherever there's a seat. My little purse, it's right there.
Yeah.
It fits beautifully underneath the seat. I don't need any extra space. I have an iPad and headphones and a magazine. We're done.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Squirrels are in the attic again.
Are you taking a Zumba class? It's very loud where you are. I don't remember the point of the story, except for I'm a better traveler than you are. But those fuckers that jump up and are like crawling all over, where are you going?
Maybe they have
And then they're
connecting
like,
flight.
"Can you get up? Can you get up?" No. 20 aisles in front of us have to
Right.
Oh, yeah, you
get
have-
up. So I'm going to sit here comfortably until
Yeah.
it's with reasonably our time to stand up.
If you're really going to do the OJ through O'Hare, you really have to be in the front of the plane before the plane even lands.
Yeah. Then when you're Southwest, you take that middle
The
seat in the
OJ
first
gonna
aisle that's
throw
always
hair?
open.
OJ through O'Hare. O'Hare International Airport is one of the longest airports to run through.
Okay, by the way,
Yeah.
I
And
get the
OJ
whole
did a
OJ
very
running.
Yeah,
I heard
OJ
that-
Simpson was in a
Oh.
commercial where
Through
he was
the hair.
running through the
I got
airport,
it.
leaping
But
over.
I'm with
But
you.
I have to tell you,
Now,
DFW with
Jesus, I
the
did not
trains
hear
to
that.
different terminals and that bullshit that's going on, where you're
Oh.
still on American Airlines, but you have to go from Terminal A to Terminal H and take 3
Yeah.
trains. That airport needs to be blown up and try again. And if it
Okay.
blows up tomorrow, I did not condone or endorse this.
No, not at all.
But DFW is
Body
just
in the
a
bag, body in the
fucking-
bag.
Continuing on with this,
Yeah.
people who constantly get up and down to get shit out of their overhead bags
Yeah.
all the time. That's
Yes.
annoying as
Pack
hell.
a purse.
This flight is
Figure
only
out
4
what you
hours
need.
long.
Yeah,
Settle
figure out
down.
what you need.
putting their feet up between the gaps in the seats. I have been on flights where all of a sudden you got feet right here between
Yes.
it. Fuck you people.
Oh, I shut that shit down.
Yeah. What in the hell?
You know,
Unless
People
it's
are
me doing it.
rude.
But I had my own aisle this last flight, so I just stretched out the other way.
Yeah.
The last two, I mean, swearing without care for. I want more flights without children. I'd be happy with that.
Yep.
And hogging the window to block your view. I don't ever have an issue with that.
Hogging
either.
the window?
Like just
What does that
constantly
mean?
being in the window and you
can't look out.
couldn't look out the window.
Then ask for a window
I
seat.
will always.
If you're that curious to what's going on out the the body heals itself.
I always want a window seat. Always. But the children, I'm with Clayton on that. And Whoopi Goldberg has said that for a very long time too. Let's just make it so that I don't care if I have to pay a little bit differently. I don't care, a little more, a little something. Have
Child
more
airlines and
restricted-
adult airlines,
right?
yeah.
Have more restricted flights that I can go on. Put a fucking playland in the back for the flights that have for kids. I don't mean to be an ass. It's just it's too much.
But I have my headphones
It
and
can be too
Benadryl.
much.
Like
I
I
do,
can get, I
and
can
I
get
put my
through
headphones
anything with
on, but-
headphones and Benadryl.
Yeah.
But it would be nice, one flight a day, connecting.
Yes, even if it's just one
Child
flight, make
free.
it a late night flight. I don't care because I'm fine with that.
Oh, and they're never on those. Let me tell you.
Oh, yes,
now
they are.
the red eyes used to be delightful, but people caught on. The
Yeah.
unfortunate part is we all talked about it too much. We should have
bet.
kept it a better
Should've
secret. But they
stopped.
were moving planes to different airports, and the red eyes were just to get planes in the right location. So you would take a red eye to LA just
loved
to
red eyes.
LA had a plane. There'd be you and 2 flight attendants, and you'd
Right.
be sitting in first class. They're like, "We'll serve you anything you want to. You want the poor people food, the first class food.
No,
You
champagne.
better put your feet up. We don't
Yep.
give a shit." I flew so many red eyes back in the 80s that no one was on there. No one cared.
Sure.
But now,
Yeah,
But
no,
everybody talked
yeah.
about them. We all
Yep.
let that secret out, and
Yep.
that was
And
a
there are
bad
kids.
secret
There
to
are
give
kids
away.
on those fucking flights. And it irritates the shit out of me.
Because they're the
are-
worst
Sorry.
kids. Because they're exhausted. They
Yeah,
shouldn't
they
be on
are.
them. They're
You're
not
right.
appropriate.
you got one more, and I got one
I
more,
do.
and let's move on because we are running way behind on
We
this.
are
stuff.
way behind.
We got to get
It's
to
fine.
cats. We got to get to cats
You
segment.
sure don't.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
Are you sure?
I'm really just here for moral support.
And snacks.
Me too.
And snacks.
snacks.
She brought the snacks, so I'm doing moral
And 3
support.
hours worth of snacks. You need some more
a
pizza?
lovely story that at first I thought was kind of a Tinder type thing, but it turns out
It's
it's
pronounced
not.
tender, and it just means sensitive.
It's pronounced cunt, and it has a whole lot of different meanings. I'm just
Who's that?
saying. So
Fisticuffs, ladies and gentlemen. It's come to fisticuffs.
I'm here all week. Thank you.
Human Library lets you check out people from all walks of life for a chat. I did. I thought it was kind of.
I read this.
Did you see this?
Uh-huh.
So they have like a library desk, and you can go. It says you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but when it comes to other people, sometimes we do. Ronnie Abergel, a 42-year-old from Copenhagen, Denmark, is trying to change that with the Human Library. It's a place where individuals can, quote, check out, unquote, people or human books for a 30-minute conversation instead of a novel. Sometimes you see someone in the supermarket and think things about them, but you don't dare go ask them questions. Abergel wanted to build a space where you can ask them anything because they volunteered to answer. So being able to find out things about folks that you're normally going to be a little bit more standoffish or judgmental in a lot of ways.
I thought this was rather cool.
I think it's a great idea. Abergel opened the alternative library in Copenhagen in 2000 and has since brought the idea to over 70 countries. The library has come to a few spots in North America. It's in Vermont, San Diego, Virginia, and Toronto. Human books vary from people who are blind and deaf, people that are bipolar, homeless, and in the case of a Rochester, New York event, a white woman who grew up in apartheid-era South Africa. Speaking at a Human Library event, that woman shared her experiences saying, "What I became so aware of was how fear was used to control people and how fear was used to bond people." That
It's called religion.
Yeah.
Right. Everything
called
that she had been
Republicans.
taught in her culture, she says, was a lie. Abergel had a story of his own. Growing up in Denmark, he was a part of a bad crowd. In '89, at the age of 15, he moved to Connecticut for a year to live as a foreign exchange student. And when he returned home, he had a newfound respect for people that were different from him. According to the Human Library site, in '93, he and a few friends started a successful youth group called Stop the Violence after a mutual friend was stabbed. Thankfully, the friend survived, but the incident inspired Abigail to help people start open conversations about differences. When Stop the Violence was asked to develop an activity for a festival in 2000, the group came up with the idea for this human library, which did a stint in Wisconsin just this past February. Abigail hopes to bring his novel concept. It's cute, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't get it.
To all 50 states. He says,
So it seems.
I figured that if we could make people sit down with a group attached to a certain stigma that they don't like or even know about, for that matter, that we could diminish violence. So I thought it was really kind of wonderful to that idea of being able to sit down. And I didn't know. I didn't know if people in the chat room or even the three of you might think that was a neat idea. Like if you would participate in something like that.
I think it would be interesting because I have, unfortunately, and I think we've all come across different people in different walks of life. And again, nobody that I would walk up to, like I wouldn't see them at the grocery store and just go up and say, tell me about this, or why do you wear that headdress, or why do you do this? But I know enough people that I have been able to, I know them enough, like, hey, can I ask you a question? And you find out, why do you celebrate this holiday this year? Why do you do this, or why do you do that? And it's nice when you have that comfort to be able to do that. So in that case, let's just say that it was I'm just going to use it. Let's say it was a white person who was very bigoted and didn't fully understand, and they could schedule a 30-minute conversation with a black person and be able to ask them questions and find out more and potentially drop that wall, as we're talking about building a fucking wall with Trump, drop that wall, or even if it's Latin American people, and find out more about what they are. They're not rapists and drug addicts and killers. They're real people and have backstories, and oftentimes same goddamn story that you have.
Well, and I think you're exactly right. I think the interesting part of what you just said is that there are rapists and murderers and this and that in Latin America, just like there are here, just like there are everywhere. And the fact that it gets pointed out that they're only there, and now we say, well, they aren't there. Yeah, they are. Like, they're everywhere. But the vast majority of people that we could come into contact with aren't those people.
Right, no,
people.
Right? And the fact that we get so, as that woman said from apartheid South Africa, fear bonds us. And fear separates us.
Right.
I mean, it really is true. Like, you're taught all of these things.
Fear separates is the greatest thing. And that's why, like, the more you travel, the more you interact with people, the more people you meet in a liberal arts setting, not to push that, but the more people you're in contact with, the less you're going to be like, it's them against us. You're going to be like, oh, we're all kind of us.
Right. Exactly.
And you realize, like...
Exactly.
And it's one of those things that, yes, you want a human library, because when someone when you're on a Facebook page recently where someone's like, Obama's the most racist president ever, and like, why is Trump racist? Well, you're a white guy. So if you're looking to Trump to explain racism to you, I can't help you. You're going to need to talk to someone who's been a victim of racism and explain what that is. If someone tells you they're oppressed by something, or if a woman tells you that they're a victim of sexism, you need to talk to the woman and find out what is it in the situation that you're finding to be abusive or that. You don't talk to the man that did it and have him tell you why the victim is wrong. You talk to the person that's feeling the feeling, because your perception is reality. Right. That's the greatest part about therapy. If you tell me, and we've just with a friend recently, if you tell me that I'm always mean to you, I have to acknowledge the fact that in your mind, I'm always mean to you. I may not mean to be, but your perception of me being a mean person is the reality of the situation. What you perceived is the reality.
And what would make you mean.
But it doesn't matter, because the only reality to you is your reality.
And
so
I'm
a mean person. So I have to deal with that and be like, all right, how do we fix your perception of the situation? Like, what do I have to do as the person making you feel like I'm bullying you or being mean to you? How do I fix that? But I can't say, well, I'm not mean.
Yeah.
But if
you can't look at you and go, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Because now
But
you're just mean.
You have to acknowledge that when their perception is the reality. Like, if you think you're a victim of abuse, you're the victim of abuse. No one can tell you. And we're talking about pain in the chat room. If someone tells you, I'm in excruciating pain, you can't go in and say, no, you're not. You're making that up. If they're in pain, that's their perception. That's their reality. Right. You now have to treat the pain. Like, you can't tell them, well, that shouldn't hurt.
Exactly.
I had that same thing happen. It didn't hurt me. Right. That's not a valid way to treat any of these things. So you have to listen to the person's experience and find out, why is that your reality? What happened? What's gone on? If you don't,
and
if you don't
it's
do
like
a human
anyone
library,
with depression or anything else, and you look at
and
someone with
depression's a
depression and
big
say,
one.
"Come
huge.
on,
You can't be
pick
depressed.
yourself up by the bootstraps. You'll
you're
be
pretty,
fine."
yeah, you're
No.
pretty. You've got a nice
Right.
family. You've got
How
money.
could
How
you
could you be
possibly
depressed?
bond?
You're
Right.
ignoring
That's all
that,
true of
and
me,
just
as it turns out.
whenever you look
Well,
at
I
a
was looking at
situation,
you when
you
I
just
said
say the perception is reality, and that's the answer to every question. If someone perceives something, that's their reality. And you have to, if you want to keep a relationship with that person, or you want to keep a relationship with the human race, you have to
right.
deal with their perception. Why do they think this is racist? Why do they think they're being...
Why do you keep looking
Well,
at me
and-
while you're
and-
explaining
no,
this?
no, no, no. I mean, it's
I feel like I
It's
missed
the
something,
same-
and you're trying to
what
get it through
Jenny
my
is saying-
head.
God, Clayton, stop being
at all.
a racist.
And what Jenny is saying is right. This is management 101.
Yeah.
And it really is.
But I said it to you
something-
because I made you the example of
Right.
if
you were
you
saying
told
mean.
me
Yeah.
that I was always mean to you, I could either walk away and be like, well, fuck you, he's sensitive, or I
Sure.
could be like,
I so am.
You
no,
really
but
are.
I could also be like, why? And we just went through this with another friend
Mm-hmm.
recently of like, why am I always the bully in this situation? Like, what is it about what you're throwing out in the world that I come off as an aggressor when
Take care, Greg. Thank you.
I'm trying to be nice. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I'm trying to be supportive, but everything I do comes across as like bullying you. Like, you have to address that. Like, if it's something I can do differently, I can try, but if it's just constantly that you just are looking to be a victim, then we can't do anything about it.
Well, and Ananta's saying that he's very curious, and we've seen that actually in the chat room, right? Where you come off, Ananta's very apprehensive with
So much questions.
and so much questions, so many times that he wants to ask and will say ahead of time, "May I ask a question?" And of course you can, Anant, anytime. But it's that kind of, but that's what makes it so great.
Yeah.
Is this is kind of our own human library.
Right. And you
right?
want those
Where we can ask
experiences
those
out
questions
there.
and learn.
Wow, look at that's profound. But it really is that thing of like, and we're getting into
true.
that point now where, and we've talked about it in so many different places where like the 90s are now so long ago that when you hear a story about the 90s, you're like, well, they did that wrong. No, they did what was appropriate at the time.
Right.
They fought the battle. They took the victory they could. Now it seems that because we live in a different reality. Like it's 20 years
20
later.
years later is a
we
huge
live
difference.
somewhere else. Like
Right.
you can say gay out loud. You can be out and gay. Like you can do a lot of different things. So the 90s are almost ancient history in the gaydom of like the kingdom.
Sure.
It's a different perception. So when you look at something, you're like, oh, that's evil. She wasn't for this, or this, or he was not on the right side of this.
Yeah.
There was a different right and wrong then. Of course, there wasn't really a different right and wrong, but there was a different acceptable.
There was a different expectation.
Right. Of what you
and,
could be
and a
for
different
and against
threshold.
and still
Yeah, right,
survive.
threshold, I think, is the word I was actually looking for. Like there was a different
Yeah.
threshold for, gay rights. Like in 1990, like in the 90s, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was like groundbreaking. It was like, oh my god,
You could,
that's
you could
amazing.
be gay. Just
you can be gay and go in the army, which I
But someone said the word gay, so it
Right.
was
So it was a
okay.
win.
Yes.
in a reasonably positive way. Like nobody, I don't think anybody at the time anticipated how horribly that would turn out.
Of course.
But that was a win. That was like, oh my god, president said gay and he said okay in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Same sentence.
Well, and look at what folks are dealing with, like with Amina putting that. I live in a country with no functioning suicide hotline, and we're depressed as fuck. I mean, the idea that there isn't that kind of reach out. And if this could be something, or
And to take it out of the gay thing and to turn it into like suicide and depression, like gay is doing a lot better than depression. Like depression, people don't talk about it. They sweep it under the rug. They lock the door.
Right.
They hide it away, and they like just stew in it. And if you don't tell somebody, like we're all a little sad. You can you can
Right.
come out here and play in the sad world. We're all going to do it.
Totally.
And I think Inside Out handled that beautifully,
So
You're right.
well.
very
Right.
touching.
What if feelings had feelings?
Right.
Yes.
But it really
Oh, that
makes
whole
you
thing,
wonder,
that whole
like,
movie.
and whenever you hear somebody like, I didn't like, oh no, he didn't reach out to me, because we don't offer that hope to someone. Like we don't look at, because we do that thing of like, well, why are you depressed? That's just stupid.
yes,
Instead of being like, well, why are you depressed? Like what is it that's bringing you? Because outwardly you don't see it. It doesn't manifest itself in that outward way to look and be like, okay, everything on the surface looks fine, but what's depressing you? Like, that's It's a deep topic
It
for
really
for-
is. It really is. And when I saw that, I just thought that it just kind of
And the
reminded
more-
me of this.
the
because
more you know.
I've learned more
Yeah.
in with our chat room family. And them sitting around the table with us, I have learned so much that
And seeing
that
a
I
different
never would've-
perspective perspective on all these different things, like
Sure.
Yeah.
outside of America, what does this look like? Inside of America,
Right.
like if you live
Well,
in this
and
part
in
of the country,
California, what does it look
Right.
like? And in New York, yeah,
or Tyler from
absolutely.
Tennessee, like what does this look like from the deep
Absolutely.
south? Like
Yeah.
if you're living in the deep south,
Sure.
what does it look like everyday life, or does this just look like, oh, this is dysfunctional from here too? We got to stop the shit. Or you're like, well,
Right.
this is how we are. But we have that in Arizona too. Is this
right.
just, are we just hillbillies?
But you
Right.
have to start with a willingness to see other people's perspectives. Like
Right.
you have to
Be open to it.
you have to kind of be open to that.
Yep.
And
You're right.
and believe it or not, I think a lot of that comes from reading, and
yeah.
and if possible from an early age, because here's my little plug for reading for the week.
Yep.
The best thing
You always fit one in
I
somewhere.
like
always
it.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my agenda and I squeeze
That's
them in.
what, that's what she
I squeeze
said.
them right in. I heard that.
Thanks.
No, and it's super true. Like if you don't have access like we do to people around the world,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah, we're
different people's
lucky with that.
perspectives. Every book that you read is written from someone else's perspective.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you can see, and the great thing about books, especially like novels and such, like you get to see that thought process that went through somebody's mind because
Right.
they've taken the time to write it all down, and it just makes for better people. Like the more you read and the more you look into that kind of stuff, and you can see from other people's perspectives. And it doesn't have to be novels. It doesn't have to be nonfiction. Like all your biographies and autobiographies also like give you that insight
Or a
into other
well-written
people's minds.
article. Like sometimes
Sure.
Vanity
Absolutely,
Fair
you're right.
is just
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
solid
Yeah.
investigative journalism.
Absolutely. And even blog posts, like people pour their heart out onto the internet. Like you don't even have to pick up a paper book anymore to see what someone is feeling and thinking and you can't
Emoting,
yeah.
What's missing from almost every interaction now is empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Like empathy is the thing that we
Right.
just cannot
Walk a mile in their shoes.
Yeah. Walk 5 feet in their shoes. I mean,
Right.
because we're that low now. It's like,
Right.
well, I don't like, that's just wrong. I can't accept
Right.
it. Like, I can't take halfway.
I
It's
unfriend
either
you.
my way or the highway. Yeah, I unfriend you. Like, and we've
Right.
talked about that with Bill Maher, with him
Uh-huh.
saying like, oh, you disagree with me on this, so you're just a horrible
You're out.
person. We got to move on. Or you made a joke in your stand-up comedy show that offended me on this level, so I have to like just unfriend you. No. We're on the same side. We do have different opinions
Right.
and different things, and we have to find a way to like build all of them together. And I learned that from this show. I have to tell you, honest to God, from doing this, and when people would be like, "Oh, this comedian said this, and now I can never listen to him again."
Yeah.
Sometimes on this show, this microphone's live, and we go on for 3 hours, and I say shit
Yeah.
that I'm like,
Some
"Oh,
ridiculous
dear
shit.
sweet baby
Yeah.
Jesus, did I say that out loud?" But
Right.
I'm like, "Well, it kind of made me laugh at the time, and oh well, life
Sure.
goes on."
Sure.
But I know how I am as a person, so I'm like, well, I hope you would look at the whole picture. But I'm like, you could pick me apart as easily as you could anybody else for what's being said out loud and be like,
I'm doing it right now.
Right.
But we've said
but
that
you could
for
be like, oh my God, he hates handicapped people. He's got to go. When you're like, no.
You mean that's not true?
Yeah,
well,
exactly. I mean, it's up for
he-
debate.
It's the most retarded person I ever met.
I just don't like that they have the best parking. That's
Yeah. Don't get me started on that.
And
'cause
ramps.
that will never
Seriously.
fly. My thoughts on that.
Oh, damn it! I'm going the wrong way.
All right.
Go on.
Tough on it. I have my own handicap.
Yeah.
They're not all visible.
No, it's not. It's go on.
I feel like
Sir.
we don't get through this last story.
Fine.
And let
Last
him talk
story, go.
more.
Please do.
3 hours with the
Yeah.
headlines.
Yeah.
No, it's only been a little over an hour actually. We started late with them.
It's good.
Go ahead.
Well, break out the red checkered vinyl tablecloth and the plastic forks and spoon. It's soon going to be legal to have potlucks in Arizona. Oh my God, they finally made them legal.
Stand by.
Well, there are a lot of things I've done that I could go to jail for.
Oh
and
my God, yes.
apparently, that's a lot of it.
In a March 21st news release from Representative Kelly Townsend, she thanked Arizona Governor
body and
Doug
bag.
Ducey for signing her bill, which was HB 2341, which repeals the ban, swear to God, the ban on any non-workplace potluck in the state.
That's the most asinine thing I've ever heard.
We're Arizona. We have a lot of that. Quote, although
call.
seemingly
Amen.
trivial, many Arizonas have had their personal liberties infringed on by this unfortunate law, and Representative Townsend hopes that going forward, folks can exercise this basic right to break bread together without government intrusion.
Are there examples of people whose personal liberties have been infringed upon
I don't think
by
so.
the potluck law?
However,
the potluck law is very important.
But it's
Because let me tell you how many times people have been like, "Hey, what can I bring?" And I start doling out dishes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. But it's funny to remember the actual was a law that a non-workplace, you can't just have a picnic.
Does the article state
Or a holiday, quite
cite
frankly,
the
depending
original
on
rationale
what it is,
for the law?
Google HB 2341.
No. The original like potluck banning. Like,
I don't
why did
know
they do that?
what that
Well,
law
that's what
is. Can I just get through one goddamn story?
Are you new to this show?
Apparently.
Yeah.
What's the HB number again?
Body in a
HB
bag.
2341.
Cheers. What is it called?
Now this
Body of
bill,
itself.
this bill will go into effect 90 days after. Help me with this. Is it Sindai? Which is just the area of
never
time
heard that.
after the legislative session when it's over. There's a 90-day period of time. This one, 90 days after the Sindai,
Oh, yeah.
which will no doubt be after. It'll be after the
think
4th
it's
of July. Sindai. It'll be after the 4th of July celebration. However, but it'll be in place, and you can freely have a picnic or a potluck anywhere in the state of Arizona and not risk being arrested for it. I think that's
Insane.
asinine.
Wait, dear Google.
Well, and how many different laws do they bring up?
I'm sure there's a ton of
no,
other
but
ones.
I'm saying like someone had to propose that law at some point.
Right, back then, somebody had to say,
And
we
say-
can't have them having picnics
Well,
willy-nilly.
This is the most important thing I can come up with.
But
right
but
now.
you could do it in a workplace. Like if you were at work, you could have that, but you can't just
Right.
have
I
one
can't-
outside.
Well, right.
I don't understand
Right.
that.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I don't.
But anyway, I thought it was interesting. So it's expected to fall about April 23rd of this year, which would be the end of the legislative session.
now on April
90 days
24th.
past. No, wait. 90 days past the end of the legislative session, which apparently we've already just passed. It'll be 90 days after that, and then boom, you can have yourself a
Well,
potluck.
now wouldn't that be a potluck here when we Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
Or today, apparently.
Well, this is a workplace.
Right.
it's a true
Oh wait. How?
It's an unpaid workplace.
He lives
I
at work.
forgot. It's called volunteer.
I don't know about
I
that.
just don't know if that's written in the subtext there
Yeah, I
to
don't-
say,
Oh, it's a health department
yeah,
thing.
Jenny wants to know.
Oh,
if
it
it's
was a
okay or
health
not.
department.
It's a health department thing.
I would think the health department would frown upon it anywhere then. That's what.
Sinadai.
Well, Jenny
It
wanted to
means
know if
without-
it was Chinese.
It means without a day. It means that with no specific day, and you adjourn with no specific day in mind.
So
So
it's
the
in
Congress
90s.
will adjourn Sinayadai,
Can you have me, Jen,
meaning
all
without
over,
a day
please?
in mind.
Oh, got it. It's almost like Sans Day.
It is. Literally, that is
Without
what
day.
it means.
Got it.
By the way, I just
From the
want to
Latin.
show this to Jenny. This is, to Amina, actually. This is our
Actually, if-
referee, our studio
you
cop.
can
Where
put
am
it
I
up in
going?
front of that camera
Find
if you
a
want.
camera.
Which one?
Stand up.
I don't want to.
That's a camera
Where?
right there.
Gimme.
Well, put it up there.
Al, up higher,
Get it,
Al.
get it,
Up
get
higher,
it.
up higher, up higher.
Up,
There you
Oh,
go!
got it. Okay. Yeah, that's our referee. That is our referee in studio,
It's
John
funnier when they
Oliver.
sneak in like this. though.
She had way too much fun with that last week.
It's funnier when they sneak in. You gotta be-
Is this where we've gone to?
Arriba, yeah,
I feel
Arriba.
like I should.
John Oliver's doing La Bamba. Enjoy it, people.
I feel like I should play the Cookie Monster commercial again, but I can't.
Okay, to answer my own question, it appears that potlucks just kind of fell in with food service laws.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
in
you don't-
regards to how you serve people to how many people, like once a certain number of people
Because
congregate, then you
there's
have
a
to have
strong
like, food handlers
chance
cards.
of dying of food poisoning.
I wonder
Right.
what that number is.
I don't know.
I'm not saying
I
waste
found
your
like
time.
I found like two articles.
But I
on-
bet
that's as far
there's
as I
got to be a
found.
number like 10 people or more is considered a restaurant, and you have to have food hairnets and.
Lettuce.
Should I have
break
time between now and next
bread.
Tuesday?
I bet you
will
won't.
read the food service law.
Al, are you remotely can you pull it together to
I
do
think
a
so,
segment?
yeah.
You can. Well, let's try this. Jesus Christ!
It's a short segment.
It better be about 20 minutes long.
We have Broadway records. We have American Horror Story news. We have Death Den. We have a review of a show, and we have a news about the Daytime Emmy Awards. And then I just found a headline over here, and we have records being met or matched.
And
Identical
so,
cousins.
Died.
They're two of a kind.
and Al gets a present today from Thailand.
Very nice.
Patty Duke.
Patty Duke died
Died.
today.
Died today, yeah.
Shut the fuck.
69 years
69.
old.
Well, if somebody had told me that would have been the
and
headline.
Figured you knew that.
And- well, yeah.
Identical cousins.
So did the actor
They're
who
two
played
of a
the
kind.
governor
That's right, I know
in
the theme
Benson.
song.
That's funny. You know the theme song.
90 some odd years
That's
old.
a
The guy
long
who
time
played
I'll tell you why.
the governor in the TV series Benson died too.
Yes, he did. I have both of those stories. He was hysterical.
What is wrong with you,
wrong
Al?
with
Where
you?
has your
Where have you
information
been?
line
He's
been?
upset about
I'm
Patty
not very
Duke.
good.
When was the last time someone died and you didn't send me a text message 30 seconds later?
I figure that you know because you're on.
You are entertainment. Jesus.
We can't all do your job, Al.
Nope, everybody's trying. Fuck.
I am taken
I'm
aback.
verklempt.
Died today, 69.
Yep.
Well, he recovers to answer your question. The
Yes.
reason I know the theme song is there was a time when
Oh, get the theme.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
All right.
Calm down.
there was a time when I had there was
a
not.
time, I know not where.
That's very nice.
When love was
Where do I begin?
Oh, not that one. I was thinking
Oh.
Linda Eder.
we were going to
There's
we were
Bring
going
on the
to-
men.
Yeah.
When love was blind
Continue
and
on.
the moon invited.
In any event, somewhere in the lull between one of the
We all
cable cord
went
cuttings.
wrong.
She's talking
Oh,
to you.
yeah. sorry.
The cable cord cutting.
I'm going to
Sorry,
get a
God,
beer.
go
I'm
ahead.
out of
No,
here.
please.
No.
My bad.
No, I'm getting beer. I'm out of here.
Oh, well.
On to the next.
She'll come back.
She might let us know then.
So, in a shocking bit of news for me, I cannot believe I went out drinking for an afternoon and this happened.
I know.
Actor Patty Duke, best known for Oscar-winning performance as Helen Keller in 1962's The Miracle Worker, has died.
Yep.
Turn that up.
From Zanzibar to Berkeley Square, but Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair! Thought they'd
Kat would have enjoyed this.
Identical cousins.
all the way.
All right.
Wait,
Matching book
the best part's coming.
different as night and day.
Where Kathy adores a menu.
You gotta play the whole
The
thing.
ballet russe, great Suzette. Our Patty loves her rock and roll, a hot dog maker.
Well done, Jenny.
What a wild duet. Still they're cousins.
Identical cousins.
Then you'll find they laugh alike,
They walk alike, sometimes they even talk alike.
you can lose your mind when cousins are two of a kind.
I think
I
Kat
just-
could have enjoyed that if she hadn't been pouting.
I love
Sorry,
that.
Kat.
Sometimes they even talk alike. So Oscar winner for her role as Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker, and a surprise win. If I'm not mistaken, she won over Judy Garland in Judgment at Nuremberg. And the movie it's a great movie, and she is truly a great actress that went on to a terrible. That's on MeTV every night. I've been watching the Patty Duke show every
Oh.
night that I've worked for like a month and a half because it's on MeTV at like 2 a.m. So
that's
Oh,
true.
good. We're
Yes.
back to my story because it used to be on one of the 3 channels that I could get over the air whenever I got home from the
I
bar.
love how you brought it back.
yeah, bring it back. Sell it now.
Well, you knew
Yeah.
she
The
would.
show heals itself.
So Trish the Dish at the time
Body
was
in a
my
bag.
roommate, and so
Oh.
I would go to work, and then I would go like pick her up from the bar that she worked at, and then we'd go to Filiberto's and get our cheese quesadillas, and then we'd go home. Bam! Right in time for the Patty Duke show.
Yep.
Every Saturday night for like 6 months.
Got it.
Sometimes they even talk alike.
Yeah,
They're
they're 2
one
of a kind.
Oh.
Yeah, they were 2 of a kind.
Yeah.
Too much has happened on the show. Apparently, we're not going to be aired.
Joe, I figured out how to get around all this shit. Don't worry about it. If it's muted for a few days, I'll fix it.
She won her Academy Award
Yeah.
for Best Supporting Actress at age 16, which at the time was one of the youngest ever, or she was possibly the youngest at that time.
At that time she was, because it wasn't until
Tatum O'Neal,
right?
and then Anna Paquin comes into
Yep.
that deal somewhere.
The piano.
The show, The Patty Duke Show, ran for 104 episodes from 1963 to 1966,
I've
which
seen
told
all of
you
them.
how many episodes those bitches put out back in the day. It wasn't the 24 now.
Crankety.
Did double duty, and she was the youngest actor to ever have a TV show bearing her name. She continued to find success on the small screen, earning 3 Emmy Awards, including wins for Captains and Kings and My Sweet Charlie. In total, she was nominated 8 times. She was in Valley of the Dolls, which,
Yeah.
in case you are not
Yeah.
familiar with that camp classic, Patty Duke was trying to like grow herself up into Valley of the Dolls. And it's a tragedy, but god damn is that movie good. She's in Prelude to a Kiss in a lovely role.
Oh, that's right. I had forgotten that. Yeah.
She the role of Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker was played on stage at first, but she did not win the Tony. But Anne Bancroft did, and in 1979 she was in the TV version of the movie, where in that case she played Annie Sullivan instead of Helen Keller, and she won an Emmy for that. She had bipolar disorder. She became an advocate for mental health issues.
That was a big deal because she said, "I'll take crazy. I'll take people calling me crazy," because she and her clearly was one of the headliners.
And don't you find the irony in the fact that she played two different parts in the same show, and she went on to be a mental health advocate?
And interesting, Jenny has something up there about her Academy Award win when Desi Arnaz was her date, and it says she was so strong.
Desi Arnaz Jr.
I didn't realize she and Desi Arnaz Jr. were together. He was so handsome.
For many, I think they were together for many years. If I'm not, no, they could. No, not for her win.
It says inside their headline making affair.
Not for, they weren't together for her win because he was so much younger than her. I think, well, no, they could have been. I think he would probably be 14 to her 16.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Desi Arnaz Jr. is much younger than her. Much younger.
Sure. He was cute when he was younger.
He was cute.
Oh, he was a cutie.
Yeah. Boy, does he look like his dad as he got older.
But her autobiography is called Call Me Anna. Yep. And she was married to
John Astin.
John Astin from the Addams Family. And her son is the star of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow. Jesus.
Well, and did you say Goonies?
Maybe Goonies, too.
Yeah, because Sean Astin was total Goonies.
Oh, Sean Astin, but then he's in the Lord of the Rings, too.
Absolutely, but it said, like, his most prominent role was, and I'm like, no, bullshit.
Wait, isn't that Rudy, too?
He was in Rudy. He was, and then Mackenzie Astin is his brother.
Yeah.
Who, they're like, and Mackenzie, they mentioned him in a couple things. Yeah. And Mackenzie Astin. But he was in, something I would love and know, The Facts of Life.
Oh, that's right. Mackenzie Astin was very cute.
Astin
he was a cutie.
Really a cutie. Yeah.
Oh, he's the boy that was in the...
he came in like at the tail end.
Right. The ratings were slumping, so they add more characters to try to bring it back.
He's actually been in quite a few things.
When George Clooney came in, he came in. Oh, that's so sad because, I mean, she was a very versatile actress, and I read her Call Me Anna book back in the day, and...
From what I read online, she died of sepsis. She had a rupture intestinally and died from that.
Mom looked at me and said, "What could have happened?" And I said, she was guessing heart attack or this or this, and no. I'm very, very saddened by that news, as I am by the net. We'll just keep up with deaths and bad news. And two hot Indian guys that they sent me a picture of. Right. And Desi Arnaz Jr. right now, because he's a cutie.
Oh, he was a cutie. Where? Oh, I lost it. Oh, it turns out I sold it for pictures of hot guys. So Gary Shandling died.
Yeah.
Who, in my mind, and I have to tell you this in all honesty.
Oh my God!
I thought of him as Larry Sanders.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
In my mind, Gary Shandling's name was just Jerry. It was. I can't even get it.
So that's why is that what you put on Facebook about that show, or did you really like the Gary Shandling show?
Well, it's the Gary Shandling show, or whatever that was called. It's Gary Shandling show was on Showtime in the 80s,
right?
When Showtime was very, very new. It was a show that very few people saw because Showtime was very up and coming,
right?
And it was this break the fourth wall, experimental, and the theme song was "It's the Gary Shandling Show" song. Mm-hmm. Like it's just so out in left field, and most people that I've talked to, almost nobody that I knew liked that show. And they were like,
not. That's why when you put that on there, you're like, he was so funny and so this and that, and I was like,
no. To me, he was the Larry Sanders Show. And then in the 90s, he came out with his show about a talk show called The Larry Sanders Show, with Rip Torn in the role, of a lifetime.
Exactly.
Rip Torn.
I agree.
Who knew that?
Scotty?
Nope. Oh, Geraldine Page's husband, Rip Torn.
Oh, right.
Carrie. What's Carrie's real name? Carrie, the actress. Sissy Spacek's cousin, Rip Torn. This dramatic actor could be that fucking
Did not put
funny.
that together. Did not know that they were
cousins.
Yeah,
they're cousins.
Not identical.
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. But they could have been.
But if you get a chance, it's on HBO Go. That's one of the best reasons to subscribe to HBO Go and pay your $14 or HBO Now or whatever it's called. The Larry Sanders Show. Jeffrey Tambor at the top of his game. He's
Jeffrey
good in
Tambor's
Arrested
really good.
Development. He's good in Transparent.
Yeah.
But there is nothing compared to how funny he is on The Larry Sanders Show.
Sure.
It's genius. And it was another one, like I was just minutes ago, shocked by a healthy guy, seemingly healthy. He was just on Bill Maher's show. He was just on Comedians Having Coffee in Cars.
Okay.
Not even
Good
a month
night,
ago. It's only
Harrison.
been a few weeks.
Thanks for joining us on.
They tape those.
No,
along
it
ago,
was
right.
literally taped in January. Like, it's just recently taped.
Oh, well, one of the guys, when they announced it, like he had seen him like the Friday before.
Right,
Like he
like-
just seen him. He's like, I just talked to him 4 days ago.
Yeah, like, it's shocking.
Well, and a lot
But
of
shocking.
people, I'm not going to lie, a lot of people in their 60s, and it's kind of starting to freak me out. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, because it's time to die.
Yeah.
It's
No,
called
but I
the
mean,
life
like-
expectancy for a reason.
No, because people are living such longer lives,
Yeah.
it seems. That's why 60 does not seem, 60s just does not seem.
Yeah. As we
Old
get
enough
closer,
to be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
as we start inching up on it.
No. And I agree with that. Like, but looking, and maybe it's because of looking at my mom and the whole idea of mortality kind of thing. But, and I get all of that. But I guess 80, 90, like I'm used to my grandparents. All of my grandparents.
But
were
now
in
we're
their
just at
90s.
David Bowie, Glenn Fry,
Right,
Gary
right.
Shandling. Like Patty Duke doesn't seem. I mean, she was a
We're
teenager for the
69.
love of Christ.
We're also talking about people that were raised on Wonder Bread and mayonnaise.
Fair. That's fair.
I can back up on
Delicious
that one.
choices, but maybe
bad
not the
choices.
healthiest.
Sure. Okay. All right. I'm
But
not
I
gonna
mean,
lie.
honest to God, there's an episode of the Larry Sanders Show that I will, if you need me to Google it.
True.
But I'm sure with a little bit of Dear Google, you can find it when Jeffrey Tambor decides he's going to be
Google.
Jewish. Is probably one of the funniest episodes of television that's ever aired. And there is not one person, including the woman that plays the rabbi that he's hitting on, that does not get their chance to shine. And the fact that didn't win like 18 Emmys for every person associated with that episode, I almost shit my pants laughing at just how absurdly funny. And then everything with David Duchovny, because David Duchovny had that X-Files image of being like so serious, and he really wanted to shake it. So he went on the Larry Sanders Show as like having a gay crush on Larry Sanders. And like always kind of secretly hitting on him. And Gary Shandling was like, does no one else see what he's doing? Like, what are you all watching? Like, but everybody plays them. All the celebrities play themselves. And it's very, very funny.
That is very funny.
Nice.
But when Jeffrey Tambor decides he's going to become a Jew to hit on the woman rabbi,
That's the way to do it.
and Rip Torn just walks up and he's like, I'm going to need to talk to you in my office. He's like, am I in trouble? He's like, no, think of it more as a preemptive strike. And I'm like, I'm waiting for Clayton to say that to me one day on the show. Am I in trouble? Think of it more as a preemptive strike.
Al, can you close the door, please?
I need to talk to you off air.
All right. So
And then were you going to touch on James Noble, or do you not care?
James Noble's dead?
James
Yes,
Noble,
that's what we were just saying.
the
from
governor
Benson,
from Benson, died today at
who
94.
was so fucking funny. God.
James Noble, and I'm sure he was in other things. Benson aired from 79 to 86.
Yeah, one of the funniest.
It was a very
shows.
funny show. I enjoyed
Yes.
that. With
I thought it was brilliant.
But 94, it's about time.
Oh, absolutely. But it's just the idea.
And for those of you that don't know,
funny show.
who aren't familiar, Benson.
Chances are paramedics.
Robert
Benson,
Guillaume.
Robert Guillaume.
Airplane 2, the sequel. Carry on.
Yep.
Robert,
I knew Airplane.
Robert Guillaume, who in this picture that I'm showing currently is the black gentleman sitting in the tan suit on the desk. He was a butler in another TV series called Soap.
That's right.
And it was so fucking funny.
Oh, God.
Soap was wonderful. It's where we get Billy
And this
Crystal.
is
Yep.
Soap.
Yeah, and this is so Billy Crystal, Catherine Hellman.
Yep.
That's the mayonnaise. Her name is Catherine
Catherine Hellman.
Hellman. No D. I don't think.
I think there's a D.
I
I'm
think
with
there's
you.
a D.
There might be. All
I'm
right.
absolutely.
Because she was
with you,
also on,
Clayton.
later on Who's the Boss and
Yep.
so things, but she's also a wonderful actress as well.
There is
and
a D, yes,
and
Hellman.
the other connection is D. I'm correct. Give it to me. Thank you for the
You
win.
didn't mean give it
she
to you
was
like
the
that, no.
Catherine Hellman was the mother in Overboard,
Overboard.
Yes,
who
she was.
seeking her daughter the whole time. That uppity mother with the yes.
If you have a baby, you can't be the baby.
I love her.
159 episodes of Benson. Let's look at his career. And a genuinely funny man. Always played a little daft. That was his thing, was to play a little
And
stupid.
played it well.
He did. I'm trying to think if there's any other, like, numerous guests on The Love Boat and Fantasy Island, but of course they all did.
And Inga Swenson played the
Inga
Inga
Swenson
Swenson.
was so
the
funny.
was she like the nanny?
Swedish
Chef. She was the governor's
Yep,
chef.
yep. Oh,
She was funny too.
funny.
He
Now,
was on
who
the
was
soap-
the? Okay, so I have full cast.
And Clayton, what was his name? That was the
McKee, that's you.
no.
No.
The governor's assistant. It was
Clayton Runny's. That's Renee.
oh no, Renee Auberjonois.
Yep,
Auberjonois.
yep.
His name was Clayton
Auberjonois.
something in
Yeah.
the movie in the series.
Runnymede.
Funny stuff. Good stuff.
Now, who was
Clayton
the
Endicott.
Benson Dubois?
Princeton Dubois.
Who was the director? That's what I'm trying to find, like fast, and I'm not finding it for Benson and for Soap. It was the
Executive
same.
Paul Junger Witt, producers, and Tony Thomas and Susan Harris.
Paul Junger Witt is the guy that brought us. His wife Susan Witt is who gave us the Golden Girls and
Right, that's
Yeah.
what I was.
Susan
like,
Harris
there-
was
there
also
are
a
ties
producer.
to that. Okay.
Again, Golden Girls. It's all tied into
It's like
that.
6 degrees of some dead guy.
Well, some. No, but I knew that there were. It's kind of like a.
and one of the Gold children, not the one that
That's
This
Missy
was
Gold.
Missy Gold.
This was
was the
Missy
daughter,
Gold. The
right.
healthy Gold sister was
That
on this show. The anorexic was on Growing Pains.
Bulimic, actually, and was
Bulimic,
on,
yeah.
Tracy Gold was on
Growing
Never
Pains.
put that
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sisters.
Wow.
Sisters.
They're sisters.
Identical
They're
sisters.
Continue
And
on with
it
your
all
entertainment
comes
segment.
Non-identical cousins.
So now we're getting we're 2 people into the death gen and we're not on the one that I was prepared for him to die.
Well, this ought to be good. You're prepared for this
Who
one.
else died?
Oh no, we did Gary Shandling. So that's 3
We did.
dead people.
Okay, got
we
it.
did Gary Shandling.
Anybody else?
The
Still
Larry
dead.
said, find that episode where Jeffrey Tambor decides he's going to be Jewish and just enjoy the shit out of it. Smart,
Yeah, Jenny,
smart
you're right.
writing. Okay, so let's go back to my entertainment page to see what was on there because now you've all through. I am very, very
have no
sad
idea
about
what's
Patty
Patty
Duke.
Duke, I know,
I
I
honestly was not. I'm glad I drank before I found out that news. So Wicked is now the fastest show to ever pass. Wow, that is some bad English spelling there. I must have wrote this when I was drunk.
Good job.
Fastest show to ever reach $1 billion. And the fact that there's like 4 shows that have reached $1 billion, which should not happen on a Broadway show. Broadway shows could run like 2 to 3 years and be like it. Like
Right.
Does that include tours, like the various tours and the various installations across the country? Or
no,
is
it
that
includes
just
just
the box
Broad-
office
just
on Broadway.
box office on Broadway. So there's like Phantom, Cats. But they're only 13 years in, 12 and a half years in, and they've already passed $1 billion on a show that most people kind of panned. It wasn't universally liked. It did not win the Tony for Best Broadway Show, and Avenue Q did. The win for there's a documentary about the 2003 season that's a lot of fun to watch. And when they talk about the nominees for Best Actress, the general consensus was anybody but Idina Menzel will win that Tony. Like, that is definitely, she should not even have been nominated. What are they thinking? It's not that great of a part. It's one note, literally one note at
What
the
is
end of
this
Act
feeling,
1.
Right? Yeah.
No, when she,
I
that thing.
I know.
But so it was one of those shows
I feel
that
like the show should
succeeded.
have probably kind of just ended there.
Yeah.
Like at the
It's
end
been
of
a good
Act
time.
1, I'm like, oh, that was good. I'm ready to go. Oh, there's more.
But I liked Act 2.
You did not like it?
It's
I'm not a big fan of Act 2. No,
Oh,
I'm
not a big fan of
100%.
Act 1.
I'm
Okay.
buckled in and ready to rock, and then once we defy gravity, I'm like, okay, good.
Wow.
See, mine is.
I'm outta
that-
here.
I hate that Dancing
Okay.
Through Life song, and I hate the
That's interesting.
Oh, I don't mind dancing.
the
through
shit
life.
about
I like
the
dancing.
shiz or whatever the fuck that university is. Like, there's so many
Dear old
songs.
Yeah,
shiz.
yeah.
Yeah, I could do without dear old shiz. I could kind of do without the professor bullshit is in Act 2.
Is the professor Anne Marion?
Yeah.
Well, they're on
just-
giving.
They just
asking
went with
for a
and the
friend.
rest. I'm
And the
asking for a
rest.
friend.
Asking for a friend. Sorry.
So the daytime Emmy nominations were announced. So Adele has a very good chance of getting another part of her EGOT. She has her Grammy, she has her Oscar, and now she's been nominated for a daytime Emmy award in a category I never heard of, where she went on the Today Show and sang, and now if you perform on a live talk show in the daytime, you can be nominated for Best Performance.
Wait, are you telling me that all Adele has to do is sing the same goddamn song in like 7 different rooms and she can be an EGOT?
Yes. Well,
Bullshit.
Well, one of the earliest EGOTs is Rodgers and Hammerstein because they just kept doing The Sound of Music on every stage possible. So that
That's
one
fair.
show got them an Oscar, an Emmy, a Grammy. So it's how
That's fair.
it's how
All
you
right.
get there.
You're right.
The only one that gets it from a lot of different places is Rita Moreno.
Yeah.
Because luckily she's brown, so she plays every nationality.
them?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
She's
plays-
every woman.
She plays all of the nationalities. But the incredible thing about the daytime Emmy nominations is that the awards will not be televised. The revolution will not be
Oh.
televised. So I think that's a strange
A damn
thing
shame.
that the soap opera awards, which is what they really are,
Right.
but now there's like game show and reality show and
There's a
like,
lot of shit happening on daytime TV.
that list of nominations, and it's all about animation and children's programming.
Sure.
But now it's got some really strange categories like best performance of a song. But her competition is pretty stiff for who performed songs that were nominated. Like it's because everybody goes on. They do those concerts, those live concerts in the summertime.
Sure.
In the middle of
Oh, that's right. The
outside.
Today Show does those
Today Show
outside.
live. They all do something. So her competition is pretty stiff.
Do you know who they are?
No.
Fair.
They're
I
stiff,
didn't.
though.
I didn't download it because like none of us watch soap operas, so I was like, "There's no reason
Sure.
to know
No,
like
that's
date."
true.
But the important thing was that Adele could be three-quarters. But now she has the hardest Tony to win, which is a competitive, and it's what keeps most people like Barbara Streisand out of the EGOT territory. Is that
Okay.
Barbara Streisand does not have a competitive Tony. She has a commemorative Tony for like Star of the Decade, but she never won. She didn't win a competitive Tony. And Whoopi Goldberg has a competitive Tony, but it's as a producer of Thoroughly Modern Millie, not as an actress.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I
So
was
and
thinking
her
she had
and
that otherwise.
her Emmy is for daytime talk show host, not for acting. So hers is even more varied because she doesn't have an EGOT as a performer. Hers are producer, talk show host. So, but Adele's has a chance to do it if she gets now she has to get into a Broadway show and win a Tony Award, which is very hard to do. Or like Dolly Parton did for 9 to 5, you have to write or the reason that Mel Brooks is in there is because Mel Brooks wrote the producers and he wrote the original music, so he won a Tony for the producers as a songwriter, as a composer, which makes it very strange that Mel Brooks is in there. And his Emmy is last. He won an Emmy for like well, not last, but he won an Emmy for Mad About You. Like his Emmy comes way later for a guest performer on Mad About
wow.
You. So EGOTs are very, very rare. Like Liza Minnelli doesn't have a Grammy. Of all the fucking things for Liza Minnelli to not have, someone who's been recording music for 40 years, 50 years, doesn't have a Grammy.
The category is outstanding musical performance in a talk show / morning program.
Yeah. So you went on there
that's
and you sang
weirdly
your
specific.
shit. Yeah. Well, they have to be because like all these awards now are so like we got to water it down.
So Jenny or Amina was asking. So if Adele performs on the Ellen Show each day before the season ends,
But you can't compete against yourself. So they'll pick one performance, and hers was on the Today Show, where
Okay.
she did something a little bit different. But then her category, it's all people that are really good performing, and so it could be a stand-up comic, it could be like a dramatic.
Oh, good. It's not
monologue.
too far down the list. Jeff Lynn's ELO from CBS This Morning. Bruno Mars from The Ellen Show. Rachel Platten was on Good Morning America. Annie Lennox was on The Talk. And Adele on The Today Show.
And Annie Lennox's performance was really good, and Bruno Mars was really good. And you got to figure Bruno Mars is pushing Uptown Funk
Yep.
almost exclusively.
Yeah.
And if you're watching that and you're gonna be like Uptown Funk, because you might be a little burned out, but you're not burned out on Uptown Funk. For some reason, that song has not burned any bridges.
No,
I'm burned out.
You watch.
Are you?
I'm so good
Yeah.
with it. I'm good with it.
Yeah,
I will
I'm
watch
good
him
with
do anything.
You
But no,
really
but I'm
would,
just saying,
yeah,
like that
that's-
song.
My
like,
children killed it. Like,
But you put it on, and the guy on the treadmill is doing some treadmill routine to Uptown Funk. You're like, okay, I'm good. So now,
all right, no, that's a true story.
that's what you. I'll just tell you how you got to get in there.
Just tickle it a little bit. You'll get there.
Amina cracks me.
So then the last thing is I went to Vegas to see the Beatles do Cirque du Soleil. The Beatles do Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil. Do Circus of the Sun. Do
Take two.
God damn it. Do Love by the Beatles.
Yeah. And of all the Cirque du Soleil shows, like that's the one that I've always wanted to see, and I saw you post about
That's
that.
at the
and I was like,
Bellagio, right?
Mirage. The Mirage, I think.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's the Bellagio is O.
Tomato Tomaggio. Bellagio
Tomato
is O.
Tomaggio.
Yeah, because O is the one with all the water.
Oh yeah,
Right.
and then Ka is at MGM. There's like 3 or 4
Is
shows.
that the animal one?
And Le Rev was at Steve
No
Wynn
idea.
was at Wynn. The Le Rev was gorgeous. Le Rev
Was
was
it?
yeah, it was. Now,
I haven't been to Vegas in years.
all right, I get it completely. I've seen Las Vegas, Cirque du Soleil, which is sexy and a little bit dirty and subversive, and then I've seen the touring shows. Thank God Harrison's gone to bed. That
Good night,
touring
Harrison.
shit is just Asian girls standing on top of each other, and it's uncomfortable for you and the audience. Like, it's just,
I'll allow it.
and you realize they're just fucking clowns.
Here
and you
comes,
gotta
here comes
goddamn
the
go.
sun. Here comes the sun.
You gots to go. So I've
It's
been
a
very
buffet
worried about
of
the show. And now
fun.
I did see parts of this because it is available on DVD and video,
Yeah.
and the soundtrack is available on CD and on Apple iTunes. So I've seen bits and pieces of it on video. I'd never seen the whole thing because I was like, I'd rather see this in person and see what it's
Right.
like. It's absolutely miraculous. It's
Yeah.
just gorgeous. And we played little bits of, because George Martin just died. George Martin and his son took all these recording sessions, not just the things that were released, but unreleased portions, things that they did. And this is George Harrison's original idea to work with Cirque du Soleil. When George Harrison was still alive, he wanted this combination to happen. So he started the ball rolling. George Martin and his son were afraid that they wouldn't be able to sell it. So they put the music together without anyone's permission and just started layering things. So there'd be like elements of this song and here and making this symphonic noise
I
out
love
of
people
everything that
can
was
do
produced.
Like, I don't know how that happens, but I love it when it
And
does.
it's gorgeous. And I was saying, and my friend that I went with who suggested that I go was someone who doesn't like the Beatles.
okay.
And I just told him, I'm like, it's just that you're just young and like you're not. No one's tuned your ear yet to like
Right.
good pop music. Like you think Eminem is good music, which it may be.
Doesn't this go back to our thing about if I say I'm feeling pain, you can't tell me I'm not feeling pain? If he doesn't
That's-
like the Beatles, you can't tell him he likes the
I
Beatles.
know
love
that's
Wilson
different.
Phillips.
It just sounded the same.
But this is it's more. This is subjective.
agree.
Like you can say like I don't get why sunrises are pretty, and then someone can be like, well, look at this. This is, and you're like, oh, sunrises are.
I've never
pretty.
seen it that way.
Right.
Yeah, I've never seen it that way. And so I told him, like, you just have to listen to something different in the music because your idea, and you need an ear. Like, you need to hear, like,
Right.
what is pop music?
And you're 100% right. Yellow Submarine is a terrible song.
It's a terrible song. And
We all
in
live
an
in it.
Octopus's Garden.
Oh,
in the
also
shade.
terrible.
Oh, terrible song.
Everything that happened from Sgt. Pepper's on is useless.
And that's not true because the White Album.
I know the White Album is
The
brilliant.
White Album is
Oh,
brilliant, and so
oh.
is the last one, Let It Be, because then you'd be without Let It Be.
Oh,
Yeah.
just give me a
It,
headache.
it's
But still, Sgt.
There-
Pepper's just makes me nauseous. Can I go there?
oh, but the songs on Sgt. Pepper's are
Oh, I
there's
love
great
it.
songs on there. A Day in the Life. But anyways,
Anyway.
so you have all these people working towards this artistic vision. And then I told him, I'm like, one of the things that you just have to like sit yourself down and be in the mood for like pop music and just think to yourself,
Talk about
I'm not
pop
going to
music.
pop music. I'm not going to be angry.
Dirty pop.
I don't need like some white guy yelling at me saying the N-word or whatever Eminem does. Like, and my friend is this white trash person from Ohio who just lives in that world.
Apparently
of, like,
doesn't listen to this show at all.
but I'm sorry.
just
I'm
thinking,
sorry.
not a listener.
I'm sorry, Ohio, but no culture whatsoever. They live
Sure.
in this angry flyover state where, like, you need someone else to tell you what
Please,
culture
yeah,
is.
please.
Unless they're
And so he's never, like, he doesn't know anything about good music or culture. He's never seen a play. He's never seen
Right.
anything theatrical. He has no idea what is going on in the world. So he's like, I don't like the Beatles. But you've never heard them either. Have you ever
Right.
sat down and, like, listened to a Beatles album? No. He just heard one song and turned it because it wasn't some angry white guy.
didn't know it.
Yeah,
Right.
he didn't know it, so he just turned it off. So I was like, there's Here Comes the Sun, and then there's like real surprises, like While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Or you just have easy pop, like I Want to Hold Your
Wanna
Hand.
Hold Your Hand is a
And like
great
there's
one. Love
easy
it.
songs to like, and then there's stuff that like Here Comes the Sun. It's just lovely.
Do, 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 do.
Here comes
Beautiful.
the sun.
Beautiful.
And I say,
And if you've ever lived through a winter, when you hear that song on an oldies station and someone says, "It's been a long, cold, lonely winter," you're like, "It has
it
been
sure
a long,
has been.
yeah."
Why, thank you for noticing.
It It feels like spring is or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just hear those little chimes and bells, and you don't have to know that George Harrison went to India and found Hinduism and like learned all these aspects of beautiful religions. And to him,
little
"Here Comes the
chimes.
Sun" isn't a metaphor. He just means literally he's worshiping the sun. It's like yoga. Like you're just saying like.
He's doing his downward dog.
He's doing his downward dog, and here comes this, and it's just loveliness. Well, they did all these songs, and they did them absolutely beautifully. A little bit like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was literally Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and it was Cirque du Soleil, and they were all clowns. So they would lose me at
Asian-
certain points.
Asian clowns.
It's a little bit literal, but that's another one of those songs that I can seriously do without.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Which one?
Get
Well,
off, Lucy.
but he-
Lucy in the Sky with
But
Diamonds. I'm
he
like,
really likes it. He really likes it when Natalie Cole does it.
Yeah.
That's his mostest favorite.
Stop, it hurts.
I can't. But I mean, it was. But to see, finally got her to get the headphones off. I didn't know it came in that shade. But I have to tell you, it was so lovely, and they brought you a little bit. They gave you a tiny, 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 teeny, 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 tiny taste.
Was it small?
Of teeny.
Okay.
A little taste of what they went through to write their music. Like
Okay.
they at the beginning, they took you a little bit through. Like we're gonna start with like pure pop, and then we're gonna go a little bit into psychedelia, like the fact that we
Right.
did some LSD. Then we're going to take you through the pot years of like, we're just going to extend your boundaries slightly. Then we're going to take you through the Hinduism and the sitar and the loveliness of that music. And then we're going to take you into just full on John Lennon's on heroin, and this shit just doesn't make any fucking
We
sense
just don't know what the
at
fuck
all.
is happening, but it's still selling records.
But it takes
Okay,
you on
right
this journey, and the fact that they never really left pop music. I mean, you do have to suffer through the benefit of Mr. Kite and Octopus's Garden, which was lovely, though.
Was it?
As stupid as that song is, the Octopus's Garden was just lovely to look at. But one of the things that they did is that realizing it's the 60s and you have the hippie, the counterculture, and when they got to Blackbird, and they did it, and one of the criticisms of the White Album is that it's apolitical, it has nothing to do with the times, and then you listen to it in retrospect and you're like, but is Blackbird about the civil rights
Right.
movement and the right to vote? And that's how they did the dance to it, and it was absolutely lovely. The blackbird singing in the dead of night.
Love it.
And it's
Love that.
take your broken wings and fly.
No, I mean, I love it when they sing that.
Yeah, me too. But he told me I couldn't. He told me I had to sing it. He told me earlier.
But because we can't play it because we'll get muted.
I'm just kidding. You
On that
sang
one.
it beautifully. I'm just
It's
Now, what was the
joking.
ending that you said that you did not expect?
So,
Sing it
so
high.
what? But the one thing that they did though is they went through all these songs and they did.
So did they do it kind of chronologically?
Más o menos. Like it was hard to say
Okay.
what was.
Now we're in a different language.
Yeah.
Más o
As-
menos.
that means more or
So
less.
there was really no way to say if
Six
it
of one.
was chronological.
Okay.
It seemed a little bit, but then they would like backpedal a bit to get here and there.
Like across the universe a little bit, because it starts out a little chronologically, and
Right.
then it
Very
then it,
similar.
like,
So if
backs
you
up and
enjoyed
down.
Across the
And
Universe,
love Across the
then
Universe.
you're sold on this shit.
But-
But I have to tell you that there was these little kids that kept running in and out. They're scary clowns. It's Cirque du Soleil. It's just a bunch of funk
clowns,
clowns.
right.
That really
That's
need
what I
to
loved with Jay.
that
Freaks and clowns, freaks
They
and
really
clowns.
need to be stopped. But
3 Asian ladies like standing on each other
Standing-
backwards, upside down somehow.
and
It's
like
weird.
leave the Asian ladies alone. I don't get what Cirque du
Their
Soleil.
feet are on their heads from the back. Like I don't know.
And the
I don't know how they
girl
do
on the
it.
bottom of the pyramid doesn't look like she's enjoying whatever she's being paid for this number. It's very uncomfortable.
She's not
So
having fun.
they get through whatever song it was, and I need to buy the soundtrack album to find out what came before Here Comes the Sun. But it was lovely. And then all of a sudden, the stage opens up, and just like from a technical point of view, what you would love, Clayton, is you just sit there and you watch this stage work from like the tops of how the pulleys all went and how they dropped people down on ropes and how they would swing people out to fly through the audience. And they had trampolines that made it look like people were literally flying. Like there were parts where I'm like,
Did
that
just
person is
happen?
literally
Yeah.
flying.
That's one thing that I do love about Cirque du Soleil. The last one I saw was and just blown away because the way that they've built that stage and that tank, because that's the water one, so it's
Right.
all
Yeah.
on top of this like giant tank. And they have platforms that, up and down that you don't see happening. So you'll see somebody like walk across the floor, like splashing across, and then all of a sudden this guy's like coming from the ceiling. You're like, oh my fuck, he's gonna die. He's about to. Oh wait, they moved the platform. He just
Yeah.
fell
And that's
right
how
in.
the La
Yeah.
Rev is the same way. La Rev is a dream of gymnasts and divers, so it's like a porn
Oh,
movie.
okay, yeah.
So this one, whatever song.
Sounds like a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Lady Madonna was before Here Comes the Sun on the soundtrack.
Oh, so they did Lady Madonna, and it was really cool.
Lady
And then
Madonna.
everybody's in this like
Children
Christian.
at your feet.
Yeah, and there's children everywhere, and you're doing this whole thing, and it seems very Christian. And then all of a sudden, everything spreads out to the four corners, representing like the four corners, the elements, or whatever you want to pretend the four things are. And
Or
the little
four
kids,
Beatles.
Wiccans.
the little kid, or the four Beatles.
Thank you. I'm here.
But when you hear the rest of the story, you'll hear.
Oh, Paul Harvey's going to be here too?
Yeah,
Good.
the rest of this, and now for the rest of the story. So then the little kids just sat down on these things that moved back, and they sat in yoga positions with their fingers up like they were meditating. And then slowly from the depths of the stage, as the stage opened up, this chandelier came up, and they started doing Here Comes the Sun, and like all dancing to it, but like doing yoga poses and praying to the sun. And I was just like, okay, it's a little literal for me, but that is so beautiful as to like, it's not just Here Comes the Sun, but like the sun is how we live. Like without the sun, we're not really going to be here.
Right.
Like, and it was just so beautiful. And it took the entire song for the sun to rise to the top, and then it went away. And then they did While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which is just such a beautiful song. And the dance that went with it was gorgeous. And then they got to what comes before. They did A Day in the Life.
I was gonna say, I don't know if this is necessarily in show
is.
order. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, so they did A Day in the Life, and as A Day in the Life
After
ends,
While My Guitar, yeah.
yeah, so they do A Day in the Life, and you're all ready for them to go in because you're in Sergeant Pepper mode or what. So
Yep.
you're ready for them to do Golden Slumbers because someone has died. There's a child alone on the stage, and you wanted to be golden slumbers as you sleep, and it's that lullaby, and it's a lullaby to a child. And it's the most beautiful song ever written, Golden Slumbers. And if you have a baby, sing Golden Slumbers to it on a daily basis. And it goes into, boy, you're going to carry that weight. Like, now you have this burden of grief, and you're going to carry that grief with you. And I thought, what a perfect way to end. But then I realized, okay, a strong argument would be not ended on the biggest downer note of all time. So they went with Hey Jude to sing to the little boy, because John Lennon did write that for Julian
son,
Lennon,
right.
for his son, and Hey Jude. And then they went into All You Need Is Love. So they went a little bit more upbeat than I would have followed it
They
to its
ended it
natural
like the
conclusion. They ended it really beautifully. But then during All You Need Is Love, you're like, oh my God, it's a bunch of fucking clowns. Get me out of here.
Where's the slot machine at
That's
a
what
bar?
Jenny was saying, was that her friend was chased by clowns. And
Yeah.
It just made me laugh.
But
That's
the
fantastic.
only thing I would have changed, though, is I really would have gone from A Day in the Life into Golden Slumbers. But I think Golden Slumbers is one of the most beautiful songs that's ever been written. Like, that song just, it stops me dead in my tracks. And I just can't figure out how a 27-year-old wrote Golden Slumbers. Like, I can't wrap my mind around a profound, deeply thinking 27-year-old. Like, to me, it's not in my train of consciousness. It's just such a beautiful song. And then into Boy, You're Gonna Carry That Weight.
Yeah.
Carry that weight a long time. Like, it's just those, and to me, those two songs have to go together. So when my iPod separates them, I have a fucking stroke. because when Golden Slumber stops and it doesn't go into Boy, You're Gonna Carry That, but God damn it!
Oh, God in heaven, there it went again. Fuck.
Imagine that in headphones, people.
Some of
Some of them
are-
do have
right.
headphones.
There's that.
So
of
there
them
you go.
do.
So a beautiful, beautiful show. And seriously, like a couple hours later and about 90 glasses of vodka later, a lot of gambling, I was sitting at breakfast by myself, and I was just kind of like sitting there like reviewing the night and how much fun I'd had, and like seeing my friend and his new girlfriend and meeting them and like really liking them. And we went downtown to the Fremont Experience and had just a great time, and like
The Fremont
good
experience
music.
makes me seasick. Like that thing.
It
on
is.
the-
Oh, it's too
makes
much.
me super seasick.
But
I can't do it.
the people were like screaming and laughing, and they were going way too fast, and we were dancing
The
around
zip
with music.
lines. I want to do the zip
The
line.
zip lines, and then we did.
the lighted moving ceiling. I can't do it. I can't be down there at all.
Well, we didn't stare at
I'll
that.
throw up.
Well, I have epilepsy, and I made it through it. But we after a lot of searching, we found the El Cortez, which had single deck blackjack for like a low amount of money. So we gambled for a long time, and we just had a nice time. They had to catch their plane. We stayed up till they caught their till they had to go to the airport, and I went to bed. But I went to breakfast, and I was sitting there at breakfast, and I was just thinking about that Here Comes the Sun number, and then While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and how beautiful those songs were, and the just there was one part where this person in like, I thought it was a puppet, because at one point the Octopus's Garden had these puppets, and you
Oh,
were
the
like,
puppets are
what the
weird.
hell is, well, not a puppet, but there was someone controlling this thing that was dancing on the stage.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking
Okay.
about. Fucking weird.
So when we looked up, we're like, oh, they're puppets. But you didn't know. Like, if you didn't look up, you would have never known they were puppets. They were just part of the performance. So then the next thing that came down, we thought, oh, these 4 white, all sequenced, beautiful things. They were like light features. I'm like, oh, that's just more light features. But they were people that were just completely decked out in lights, all in white and like the black lights. You know how white glows in black light? So it was just this glowing white thing that was spinning. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a person again. Like, what a great switch to have you think that those first things, like, what the hell is that? And be like, oh, it's a puppet. The second thing, like, holy shit, that's a woman dancing in the air, like glitter, like pink glitter in the air, like, and this performance up, and you were just we were just mesmerized. I was kind of like crying at breakfast, and the waitress was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I just saw Love Lesson." She's like, "I had the same reaction."
Oh,
That's good. That's good. That's good.
But I wasn't
entertainment.
like crying, like, "Oh my God, my life is so sad." I was just like, just thinking about it, like, how beautiful was that what they did. And
That's fantastic.
a Volkswagen keeps going across stage. They keep driving this Volkswagen, and at one point, the Volkswagen explodes, and you realize it's never been a car. It's always been people. Like, that has never been a Volkswagen. It's just people moving in unison, holding parts of a Volkswagen together. But you've thought through the whole thing. You've been watching a car. And when it explodes, you're like, oh, fuck me.
It's freaky.
Because you think as a savvy audience member, you're going to see the tricks coming. So when they're like, oh, didn't see that. It
No.
always surprises me.
not if you're first time in the show.
We're
Now the
all
second
about
time.
Satan's anus right now.
Yeah. Because clowns.
Look, it was
Satan's anus.
That's funny.
Jeez.
So
Well, that's-
I'm gonna help wrap up his little entertainment segment with 2 things. I just found this tweet online, and I didn't know if anybody else had seen this. Did anybody else see this from Barbara Streisand? This tweet that she did yesterday. I'm not surprised that Barbara Streisand's political. I just thought I just hadn't seen it or heard anybody say anything about it. So I just thought I'd show you that right quick because that's there.
Yeah. Because this thing about Hillary Clinton getting money for speeches, and she's
Oh, it's so stupid.
and her thing is like, no one else has to release their speech notes. Like, no one else has to release what they said in their speeches.
Right.
I'm not gonna be the first woman running a campaign, and I'm not gonna be the first person to do this because I'm a woman.
Right.
You're gonna stop that shit now. And she's been doing it since Whitewater. I don't know if you saw the interview with little hottie from, he was President Clinton's first
Stephanopoulos?
George Stephanopoulos. Sure.
And he said one of the biggest regrets he had from being the press secretary was that she just on principle would not release the Whitewater papers, because she was like, no, investigate me all you want to. I'm not fucking doing it.
Not gonna.
Oh,
And that sometimes she stands
gonna
on
do it.
principle, and she's doing it here. But I like that Barbara, who's a close friend of the Clintons. I mean,
Yeah,
close
yeah.
friend of Virginia. I mean, she goes way back. They're friendly. Just like, what's her name from Designing Women? That's where I heard of Clinton first. If you watch
Dixie
old
Carter?
episodes of Susan Witt.
Oh, okay, yeah. The younger wit or whatever.
Yeah,
Isn't that her name?
but look up the Golden Girls. But she really is a Southern political woman, a Southern Democrat. And if you watch old episodes of Designing Women, they mention Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton like 2 or 3 times.
Oh.
That's how I
Interesting.
ever knew who he was because he's mentioned on Designing Women
Interesting.
a few times.
okay. Moving on to other things. What day was the Oscars? How long ago was the Oscars?
February
October-
28th.
Okay.
February.
So
October, I have no
we're
idea where I got
literally
that.
we're a month or 2 months.
1
Well,
month.
One month passed. The night of the Oscars, you had made a comment that you were looking for something, you wanted something, and I looked for it, and I couldn't find exactly what I wanted because they were all way too small. But I found something that will suffice. This came, I don't know why it had to come from Thailand, because that's where the fucker that I bought it from on eBay lived. So it's gone through
very
airmail. It's gone through a bunch of stuff.
international.
I bought this because you wanted something like it, and I thought this will be cute for you and will make you remember. We'll remember
I'm very excited about
the
that.
event.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's a refrigerator magnet.
Oh, it's even better.
Oh, is that fantastic? I love it.
It's the Oscars logo for the We
We
All Dream in Gold.
That's very nice.
And I have Oscar.
That's
I have Oscar.
cool.
One stolen, one bought Oscar poster in my house because of all the years of Oscar posters. I've not really been a fan except for the year that I bought, which was the famous movie quotes, which I think was for 2008. And then Jason doesn't know he gave it to me, but it's mine now. He has
The one that's in your living room.
all the Oscar posters, all the Oscar,
Oh.
the one shots or whatever they're called. I can't. If Aaron was here, he would help us. What they're called but the movie posters from every movie that won Best Picture up until 2004. Whatever happened.
I remember that image. Yeah.
I think the last one that's on there is for $1 Million Baby. But I
Susan
love
Harris.
this.
Now I
Susan
did.
Harris.
That's fantastic.
I did, and I ordered it sitting on your couch watching the Oscars. That's when I bought it.
That's fantastic. So God bless
go.
the Thai. Where's it from?
Thailand is where it came from. Anyway,
We all do.
Titanic.
but I have found the full size poster.
We all get that. This is good.
Yeah, that's
that's
but
awesome.
they're very proud of that full size poster. I found all the small ones, like a 12 by
No,
whatever.
they're a fucking fortune.
Yeah, they're not. They're proud of it. So we'll talk later about how to
And
acquire
let me
that.
tell you
for
how
your-
much that one in my living room
That's
cost
funny.
framed someday. Like
Okay, well maybe after we're done with the show. Do you have anything you'd like to throw into
Like
the?
a
Like
kids
my
that
kids
go to
quarter after
college.
10.
I
Let's
know
go
it
ahead
is.
and do bullshit.
Okay, well, because I had a bullshit. Where did it go? I had a bullshit. I did. Where did I put it? No, I did have a bullshit. Did
I just
say
want
that?
Marnie to take off her headphones again. It's better than a spit take now.
Oh, I have a bullshit. Where are we starting with bullshit?
Money right.
Marnie, I'm eating hummus.
I'm eating hummus.
Lord have mercy. We're starting with me?
You can.
How about if
If you've got it. If you don't, we'll move on and
No,
we'll come
I
back.
do, but move on. Because I haven't. I just, yeah.
She needs more information.
Okay, wait, I have it.
All right.
See,
All
there you
right.
go.
Ladies and
All
gentlemen, we're back.
We are back. Oddly, my bullshit has to do with Michelle Bachmann.
Wow, shocker.
Oh.
Get out. Let me just tell you that Obama enjoys Cuba while civilization burns, according to Michelle Bachmann. Now, there's been a huge issue about the fact that the awful attacks in Brussels.
In Brussels, yeah.
Okay, awful. But this week, a United States president was humiliated on the world stage, according to Michelle Bachmann, by an aging, insulting communist dictator. Our feckless U.S. president appeared unfazed by the message he portrayed of American incompetence and historic irrelevance. Only he could break the barriers of isolation his misguided predecessors had painstakingly built. Shut up, Michelle fucking Bachmann.
Yeah.
You dumb cunt. I mean,
Sorry.
what?
My bad.
oh,
And
I
a man who danced a tango while killing
Yes.
the number 2 in ISIS.
Yes.
Although
Right.
everybody seems to be the number 2 in
But
ISIS.
everybody wants to kind
Well,
of
they
forget.
keep going up to the.
They just
three
keep
for
going
three
up
or-
one.
right. We kill one, they move
Just
them
keep
up.
going
They move up,
one.
yeah.
It's like the top 10 list of most wanted criminals in America.
She went. She wrote an entire article.
We're not going to read it.
No, we're not
Okay.
at all.
we
That's
can't.
why I'm saying. But she wrote this entire article, putting him down, making comments about the fact that he sat there during a baseball game. She is fucking bullshit, and so is anyone and everyone who is
Well, I mean, what's
trying
he
to
gonna
make
do?
a
Is
big
he gonna
fucking
run-
deal.
Is he going to run to Brussels
Well,
and
that was
interrupt
just
their
it.
investigation?
And it was pointed out today, which in an odd place, but it was pointed out today when I was watching The View that he has to take a whole fuckload of people with him if he does that.
And a plane. It's a big plane,
Well,
too.
and
There's a big
the idea
plane.
that there's a whole lot of people that could get injured, including our president,
yeah.
if he were to go.
One of the things
what
that
is he going to go and do?
You don't
Right.
go to Brussels. You're of no use there.
you would think that somebody who is such a savvy business person like Donald Trump would get the fact he runs companies, right? You run companies.
Right.
And
Into
if
the
you,
ground.
Into the ground,
No,
yeah.
no.
Psychic
Hang on,
moment.
hang on. But
One person.
But if you, not the best example, you're going to understand where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
I'm,
Go ahead, go
I'm
ahead.
driving this Volkswagen that's going to blow up in a minute.
That's
You're
right.
going to get it.
Please. Suicide bomber.
The fact that they all want to rip him for being somewhere else, if you manage a company correctly,
You don't have to be there.
all the people under you that you have set in place to do that shit, that's what they're doing.
Right.
You should be
And
able to
that's
phone it in.
exactly what he's doing now.
You're exactly right.
It's exactly what's happening. But nobody wants to acknowledge that. He's a fantastic leader because he got all this shit.
Otherwise, you're a
together.
micromanager,
Oh,
and you're an
my God.
asshole that everyone hates.
Right.
Well, and what she says,
And you're never
no,
off
but
duty. No
you're-
one's ever not briefing
Right.
you in your ear. Because one guy read My Pet Goat while they were blowing up New York City.
Bush had a book upside down when
Yeah.
everything happened for 9/11.
That's true.
But what she has and says in here, which was just too much for me. It's worth noting that our president spent his day Tuesday playing, as he has so many times before and in the face of tragedy. He rewarded himself and his entourage of 40 members by attending a baseball game. And so with the balmy Cuban sun. And so she's such a dumb cunt.
He did exactly what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
In
tenuous
in the face of terrorism, you are
situations.
supposed to continue what you're doing.
That's right.
France taught us that just recently.
Yep.
You continue with your what you
carry
do.
on
Absolutely.
with life.
Right.
Yes.
If you have baseball tickets,
otherwise the
full
terrorist.
baseball
And remember that expression from 2002 that made you want to stab somebody in the throat? Otherwise the terrorists win.
It just it
One
makes
more
me
person
insane.
told me that if I didn't do something, the terrorists won.
Time restriction
Yes.
bullshit.
There
Come on.
was a brief point in time where I just wished that the terrorists had won.
Yeah.
I
Cat
want to call
Carlson's
bullshit,
bullshit.
on a gentleman by the name of Lin-Manuel Miranda. This Hamilton business
Is out of control.
is a sickness. I've caught it.
All
I
right.
have it.
I might have the cure. Harrison's gone to bed, but we may be able to fix this for you.
Is it tickets to Hamilton?
Yes,
'Cause
it's coming to Los Angeles next year.
it's
and
coming
I'm
here
just-
the year after.
Okay, but I'm just saying we can cure the sickness faster if we just go to LA and get the tickets ASAP.
That might be because this device right here that formerly functioned in many, many, many aspects. It used to make phone
It's
calls.
just the Hamilton
It
player.
used- It's just the Hamilton goer. And I seriously, like, the entire second half of the second act is just tears the entire time. Like, I showed up to have coffee with a friend the other day, and I, like, got out of my car, and she's like, were you crying? I was like, shut up, it's Hamilton. I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go.
I just can't.
They're gonna duel again. I don't know how it's gonna
Philip
end.
just died. Like,
Somebody's
I
gonna
just
die.
can't. They're dealing with the unimaginable.
It's the treasury. It's the treasury.
He walks the city every day. I don't know what to do. Yeah, that's because
It's been a while since Marnie's heard my voice. She's horrified.
Listen back to old shows.
clearly
You're gonna have to.
listen to the one thing that Kat posted about the Mission Like Crazy. You'll
No,
be good.
I already have. Trust me.
Yeah,
dogs ran away, I had to
clearly,
get
you
them
haven't
back.
caught the sickness, but when you
I have
do,
not
it's
yet.
just-
But I've shared it. I get it.
So
I thought he
much.
was cute until I found he was straight. Then I'm like, I can't have him either. So what the fuck? Anyway,
All I know is
sell?
I'm finding out how many kidneys, kids, or like animals I have to sell to get to see this in New
Well, what do
York,
you
Los
care?
Angeles, or
We'll-
here.
I'm
with
already
Valderrama?
on board with buying this year's season ticket so that I can get first dibs at next year's
season.
Hamilton.
No, I tried to get 3 months ago. I tried to get tickets in New York for May for Hamilton.
Not happening.
and it was not
Where is
happening.
it playing in LA?
I think it's at the Amazon.
Amazon? Okay, Jenny wanted to know.
do you all remember the gas leak story that Rachel Maddow reacted about? But it was also a big thing that in the lovely uppity community out in California that natural gas leak, the
Yes.
methane, went on for 4 months before they could cap it. Well, the bullshit that I'm calling today is, yes, it's been capped and it's done. But the CEO, Deborah Reed, of that company, they got her a little, they cut her pay to by $130,000. They cut her pay. But she got her bonus.
Yeah, of course she did.
$3.1 million. She got her
But she's
bonus.
done nothing but good.
Cunt
Got it.
of the week.
It brings her total compensation for 2015, just in 1 year, she got $16 million. And I call
That's more money than I'll make in my life.
yes. That's just complete bullshit.
Bullshit.
That's
No,
bullshit.
that is bullshit.
I'd have to live 160 years.
That's just fucking
That's
insane. I just don't.
ridiculous.
So anyway, that was it. So according to this, when you do the math, it comes out to 0.8% of her pay is what she got
Cunt.
dinged for.
Yeah.
There you go.
She didn't get. That's not a ding.
Whatever.
It's a ding.
Move on. Whatever bullshit. Then we're gonna go to thoughtful.
All right,
Clayton's
my
gonna give us a hard
bullshit
stop in 9 minutes.
My bullshit is people saying they have allergies. You can be sensitive to something. Something cannot rub you the right way. You're not fucking allergic. Stop saying you're allergic to shit. And I'm guilty of this too. For a while, I pretended to have an allergy to lauryl sulfate. I don't. My
It's in
skin is
soap.
my skin
Lauryl
is
sulfate.
It's in soap.
It's in soap.
Oh, thank you.
That's
I'm
why
like,
I
who
use
Not the
makes
TV
that?
series.
But that's
Yeah.
why I use all handmade soaps. I don't have an allergy to it. It makes my skin
A
dry. But as
sensitivity.
we've learned from this last week, every fucking thing makes my skin dry. You know what makes my skin dry? Being somewhere dry.
Is my
Like
allergy...
Las Vegas or Phoenix. If you're not swelling up and stopping breathing, it's not a fucking allergy. If you don't have hives all over your body, it's not an allergy. You're just sensitive to it.
How do you feel about my allergy to idiots?
Very real.
Because
Because I feel like you stop breathing around them.
I
bury
love
the body
But
bag,
and I
bury
say
the
this
body
because like being around smoking again,
Why are you around
really,
smoke- oh,
really,
Vegas.
really like brings me down, and like constant nosebleeds, can't breathe, having I'm like, so when I'm like, okay, this is an allergic reaction, this is bullshit. So like, and this whole like gluten thing, like, oh, you're not sensitive
The gluten
to it.
people are so full of it.
You're just full of
I'm
shit.
just an
people.
asshole. And on that, we move to the final segment of tonight's show, and it goes something like this.
And now, thoughtful vulgarity, where we in the studio try to make ourselves slightly less shallow, which is not hard to do. We will ask one question of the panel while fucked up drunk, because you know at home how well it goes when important questions come up several hours after alcohol has been served. Politics, religion, why not? What could possibly go wrong? Who could you offend? Good luck.
Oh boy. Body in the bag.
There it is.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Potato.
Tomato tomaggio.
So I don't know.
All right.
I don't know how to word it. So anybody got anything?
Well,
You're going to word it. Well,
Just say it. Say
has this
whatever
show
you want,
ever
we'll
been
figure it out.
worded correctly?
I know,
Yeah.
but it,
How do you, is it hateful?
because I feel no, but I feel like I'm giving the answer with the question, so I haven't worked out how to word it. Like I feel like I'm biasing it. It's all dance.
I don't know what we're doing. Okay.
All right.
that was good.
So as you're watching all this shit go down, who do we
Please
have
be
to blame?
specific in the shit.
The election and how this is going wrong 17 ways from Sunday. Who do you want to blame? Like, who is the blame on for how wrong this election cycle has gone? And so
Got
I
it.
don't know how to word it because I don't know how to put my response
Like,
into
what
that.
do you think is responsible for the prevalence and popularity and rise of Donald Trump? Kind of like
And
all
again,
of that hate and stupidity?
I don't want to feed the question too much fuel.
Or the other
Okay.
side with some. I mean, both sides are acting like fucking idiots in a sandbox. If you ask me.
Who's
But
to blame
that's-
for this? No, any compromise is the wrong way to go. Like who's?
Oh, okay.
You know
for
what I
like
mean?
the polarity of everything. and
Yeah,
the-
everything is.
And I go with the media in a lot of ways. If I'm understanding your question.
And I'm trying to
Because-
keep my
Yeah,
answer out of the question. That's why I'm having a hard
I
time
would
with
look
it.
at because there's a part of me that wants to say,
You keep reporting on it, so it must be.
yeah, you keep giving credit. Like when for instance, Bernie Sanders is doing so well, but yet we're going to wait for Donald Trump's speech, right? And we're not going to give any credit to
Yeah.
how well things are going. So it's kind of that idea that whenever something is crazy or bad, or that fucking Malaysia plane, or like whenever there's
We're
something
slaves
with-
to ratings.
to ratings and to destruction, anything that's bad keeps getting reported on. But anything that's good,
Nothing to
isn't.
see here. Nothing
right?
to see here.
No, yeah. Moving on. That's
Right.
so not breaking news.
Yeah.
Limited on time.
Yep.
Go.
education.
Yeah.
Sure.
100%. I think you have to have a certain amount, and it goes back to the reading thing, like that perspective thing. Like you have to have
Empathy.
that, and you get that from a reasonably comprehensive education.
Yep.
You have to be able to see the point of view. You have to be able to say, okay, I get where you're coming from. I can think that you're wrong, and I can think that you're still a good person, and I can see why you think what you think, and we can disagree about it all day long.
And we can
But there
maybe
has to
find a middle ground between
Right.
where
There
you
has
think
to be
and I
that
think.
place where, okay, I concede to your point if you'll concede to my point, and now we're in a middle place where we can get somewhere, and that all comes down to education.
Yep.
Education. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't have specific statistics on this, but a lot of the like super red states are the worst in education.
Yes. And look up the benefits of taking a civics class. Just take, even if it's an online class, sign up. I'll pay the money. I'm happy to like pay for your civics class at a community college. Look it up.
Yeah.
and look
I'll
up
bet-
what finding out about your civic responsibility and what civics can do for you. Like,
I'm going to piggyback what she
Only
said.
in the US.
I'm going to piggyback what you said. I think that's a partial of it. But it's all education from the standpoint of you add lack of education and perception of other sides, and then you throw that fucking religion in it where it's all fear. And so, you don't need to read this in this book because it tells you everything you need in this book
Yeah.
of all these fantastic stories.
that's limiting your
That-
education.
Right,
You're limiting
totally
it to one
limits
book.
it. So I piggyback what you say, and I think another horrible influence of lack of education
Yep.
is this control by fear that they
Fucking
do,
Ronald Reagan.
and that's exactly where and
when
it's
you
that
meet
religious
smart
right
reli-
moving into politics.
When you meet smart, thoughtful, religious people, it's because they've read that book and they
And they've
enjoy
read
it.
other
But they've
books.
read other books,
Right,
and they're
absolutely.
like,
Right.
we can all get together.
Go, you got 30 seconds.
Mine would be a combination, but I have to go back to the media because they just, like, John Kasich was giving a speech today, and they were like, well, what do you think about Trump's tweet? No, John Kasich does not have to react to that. Don't feed. What do you need for fire to burn? Oxygen.
For-profit
And
news is
you
one of the worst
just-
things that ever happened to this
You
country.
just gave oxygen to that. You just fed a fire. John Kasich isn't talking about that, and it's none of his business. That's a feud between two other people. He should not have to comment. But then when you have people with their signs, they have no empathy. They've never met other people. They live in these white, and they might not be white. They're in their own private
White people
bubble
are the
of
worst,
how
though.
they are, how they were raised. And they've never left their neighborhood. They've never explored. They've never met other people. If you don't find other people, how will you ever know how they think or what they do? It's just
That's exactly right. That's very true. Holy
travel,
cow!
read, and I think we're Scholastics 101 and me are on board. Read. Just
Read everything, anything, something.
And if you don't like the Beatles, go see a show with music and learn that you can like different music, and you don't have to just have music with the N-word and Eminem who rants about everything. Ladies and gentlemen, you've done it once again. Spent 3 hours with us, 3 hours and a half if you really want to look at it. Thank you so much for doing it. Everybody in the chat room, everybody around the world, all the ships at sea, we'll be back with you, I hope. We'll all be back next week, right? Are we all here?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
I feel good
fantastic.
about it.
Well, as we wrap up
Good luck
tonight's
at Pride, guys.
show, let's leave you with this parting thought. We will see you next Tuesday!